She established one rule to protect her shattered heart: never date a coworker. But that boundary is about to be destroyed by the last man she ever wanted to see. 7 years after a devastating breakup, Nayeon's new boss walks through the door, and it's her dangerously handsome ex-boyfriend. He didn't just stumble into her company. He orchestrated her transfer solely to trap her by his side. Caught in a suffocating web of workplace authority, bitter resentment, and intoxicating temptation, Seol-woo makes his obsession terrifyingly clear. He hasn't returned to apologize for destroying her past. He's here to consume her future. Can Nayeon resist his relentless seduction, or will she surrender to the only man who knows exactly how to break her? After their performance, the band grabs a meal to unwind. The drummer, Taehoon, complains bitterly about their equipment, insisting the amp was terrible and they got scammed. He slams his cup down, certain the speakers were about to blow out. But the vocalist, Seol-woo, just smirks, coolly pointing out that they didn't. A senior member, Nuna, jumps in, defending Seol-woo. She declares it wasn't the amp's fault. His vocals were just too powerful. She reminds them it's the first time a freshman has ever been the main vocalist for their band, 3 days. Nuna is completely smitten, recalling how Seol-woo became a campus legend. His fame is so widespread that there's a rumor the school's founder statue turns its head just to watch him walk by. Hearing this, Taehoon complains that she's playing favorites again. Nuna just teases him, saying she knows what he's good at too. The flirty banter makes Seol-woo gulp uncomfortably. At a nearby table, Nayeon and Chaya stifle their giggles, with Nayeon kicking her friend under the table to shut her up. Nayeon tries to get her friend to chill out, but Chaya is completely freaking out. She grabs Nayeon's hands, begging her for a favor and pleading for her to do it right now. Caught off guard but seeing her friend's desperation, Nayeon reluctantly agrees. Turns out, Chaya has been secretly crushing hard on the drummer, Taehoon, for 6 whole months. As she walks away, Nayeon still can't figure out what her friend sees in such an ordinary guy. Even Seol-woo, watching from the other table, sighs at the drama. As Nayeon walks over, she sighs. If Chaya's crush was on Seol-woo, she'd totally get it. Her mind flashes back to the concert last May. Seol-woo's voice captivated everyone while Taehoon slammed on the drums. That was the exact moment Chaya fell hard for him. Now, Chaya is determined to finally confess her feelings. She gives Nayeon a supportive cheer, pushing her to be the ultimate wingwoman. Sweating bullets, Nayeon reluctantly approaches the table, the fate of her friend's love life resting entirely on her shoulders. Taking a deep breath, Nayeon approaches the band's table and calls out Taehoon's name. He turns around, looking confused, as Nayeon quickly makes up a story about needing to discuss a programming assignment. While the others are surprised, Seol-woo just watches her with an intense, unreadable expression. Before Taehoon can even answer her, Seol-woo abruptly stands up from his chair. The sudden movement catches Nayeon completely off guard. Her heart starts pounding in her chest as she stares at him, totally stunned and flustered by his unexpected intervention. Just as Nayeon is thinking that a guy this good-looking should tone it down, Taehoon excitedly grabs her arm. He's totally sold on her project idea, hoping she can save his grade. But before she can react, another hand intercepts, gripping Taehoon's wrist. It's Seol-woo. He moves in close, casually announcing that he wants to join their little chat. Looking directly at Nayeon, he declares that he's also taking that class, leaving her completely frozen. With a smirk, he points out that she's the one who brought it up first. Nayeon panics internally, realizing her plan is completely ruined. This was supposed to be a simple mission to lure Taehoon out, but now Seol-woo has inserted himself into the situation. Taking control, Seol-woo suggests they all head outside. He then calls over to a nervous Chaya, telling her to pay the bill and join them for their team project. Eager to get closer to her crush, Chaya quickly agrees. Trapped and frustrated, Nayeon bites her lip, wondering how on earth she's supposed to shake off Seol-woo now. As they walk, Nayeon silently fumes over her failed matchmaking plan. She was supposed to get Taehoon alone with Chaya and then make a clean exit, but Seol-woo saw through her from the start. He smirks, cornering her by asking if she really planned to do the project alone. Nayeon tries to lie, claiming she's busy with other work, but he knows it was a setup to lure Taehoon out. He cuts to the chase, asking why she chose him for her scheme. A clueless Taehoon gets defensive, wondering what's wrong with him. Seol-woo completely dismantles Nayeon's flimsy excuse, questioning why a top student would team up with someone on academic warning like Taehoon. Busted, Nayeon can't say a word as her whole plan crumbles. Seol-woo presses on, comparing her flawed logic to a computer error. It suddenly clicks for Nayeon. He wasn't talking about just any top student. He was talking about her. He knows she's the one who got a full scholarship for her perfect grades. Her elaborate scheme is completely exposed, and she realizes he saw right through her from the start. Seol-woo scoffs, asking if she's picking a fight because she thinks he stole the full tuition scholarship. He leans closer, his voice low, and tells her that if she had just asked him instead, things might have been different. Nayeon is completely baffled, unable to understand what he's talking about. Unfazed, Seol-woo gets straight to the point. Why did she choose Taehoon? The question sends her mind reeling. She finally gets it. This isn't about Taehoon. The real question is, why does Seol-woo want to be the one chosen by her? Standing this close to Seol-woo, Nayeon's brain completely short-circuits. All her carefully laid plans vanish as she gets lost in his features. Her fantasy-loving mind kicks into overdrive, thinking he looks like the strikingly handsome leader of a fairy tribe. Acting on pure impulse, she reaches out and gently places her hand on his chest. Seol-woo looks down, a smirk playing on his lips. Breaking the silence, he calls her name and asks if, by any chance, she's finally decided to make a move on him. Seol-woo pulls back, running a hand through his hair in total frustration. He mutters that this whole situation is driving him crazy. Nayeon is completely stunned, her mind racing to process his bizarre behavior. If he isn't trying to pick a fight with her, then what is this? The tense silence stretches between them until Seol-woo finally breaks it. He calls her by her full name, his expression dead serious, and asks the one question she never saw coming. Does she actually like Taehoon? Nayeon's brain completely fries. Like Taehoon? The question hits her like a bolt of lightning, leaving her speechless and blushing from head to toe. This is all way too much for her to process. Just as the tension reaches its peak, a cheerful voice calls out her name. It's her best friend, Chaya, walking over with none other than Taehoon himself. Snapped back to reality, Nayeon is introduced to Chaya's friend. But Nayeon can barely register the introduction, still reeling from Seol-woo's shocking question. Still completely flustered, Nayeon barely registers Taehoon's friendly greeting. Her face is bright red, a fact her best friend Chaya immediately points out. Nayeon tries to play it cool, but Chaya leans in and whispers frantically, telling her to hurry up and do something about Seol-woo. In a desperate attempt to break the tension, Nayeon whirls around and loudly asks Seol-woo if he wants to get ice cream. Baffled by the sudden change of topic, Seol-woo can only stare in confusion as she claims her mouth is just dry. After a moment of pure confusion, Seol-woo's expression shifts to a sly grin. He agrees to Nayeon's strange ice cream request. When Taehoon gets excited to join, Seol-woo quickly shuts him down, telling him to stay behind with Chaya. He starts leading Nayeon away, ignoring Taehoon as he points out the obvious convenience store right there. But then Seol-woo abruptly stops, claims he feels stuffy and needs a walk, and just leaves her standing there. Everyone is left completely baffled by his bizarre behavior. Turns out Seol-woo's walk was just a short trip to the very convenience store they were standing in front of. As they step inside, he thanks Nayeon and gives her a gentle push toward the aisles, a knowing smirk playing on his lips. In front of the ice cream freezer, he asks what she wants. Nayeon nervously grabs the first red cone she sees. But Seol-woo isn't fooled by her flimsy excuse. Holding up her choice, he looks at her with a sly grin and asks if she actually wanted ice cream. With her heart pounding, Nayeon can only watch as Seol-woo leans in and agrees to her choice. He then grabs an identical ice cream for himself, declaring he'll have the same thing. Holding up both treats, he cheekily adds that they don't need to buy any for their friends. A flustered Nayeon tries to ask for the bill, ready to pay, but Seol-woo is already at the counter. He swiftly pays with his card before she even has a chance to pull out her wallet, leaving her stunned as they walk out. As they eat their ice cream outside, Seol-woo suddenly brings up the team project she used as an excuse to talk to Taehoon. He points out that for someone so serious about grades, it's strange to ask a slacker for help. Cutting straight to the point, he says it seemed like she had another reason. With a piercing gaze, he asks her if she actually likes Taehoon. Before she can even process the question, he admits he thought she was about to confess to him. The accusation hits Nayeon like a lightning bolt, leaving her utterly speechless. Seol-woo smirks, pointing out how red her face is and teasing that her crush on Taehoon is entirely possible. Flustered beyond belief, Nayeon internally panics, wondering why he's trying to confuse her. But then, his playful tone vanishes. He gets serious and admits he followed her and Taehoon outside for one reason. He thought she was going to confess her feelings. Leaning in close, he reveals that if she told Taehoon she liked him, he would lose his own chance with her forever. The unexpected confession hits her so hard, she fumbles her cone. Stunned, Nayeon asks what chance he's talking about, her heart pounding. Instead of answering, Seol-woo's gaze softens. He reaches out and gently wipes a smudge of melted ice cream from her lip with his thumb. Nayeon freezes, completely captivated by the unexpected touch. With a confident smirk, Seol-woo brings his thumb to his own mouth, slowly licking the ice cream off. He then looks her straight in the eye and drops the bombshell. The chance he didn't want to lose, he reveals, was his chance to confess to her. The next day, Nayeon tries to bury herself in her schoolwork at a campus study cafe. She's completely focused on her laptop, trying her best to forget Seol-woo's shocking confession from the night before. But her concentration is shattered when her phone buzzes with a notification. It's a group chat message for her computer programming class, the very team project she used as a fake excuse to talk to Taehoon. A classmate asks where the group should meet, and just like that, Nayeon's lie has become her new reality. As Nayeon stares at the chaotic group chat, her phone pings again. It's Taehoon, frantically texting about who's seen the messages and why nobody is replying. Before she can process his loud texts, another message pops up. Seol-woo calmly tells Taehoon to be quiet, questioning how he can be so loud through a screen. He then smoothly defends Nayeon, telling the group she must be busy and that they should wait for her reply. Stunned by his unexpected move, Nayeon just stares at her phone, completely speechless. As Nayeon sits in the cafe, her mind drifts back to the beginning of her college life. Starting university and living on her own for the first time was a huge adjustment. Her first semester was a complete whirlwind, leaving no time to think. But once things settled down, the newfound freedom didn't feel liberating. It felt scary. While everyone else seemed to be thriving, enjoying their independence away from their parents, Nayeon just felt isolated and overwhelmed. This freedom didn't bring her any happiness at all. The feeling of homesickness was crushing. Nayeon constantly missed her mom, who was all alone back in their hometown. At night, this loneliness felt suffocating, and she longed for the comfort of home. Tucked in bed, she'd jump at every unfamiliar sound coming from outside her apartment. A sudden rattle snaps her out of her sleep, her eyes flying open in the dark. Her breath catches in her throat. A moment later, a slow, quiet creak echoes from her front door as it swings open. But the terrifying sound wasn't real. It was just a nightmare. Clutching her pillow for dear life, Nayeon appears in her mom's doorway, looking completely shaken. Her mom asks if she had a bad dream. With a small voice, Nayeon asks if she can sleep next to her. Her mom immediately welcomes her in, pulling back the covers. As she gently pats Nayeon's back, she lovingly wonders how long her daughter will be her clingy little child. Safe in her mother's arms, Nayeon finally relaxes and closes her eyes. Nayeon wished she could stay in her mother's arms forever. As a kid, she tried so hard not to be clingy, even if the memory is a bit hazy now. But as she slept, a past conversation played out. An older voice told her mom to leave Nayeon behind and live her own life. Her mother refused without a second thought. She looked at her daughter and explained that Nayeon was her strength, her reason to endure. Her mom confessed that she simply couldn't live without her little girl. Her mother's voice continued in the dream, declaring that when life gets hard, holding Nayeon makes it all better. Nayeon was her heart, her entire life. She couldn't fathom how her husband, Mr. Hwang, could have left his precious daughter behind. The scene suddenly shifts to a memory of a little Nayeon in the kitchen. While her mom was chopping vegetables, she looked up and innocently asked where her daddy went. Her mother's hand froze instantly, the painful question catching her completely off guard. The memory hits her hard. As a child, she avoided her mother's gaze simply because she looked so sad. Nayeon now understands her mom had to become stronger and more sensitive to the world just to protect her. Living alone in Seoul, so far from that safety, feels lonely and frightening. While most kids experience separation anxiety, Nayeon feels like she's only facing it now that she's 20. Waking from her emotional thoughts, her eyes land on a poster for the band 3 Days, pulling her back to her complicated new reality. The poster on the wall listed the members of 3 Days, and Nayeon's eyes immediately found Do Seol-woo's name. A fresh wave of anxiety washed over her as she remembered his confession. No way, she thought, trying to push the feeling down. As she walked past more posters lining the school hallway, her mind wouldn't stop racing. He'd suggested they'd just be friends, but a new worry started to creep in. Was he expecting an answer to that proposal right away? The thought of it was already exhausting. Meanwhile, Seol-woo was chilling in a cafe, laughing casually during a phone call. Nayeon rounded a corner and stopped dead in her tracks. There he was. Her mind went into overdrive, questioning why it was always him she ran into. Of all the people on campus, why did it have to be Do Seol-woo? While she was having a full-blown internal meltdown, he just kept chuckling into his phone, completely unaware of the drama unfolding just a few feet away from him. Feeling the awkwardness creep in, Nayeon decides her best bet is to wait outside for her friends. Just as she's about to make her escape, her eyes land on Seol-woo again. He ends his call, and his gaze instantly finds hers. A charming smile spreads across his face, and Nayeon's heart skips a beat, thinking he looks cute. Before she can bolt, he spots her fully and waves her over with a cheerful shout. So much for a quiet exit. Her plan is officially ruined. Trapped with no escape, Nayan shuffles over to Seol-woo's table. He's grinning and waving, looking just like an excited puppy. The thought makes her cringe, and she immediately blames his good looks for her racing heart. As she sits down, the air turns painfully awkward. He's still laughing on his phone call, completely oblivious to her inner turmoil. Nayan nervously tries to fix her hair, feeling totally out of her element. Who is he talking to so happily? And why is she even here? As Nayan sits there awkwardly, she nervously plays with her hair, wondering if she should just get it cut short. Seol-woo finally ends his call, which turns out was just with his dad, and apologizes for taking so long. A bit relieved, she accepts his apology. As time ticks by and the sun sets, Nayan wonders when her friends will show up. That's when Seol-woo looks over and casually drops a bomb. He tells her they're not coming. Stunned, Nayan can only ask what he means. It looks like this was a setup. Nayan is stunned, arguing that her friends promised to be there. But Seol-woo just laughs it off. He points out that Taehoon just got a girlfriend 5 days ago and is way too busy being lovey-dovey to show up for a team project. Nayan holds her ground, insisting that even if Taehoon flaked, her best friend Chaya would definitely come. Leaning forward with a knowing smirk, Seol-woo drops the final bomb. He casually asks her who she thinks Taehoon is dating. The realization hits Nayan like a truck. This whole thing was a setup. As Nayan reels from her friend's betrayal, Seol-woo smoothly gets up, announcing he's hungry and it's time to eat. Thinking fast, Nayan figures this is her escape. She'll just suggest they go their separate ways for dinner. But before she can say a word, he reaches over and grabs her backpack right off her shoulders. He casually slings it over his own and asks again what she'd like to eat. Completely stunned, she asks why he has her bag. With a charming smirk, he just says he has too much energy. Stuck with him, Nayan suddenly realizes just how much taller he is. Seol-woo steps closer, noting that she looks pale. He then asks a strange question, if Taehoon has been draining her energy since yesterday. This completely throws Nayan off. Why would he bring up Taehoon now? In her head, she fumes that the only person draining her energy is Seol-woo himself. Looking him dead in the eye, she asks what he's even talking about. Who else could possibly be bothering her? With a devastating smirk, Seol-woo flips her accusation right back at her. He leans in and suggests that maybe he's the real person draining her energy. Completely flustered, Nayan tells him to stop being weird so they can just go eat. But Seol-woo isn't done teasing. He shrugs and says, or not, before finally deciding they should go get some meat. As he leads the way out of the cafe, Nayan follows silently behind him, her heart pounding uncontrollably in her chest. She can't seem to get a handle on him. As they walk, Seol-woo breaks the silence to ask what's on her mind. Nayan is completely lost in thought, her heart pounding relentlessly in her chest. She tries to convince herself she doesn't suddenly like him just because he confessed. There's no way, right? Suddenly, Seol-woo stops and lets out a huge, carefree laugh. Completely taken aback, Nayan stares up at his handsome face. Flustered, she can't help but wonder why on earth he's laughing so hard. Seol-woo explains that he's laughing because she looks so transparent, which only confuses Nayan more. Does he know what she's thinking? He leans in with a smirk, asking why she's staring so hard, teasing that it's making his heart race. As they walk, Nayan stews over how relaxed he is while she's an anxious mess. Seol-woo breaks the silence, asking what kind of meat she'd prefer to eat. Done with the games and her own overthinking, Nayan stops and gives him her real answer. She likes him. But instead of a romantic response, Seol-woo hits her with a total curveball. He completely ignores her confession and asks what kind of fish she likes. Totally stunned, Nayan just plays along, answering that she likes cutlass fish. Seol-woo keeps the ridiculous act going, asking how she prefers it cooked. Flustered, Nayan says she likes it raw. With a devastating smirk, Seol-woo leans in close and notes that she must like eating things raw. Completely mortified, Nayan finally snaps, demanding to know why he's messing with her. With a sly smile, Seol-woo asks what she means, claiming they were just talking about food. He casually steers the conversation back, asking if cutlass fish sashimi is any good. Totally thrown off, Nayan agrees and says her mom makes the best. Turns out her mom owns a sashimi restaurant. Realizing why she likes fish so much, Seol-woo asks what else she enjoys. Without missing a beat, Nayan says she likes soju with her sashimi. This catches him by surprise and he questions if she even drinks, thinking last week was her first time. Seol-woo recalls that Nayan didn't drink at their last 2 meetings, leaving her stunned that he was paying such close attention. She clarifies that she does drink, but usually with her best friend, Chaya. Seeing his opening, Seol-woo smoothly points out that since Taehoon is now with Chaya, Nayan has lost her drinking buddy. He leans in close, telling her to imagine being the awkward third wheel. He reasons that the new couple will be inseparable, making it impossible for her to join them without feeling left out. Seo-woo's words hit home. Nayeon realizes he's right. Ever since Chaya started dating Taehoon, she's been distant. A wave of sadness washes over her as she thinks about drifting apart from her only close friend. Before she can get too lost to her thoughts, Seo-woo breaks the silence with a solution. She can just hang out with him now. Totally baffled, Nayeon asks what he means. He casually explains that since Chaya took Taehoon, he also lost his buddy. They're in the same lonely boat. Nayeon is totally confused. She figures a popular guy like Seo-woo must have tons of friends, so why is he so focused on her? She can't help but wonder if this is some kind of sick joke, maybe a bet between the guys in their class to see who can win her over. Before her thoughts can spiral, Seo-woo cuts in. He calmly notes that since their classes overlap, their free periods probably line up, too. He gently places a hand on her shoulder, making her look up at him, totally flustered. With a charming smile, Seo-woo asks Nayeon to just hang out with him, and his smooth offer works. Soon, they're sitting across from each other at a sashimi restaurant. As they look over the menu, Seo-woo brings up Nayeon's mom's restaurant, which leads him to open up about his own family. The mood shifts as he reveals his dad passed away when he was young, so his mom had to run different restaurants to raise him. Pouring a drink, he silently regrets sharing such personal details so suddenly. Seo-woo's story hits a nerve, making Nayeon suddenly miss her own mom. Seeing her sad expression, Seo-woo quietly understands and suggests they have a drink. The mood shifts as they start knocking back glasses of soju. With her cheeks flushed, Nayeon downs another shot without hesitation, trying to drink away her feelings. All the while, Seo-woo just watches her silently, a thoughtful look on his face, as the bottles on the table start to multiply. Giddy from the drinks, Nayeon finally asks Seo-woo why he likes her. His answer is devastatingly simple, because she's pretty. The direct compliment completely flusters her, and she erupts into laughter, calling him pretty too. With a smirk, Seo-woo corrects her, insisting he's handsome. He then jokes that mirrors have been around for ages, so of course he knows. When Nayeon claims she's not that attractive, he cheekily offers to teach her how to use a mirror. Watching her laugh, Seo-woo quietly observes how the alcohol is bringing out her joy. Leaning in with a confident smirk, Seo-woo credits the alcohol for giving him courage. Still flustered, Nayeon tries to turn him down once more, explaining that she's not ready to date, especially someone as popular as him. His attention, she admits, is a bit too much pressure. Amused, Seo-woo asks if this is her perfect rejection. When she gives a tiny nod, he smoothly changes the subject entirely, asking about her mom's sashimi restaurant. Nayeon tells him it's in Yosu, agreeing that she can't visit very often. Seo-woo looks at her intently, asking if her rejection means they can't even be friends. The question catches Nayeon completely off guard. Not wanting to seem cold, she quickly stammers that being friends is fine. With a sly smile, Seo-woo reaches across the table, offering a handshake to seal their new deal. But when she places her hand in his, he doesn't let go. Instead, he gently holds it, noting how cold her hand is. The simple, unexpected touch leaves Nayeon flustered and speechless. As Seo-woo holds her hand, Nayeon's heart races. He notes that while her hands are cold, her cheeks are cute and flushed from the alcohol. Completely flustered, Nayeon can only stare. Seo-woo just smirks, playfully asking if he's not allowed to call his new friend cute. Overwhelmed, Nayeon reflects on the crazy situation. Someone as radiant as a star just confessed to her. She thinks she might regret rejecting him someday, but for now, she'll treasure this moment as a perfectly romantic memory. Just as he did before, Seo-woo walks Nayeon all the way to her apartment building. He even remembers she lives on the 3rd floor. At the entrance, he promises to wait until he sees her get inside safely. After telling him to take care, Nayeon heads up the stairs. Curious, she peeks over the railing once she reaches her floor, wondering if he's already left. But he's still there, looking right up at her. He gives a gentle wave goodbye, and she shyly returns a gesture, watching him until he disappears. Once safely inside, Nayeon's phone buzzes. It's a message from Seo-woo, confirming he saw her get in and is leaving. She's stunned he actually waited until she was fully in her room. Rushing to the window, she watches him walk away, suddenly wishing he'd turn around just once. She quickly sends a text telling him to take care. Down on the street, Seo-woo stops as his phone dings. He reads her message, then turns around and looks directly up at her window, their eyes meeting one last time. Flustered, Nayeon ducks behind the curtain, her cheeks still burning as she wonders why she's hiding. After a final goodnight text, Seo-woo finally walks away, but he has already made a permanent home in her thoughts. For several nights afterward, Nayeon finds herself dreaming of him. She sees them walking endlessly down quiet alleys, talking late into the night. She relives the moment he sang on stage, his eyes locking onto hers as he gave a small wave. The memories of their brief encounter are stuck on a loop in her head. Her dreams of Seolwoo were getting stranger. This time, he appeared with a wriggling cutlass fish, calling her name with a charming smile. Her phone alarm blares, pulling her from the bizarre vision. Groaning, Nayeon sits up, tired of him invading her sleep. But while he's the star of her nights, he's a ghost during the day. She scans her classes, but there's no sign of him. An entire week passes, and Seolwoo still hasn't shown up to campus, leaving Nayeon to wonder where he could be. While hanging out with friends, Nayeon can't stop thinking about Seolwoo's week-long absence. She worries he's avoiding her after the rejection and feels it would be selfish to reach out. Her friend, Munyoung, notices her dazed expression and asks if she's feeling sick. Nayeon brushes it off, blaming assignments. That's when her other friend casually mentions that Seolwoo has been out because he caught the flu. The news hits Nayeon hard. It turns out his fever spiked so badly that he even had to go to the emergency room. Feeling like the ultimate third wheel, Nayeon watches her friends get mushy. Taehoon tells Chaya to stay healthy because he can't kiss her if she's sick. That's Nayeon's cue to bounce. Announcing her departure, she grabs her bag and heads out. Walking alone through the city, she feels a pang of loneliness. Her best friend didn't even ask her to stay. Just as she's wrestling with the thought of calling Seolwoo to check on him, a familiar voice asks her to walk with him. She turns, completely stunned to see Seolwoo standing right there. Giving in to her worry, Nayeon finally calls Seolwoo. She asks if he's really okay, mentioning that she heard he'd even gone to the emergency room. Seolwoo just laughs it off, saying the flu is fine. He claims the real problem is his broken heart from her rejection, but a rough cough gives away his teasing. Hearing how sick he actually sounds makes Nayeon's chest ache. As she walks, she grills him about the band, but he flips the script, cheekily asking if she's freaking out because she misses him, too. His voice softens as he admits he was just worried because he really misses his friend. Nayeon's face flushes, her true feelings caught in her throat. Panicking, she quickly says she's home and has to hang up because her hands are freezing. After a quick goodbye, she walks into her apartment, slightly annoyed he let her go so easily. With a heavy sigh, Nayeon collapses onto her bed, completely flustered. But on the other end of the line, a sly smirk spreads across Seolwoo's face. He knows exactly the effect he's having on her. Tossing and turning, Nayeon can't get him out of her head. This guy is seriously driving her crazy. She must have dozed off, because a sudden vibration from her phone jolts her awake. Groggily, she answers the call. It's Seolwoo. Before she can even process what's happening, he asks her to come out. Confused, she asks where he is. Seolwoo drops a bombshell. He's standing right outside her door. Nayeon sits bolt upright, her mind completely blank with shock. This guy just doesn't quit. Snapping out of her shock, Nayeon agrees to come out, telling him to just wait a second. She frantically grabs her coat and throws it on, rushing towards the door. Pausing for a quick self-check, she smooths her hair down, figuring she looks decent enough. Taking a breath, she swings the door open and steps outside. And there he is. Standing at the bottom of the stairs in the cold night air, Seolwoo waits patiently, holding a small gift bag. He actually came. Seolwoo's gaze softens with worry as he asks if she should be out in the cold, afraid her sickness might get worse. Nayeon, completely flustered, just touches her forehead, caught off guard by his concern. He then holds out the gift bag. When she asks what it is, he explains he brought it over after she mentioned her hands were freezing on the phone. This guy is unbelievably smooth, using her own words to create the perfect excuse to see her again. He's playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. Nayeon is completely touched, asking if he really came all this way just for her, especially while he was sick. She fiddles with her sleeve, wanting to offer him tea before he leaves in the cold. But Seolwoo is way ahead of her. He says now that he's seen her face, he's ready to go. With a casual wave, he tells her to wear gloves and hurry inside so that he can finally go home. Stunned by his smooth-as-butter exit, all Nayeon can do is agree before she closes the door, her mind completely blown. Just as he's about to leave for good, Nayeon flings the door back open. She leans out into the night and yells for him to call her when he gets home, wanting to know he arrived safely. Down the street, Seolwoo glances back at her window several times before finally disappearing around the corner. The next day at school, a couple of girls are still buzzing about the concert. While Taehoon was great, they agree Seolwoo is on a whole other level, blown away by his ability to sing for a full hour. The buzz from the concert hasn't died down. Two girls can't stop gushing over Seolwoo's killer performance, especially when the whole band wore Santa hats. Meanwhile, Nayeon is on the phone with her friend, who's on the same hype train. Her friend offers to send over some pictures, telling a hesitant Nayeon to just take a quick peek. Suddenly, Nayeon's phone is flooded with photos of a sweaty Seol-woo on stage, looking like a rock god. Completely flustered, Nayeon tries to play it cool, muttering that his good looks are old news. Her friend continues spilling the tea, dishing out the juicy details from the afterparty. The band had rented out a whole pub near campus to celebrate, and even some of the graduated members showed up. In the middle of the party, one brave girl decided to shoot her shot. She walked right up to Seol-woo and asked him point-blank if he wanted to date her. But without a moment's hesitation, Seol-woo shut her down with a cold, simple no. The table went silent, leaving the girl absolutely mortified as her face turned beet red. The girl's friend is furious on her behalf. She stands up, calling Seol-woo rude for rejecting a senior so bluntly. One of the older guys joins in, telling Seol-woo he's in for it now, and shoves a drink in his hand. Later, we see Seol-woo outside, holding up a completely wasted Taehoon. Back inside, the senior girl corners Seol-woo again, demanding to know if he rejected her friend just because she was older. Seol-woo stays silent, looking down at his drink with a faint blush on his cheeks. The senior presses Seol-woo, demanding answers. But before he can speak, another woman steps in, telling the girl to back off. Furious, the senior demands to know who she is to interfere, declaring that she liked Seol-woo first. As the two women get ready to throw down, Seol-woo, blushing and annoyed, downs his entire drink and slams the glass on the table. Later on the phone, Nayeon's friend reveals the hilarious truth. Seol-woo wasn't being cool, he was completely wasted and suddenly burst into tears. Nayeon listens, completely shocked, as her friend continues the story. Seol-woo wasn't just sad, he was sobbing his heart out at the table, killing the party vibe instantly. The real shocker, though, was what he said through his tears. He confessed that he couldn't accept anyone's feelings because he himself had been rejected recently and knew how much it hurt. This bombshell sent the whole band into a frenzy. Suddenly, they were all on a manhunt, desperate to find the one girl who had actually turned down their lead singer. On the phone, Chaya explains that the senior threatened to force a public confession out of Seol-woo on social media, so she had to step in. But now, she's obsessed with the real question. Who exactly rejected him? Nayeon freezes, her face flushing as she plays dumb. Her friend presses on, mentioning that even Taehoon has no idea. As Nayeon quietly celebrates her secret being safe, her phone buzzes. She cuts the call short, only to stare in shock at the screen. It's due Seol-woo, and he's calling her right now. Answering the phone, Nayeon is caught off guard. Seol-woo immediately asks why she missed the afterparty, telling her he was disappointed not to see her. Hearing his voice, Nayeon can only think about him crying his eyes out, and a wave of guilt washes over her. He then boasts about getting a business card from an agency and asks if he should become a singer. Then, his voice turning sly, he asks a loaded question. If he became a famous singer, would she finally like him back? Stunned into silence, Nayeon dodges the loaded question with a joke, promising to make him a fan cafe if he gets famous. Seol-woo laughs and smoothly changes the subject to her part-time job. She tells him it's her break, but then points out that his voice sounds hoarse and tired. She bites her tongue, stopping herself from asking if he's okay. She can't let him know she heard about the afterparty. Just then, his voice drops, and he quietly admits that things have been really tough for him. Overwhelmed with regret, Nayeon thinks she should have rejected Seol-woo completely instead of agreeing to be friends. To end the call, she says she has to go to work. But Seol-woo is quick, asking what time she usually gets home. A painful memory of being abandoned flashes in her mind, and she finds she can't just cut him off abruptly. Answering his question, she ends the call with a heavy heart. She knows what she is to do now. Slowly, she must distance herself from him, even as a friend. After ending the call, Nayeon clutches her chest, feeling a sudden tightness. A wave of regret washes over her, and she buries her face in her hands, confused by her own sorrow. Why does she feel so awful? Is it because she missed his performance? Or is it because the thought of Seol-woo being heartbroken upsets her so much? As memories flash through her mind, she wonders if this feeling is because she regrets pushing him away, or worse, because she regrets not accepting his feelings in the first place. Images of Seol-woo flash through her mind, the night he confessed, and their easy chats over dinner. Nayeon questions if her heart aches simply because she feels sorry that they can't even be friends anymore. Overwhelmed, she hides her face. She feels like she's legally an adult but is still so inexperienced, acting more clumsily with every passing day. Lost in thought, Nayeon wonders how long she'll be stuck in this awkward phase, caught somewhere between childhood and adulthood. Her emotional turmoil is reaching a breaking point. Just as Nayeon is lost in her emotional turmoil, the door slides open. An older woman walks in and immediately notices Nayeon's red, puffy eyes, asking if she's been crying. Nayeon quickly denies it, claiming she's just tired from her exam. The woman tells her to go rest, saying she and Nayun's aunt can handle dinner, especially after how chaotic yesterday was. But Nayun refuses. With reservations doubling today, there's no time for rest. Pushing her feelings aside, she walks to the sink to wash her hands, determined to work through the pain. As Nayun works, her mother calls out and offers her a piece of chocolate. After a moment, the woman asks if Nayun plans to keep living in her rented room. Nayun confirms she will stay until February but then suggests moving into the dorms instead. Her mother immediately dismisses the idea, worried that Nayun will struggle and skip meals. She hates seeing her daughter suffer so far away. In a stunning offer, she suggests closing their restaurant and moving to Seoul to be with Nayun, prompting her aunt to comment that Nayun is still a kid. The aunt is completely floored by this wild suggestion, but Nayun's mother is dead serious, promising to move her to a nicer place. Overwhelmed with guilt, Nayun remembers her mom telling her not to work part-time. She already feels like a burden and can't accept this. Firmly, she rejects the offer. A memory of Seol-woo waving goodbye flashes in her mind, and it clicks. Suddenly, she doesn't want to leave her room anymore. After all, it's conveniently close to the engineering building. Her mom gives her a comforting pat, telling her to always share her troubles. Nayun's mom gushes about how admirable and pretty her daughter is. A little embarrassed, Nayun just smiles and says she takes after her, and the two share a laugh. The restaurant was absolutely slammed that night, with customers flooding in non-stop until 1 in the morning. After a grueling shift, Nayun finally got home and immediately collapsed into bed, falling fast asleep. She had planned on purpose to create some distance, but she was so exhausted she didn't even see the late-night message that Seol-woo had sent her. The next morning, Nayun is hard at work at her family's restaurant. While she's busy preparing food, her phone vibrates relentlessly on the counter. Her aunt, Yeonjong, notices and tells her it's been ringing for a while. Nayun, however, brushes it off, asking her aunt to ignore it for now. She throws herself into her work, taking orders from customers with a professional smile. By the time the last customer leaves and the restaurant is finally empty, Nayun is completely drained, letting out a long, exhausted sigh. Finally getting a break, Nayun sips her drink, completely wiped out. The last couple of days have been a total blur. She grabs her phone and sees several missed messages from Seol-woo. Tapping on the notification, her eyes go wide. It's a picture of him smiling and flashing a peace sign at a train station with a simple message. "Guess where I am?" Nayun nearly chokes. That's the Yosu Expo station. Her station. In a flash of panic, she wonders if Seol-woo is actually in her hometown right now. The next morning, Nayun bolts upright as her phone buzzes. It's a call from Seol-woo. Still groggy from her exhausting shift, she nervously answers. Seol-woo's voice is cheerful as he asks if she's busy. Cutting straight to the point, she demands to know where he is. His response is bizarre. He says he's with a stingray. Before she can process that, he mentions seeing a cute beluga whale. The location clicks into place. Seol-woo is at the aquarium, right there in her hometown. He actually came. Nayun reels from the shock. The aquarium is only a 10-minute drive away. Over the phone, Seol-woo says he's hungry and wants to try some grilled cutlass fish sashimi. Trying to get out of it, Nayun claims the dinner reservations are full. But her aunt, Yeonjong, overhears the conversation and quickly corrects her, shouting that they aren't busy at all. When her aunt asks if it's a friend, she tells Nayun to invite them over. Hearing everything, Seol-woo playfully asks if her mom is inviting him. Mortified, Nayun clarifies it's her aunt. Before Nayun can react, her aunt snatches the phone, happily telling Seol-woo to take a taxi to her restaurant, Yeonjong. Mortified, Nayun tries to shut her down, but the damage is done. Over the phone, Seol-woo is clearly amused, commenting that the name is pretty. He hangs up, promising he's on his way. A moment later, the front door of the restaurant slides open. While stocking shelves in the kitchen, Nayun hears the welcome greeting, and her blood runs cold. He actually came. Seol-woo stands in the doorway, confidently introducing himself to Yeonjong as Nayun's school friend. Nayun's aunt is immediately dazzled, complimenting his looks before bluntly asking if he's Nayun's boyfriend. The question catches Seol-woo completely off guard, and a deep blush creeps across his face as he insists they are just friends. Mortified by his flustered reaction, Nayun protests loudly. But seeing the handsome boy blush so hard, her family doesn't seem to believe the just friends story for a second. Trying to sound casual, Seol-woo explains that his grandmother lives nearby, so he just dropped in. But one of the staff members interjects, telling Nayun's aunt that his excuse is just a polite way of saying Nayun wasn't his main reason for visiting. Hearing this, Nayun wants the ground to swallow her whole. Her aunt, however, isn't having any of it. She scoffs at the idea of sending a guest away hungry, warmly inviting Seol-woo inside for sashimi. She then orders a blushing Nayun to go entertain her friend. Nayeon realizes with a sinking feeling that the distance she tried so hard to keep from Seol-woo was rapidly shrinking. Sitting across from her, Seol-woo compliments the pretty restaurant. Nayeon curtly replies it's her mother's taste. As she sets a bottle of water on the table, she finally confronts him, demanding to know why he really came here. Instead of answering, Seol-woo just looks at her, calmly takes a sip of water, and lets the question hang in the air between them. Her heart pounds while she waits for his answer. Fidgeting with his cup, Seol-woo finally explains that he came because he was worried something bad might have happened to her. Nayeon, completely unconvinced, presses him about what bad thing he could possibly mean. Seol-woo hesitates, a blush creeping up his neck as he struggles for an answer. But before he can respond, Nayeon's aunt cuts in, fawning over how handsome he is. She immediately starts grilling him, wanting to know how he and Nayeon know each other and if they're classmates, leaving Nayeon mortified and Seol-woo completely flustered. Hoping her family won't notice the awkward tension, Nayeon holds her breath. But Seol-woo smoothly plays along, telling her aunt they're in the same department and even calling her beautiful. Completely charmed, her aunt urges him to eat. Seol-woo inspects the platter of sashimi, correctly naming each type of fish. He then points to a specific piece, cutlass fish, and casually asks Nayeon if it's her favorite. Nayeon is completely stunned. He remembered such a small detail, and she knows that particular dish was specially prepared just for this meal. Nayeon realizes her mom must have prepared her favorite dish on purpose. As Seol-woo takes a bite and calls it delicious, her mind flashes back to a past conversation. She'd asked if he actually skipped lunch, and he confirmed he was waiting to eat with her. Nayeon reminded him she rarely checks her messages, questioning his plan. He just shrugged, saying skipping one meal wouldn't kill him. Then, with a sudden seriousness, he put his chopsticks down and admitted that waiting for her was better than eating alone. Snapping back to the present, Nayeon's mind reels. What was he really waiting for? Trying to cut through the heavy atmosphere, she asks if he plans on heading back to Seoul now. Seol-woo looks away, a troubled expression on his face. He lets out a sigh, admitting that he had been hoping he was wrong about something. His gaze then becomes intense, locking directly onto hers. With a sudden seriousness, he uses her full name and declares that he was right all along. Flustered by his declaration, Nayeon abruptly slams her hands on the table. She announces she has to start work and tells him to have a safe trip. But her escape is cut short when her aunt appears, struggling with a heavy crate. Nayeon rushes to help, offering to take it from her. Before she can, however, Seol-woo smoothly intercepts. He gently takes the crate, telling her aunt that she doesn't have to carry it. Completely charmed, she directs him to the fridge, and he cheerfully follows her instructions, fitting in perfectly. Just as Nayeon's coworker mentions needing to restock the soju, Seol-woo spots a burnt-out light bulb on the ceiling. Effortlessly reaching up, he unscrews the bulb, a task the aunt admits usually requires a chair. Impressed, she asks for his height, and he coolly replies that he's 187 centimeters, offering to replace any others. Before she can answer, another staff member arrives, announcing that Nayeon's reservation is here. Snapping back into work mode, Nayeon turns to professionally greet the new group of customers at the door. The dinner rush is in full swing, and Nayeon is swamped. As she turns from a table, she's startled to find Seol-woo right behind her, clearing dishes. She asks why he's still there, and he explains with a sly grin that her mom promised to pay him well. He casually calls it a friend helping out with the family business, making it sound like no big deal. Before Nayeon can even react, the chaos continues. Once things quiet down, Seol-woo places 2 energy drinks on the counter, commenting on how hectic it was. Nayeon's mom warmly thanks Seol-woo, admitting the previous night's rush was a lot easier with his help. Ever the charmer, Seol-woo asks if he should stay and help for a few more days. But her mom politely declines, explaining that it would make her and Nayeon uncomfortable. Nayeon watches in admiration, impressed by her mother's tact. Her mom then pushes her to go out and have fun with the friend who came all this way. When Nayeon protests, a co-worker chimes in, telling her to go on and enjoy herself. Forced out of the restaurant, Nayeon internally admits the customers were just an excuse. The truth is, she's just awkward about spending time alone with Seol-woo. Before they can leave, her mom hands Seol-woo an envelope with his pay. She then asks him to get Nayeon home by 11, worried that she's been exhausted lately. Like a total gentleman, Seol-woo agrees. After waving goodbye, the two finally head out into the night, walking down the quiet street together. As they walk side by side, Nayeon feels a pang of guilt. She remembers how hard Seol-woo worked helping out and thinks it feels wrong to just send him home. Noticing her hesitation, Seol-woo stops and asks if there's anywhere she wants to go. Nayeon pauses for a moment, her mind made up. Looking directly at him, she says that she wants to ride the cable car. The sudden, specific request hangs in the cool night air, catching him by surprise as she holds his gaze with newfound determination. Without missing a beat, Seo-woo simply agrees. The two quickly hop into a taxi, letting the neon city lights flash by as they head to their destination. Soon, they arrive at the cable car station where an attendant wishes them a good time. The car doors slide shut, sealing them in their own private space high above the ground. As they begin to ascend, an awkward silence fills the air. Nayeon keeps her eyes glued to her lap, totally flustered, while Seo-woo calmly gazes out at the sparkling cityscape below. Seo-woo cuts right through the awkwardness, asking Nayeon if she was thinking about ending their friendship. Before she can even answer, he confirms his own suspicion with a simple yes. He then admits that her conflicted feelings are exactly why he showed up without a plan. He was genuinely worried she might tell him she never wanted to see him again, and he didn't know what he would do. Nayeon is totally shocked. This guy somehow figured out all her inner turmoil from one short phone call, even before she had sorted anything out herself. Nayeon instantly regrets turning away so abruptly, and a single tear escapes, rolling down her cheek. She tries to hide her face, but Seo-woo notices right away. He softly asks why she's crying. He then warns her that if she cries, he'll end up thinking differently again, threatening their fragile just-friends agreement. Leaning in with a serious look, he asks if she feels sorry for him. He then wonders aloud if he should make her feel even sorrier and use that sympathy to his advantage. Seo-woo's playful teasing stops as he thinks to himself. He feels like he's just going to keep bothering this good kid. Staring out at the water, he lets out a heavy sigh, wondering how they're supposed to sort all this out slowly. Nayeon is completely flustered, hiding her blushing face from his intense gaze. Seeing her reaction, Seo-woo gently reminds her that he already told her waiting might be the best option. Later, he stands outside a station, smiling down at his phone, seemingly content with his patient approach. Seo-woo recalls the agonizing wait, remembering the excitement he felt just being in the same city as her. Standing outside the station, he stared at their chat on his phone. He had sent her a picture, desperately hoping for a call. He told himself to just hold on for one more day, praying he might get to see her after her shift. It was that single, fragile hope that he clung to, allowing him to patiently endure the silence and wait for her to be ready. Seo-woo sighs, telling Nayeon she has no idea how long or how much he's liked her. Nayeon argues back that he likes her without truly knowing who she is. With a knowing smirk, he counters that if loving someone was based on how well you knew them, no one would ever break up. He asks if she really plans to never date again. Declaring that he'll wait until she's ready, Seo-woo makes one simple request. When she finally decides to meet someone, he wants her to consider him, too. Nayeon reminds Seo-woo that he agreed to be friends, so she expects him to stay by her side as one. With a sly grin, he teases that maybe one day she'll like him, but by then, he'll be the one to reject her. Nayeon's face burns red. He then flips the script, asking what would happen if he started dating someone else. Would that change anything for her? While she silently struggles with the thought, Seo-woo makes a simple request. Since they decided on friendship, she shouldn't so obviously push him away. Seo-woo asks if she dislikes him that much. Panicked, Nayeon denies it, admitting that if he keeps pressuring her, she feels like her heart might just give out. After a tense pause, she softly calls out his name. Surprised, Seo-woo's face flushes with a happy blush. He teases that hearing her say his name so suddenly makes his heart race. Nayeon flinches at his bluntness. Realizing he went too far, Seo-woo sighs and promises to stop, then asks her why she called for him. Still flustered, Nayeon asks Seo-woo if he's ever liked anyone else. His teasing expression melts away, replaced by a soft, genuine smile. He looks at her and confesses that she's the very first person he's ever felt this way about. The scene flashes back to the moment he first saw her during their open-source programming class. While another student was complaining about the lack of girls in their department, Seo-woo's gaze was already fixed on Nayeon. From that very first day, she was the only one he noticed. The flashback continues to Seo-woo's first day of class. While other guys complained about the lack of girls in their engineering department, Seo-woo was completely unbothered. One student even pulled up the online student list to check out pictures, asking Seo-woo if he wasn't curious. Seo-woo replied coolly that he'd meet them when he meets them. As the guys continued to gossip about finding a department goddess, he grew annoyed, wondering why they were making such a big deal out of judging people by their looks. Seo-woo recalls his classmates ranking girls, disgusted by their shallow assumptions. This was nothing new to him. Back at his old academy, rumors spread like wildfire. They whispered that he wasn't smart enough for medical school, claiming engineering was his only option. Others gossiped that he was a heartbreaker who inherited his good looks. But Seo-woo knew the truth. He never wanted to be a doctor and wasn't interested in dating, so he rejected everyone to avoid trouble. All that mindless gossip was just meaningless noise he had learned to ignore. Seol-woo recalls his past, where his looks made him both admired and envied. People would build him up only to tear him down with baseless, cruel rumors. The gossip grew vicious, with whispers that he'd abandoned a pregnant girlfriend, when in reality, he'd never even held a girl's hand. He wanted a fresh start. Back in the present, his classmate is practically vibrating with excitement over the girls at school. Completely annoyed by the shallow conversation, Seol-woo cuts him off, coldly asking if he's finally done talking. Seol-woo decides it's better not to engage with this kind of conversation. But his head snaps up when a classmate suddenly mentions a girl named Hwang Na-yoon. Another student says he hasn't seen her since her group chat picture is generic. They quickly pull up her official student photo, and the guys are captivated, calling her strangely pretty. One girl finds it odd, saying Na-yoon gives off the vibe of a beautiful ghost from a scary story. As the guys get spooked by this strange comparison, the classroom door suddenly slides open. Just as they mention her name, the gossiping students practically leap out of their skin. Hwang Na-yoon herself has just walked into the classroom. While the others are completely spooked, Seol-woo simply watches her, intrigued. She strolls past his desk, completely unaware of the commotion she's caused. As her long black hair brushes past him, he catches the clean, simple scent of soap. In that moment, the rumored ghost seems incredibly real, and he finds himself captivated by her quiet presence, a world away from the wild stories he'd just overheard. The clean scent of soap hits Seol-woo as Na-yoon's long hair sweeps past his desk. He can't help but turn and watch her go. She finds a seat, completely oblivious, and gracefully tucks a strand of hair behind her ear. His eyes are immediately drawn to her hands. They're slender and pale, almost like a doll's. His stare must be intense, because Na-yoon suddenly freezes, her eyes widening as if she physically felt his gaze on her. He's been caught. Seol-woo finally works up the nerve to greet her with a quiet hello. He instantly regrets it, scolding himself for such a clumsy approach. Should he be casual or formal? He's totally fumbling it. Na-yoon just blinks in response, her hand nervously gripping her jacket. Just as the awkward silence stretches, the professor walks in, announcing that class is starting. They both face forward, trying to act normal. But beneath their calm masks, both of their hearts are pounding like crazy. The tension is real, and class has just begun. Two guys are stressing over the final for their IT class, a huge team project. One comes up with a scummy plan: get Hwang Na-yoon on their team. Since she's the top student, they can just ride her coattails to an easy A. Unfortunately for them, Seol-woo overhears every word, and he is not pleased. He storms over to classmate Manhwa and demands Na-yoon's number. She scoffs, revealing he's the 20th freeloader to ask. But Seol-woo clarifies his real motive. He wants to warn Na-yoon about people trying to use her. Manhwa fires back, questioning who he is to get involved in Na-yoon's business. Seol-woo insists Na-yoon is smart and knows people are using her, but she's too kind to cause conflict. Manhwa then reveals that as the class rep, she already tried warning her. She flips the script on Seol-woo, asking why he's so invested. She points out that his popularity could easily disrupt the life of an introvert like Na-yoon, who hates being the center of attention. Her words strike a nerve, and Seol-woo has to admit she's right. Seol-woo freezes, realizing Manhwa is right. Getting involved will only drag Na-yoon into a storm of rumors. Before he can process it, Manhwa cuts straight to the point, asking if he likes Na-yoon. He's completely stunned into silence. She explains that while everyone else wants to use Na-yoon for grades, he's the first person to actually worry about her. Later, as Seol-woo strums his guitar, her question echoes in his head. He's always avoided girls to prevent drama and realizes he's never dated anyone. Is this overwhelming concern actually a crush? Seol-woo strums his guitar, lost in a flashback. He remembers telling his dad he only joined the high school band to pad his resume, but his dad saw right through him. He questioned why Seol-woo would give up something he loved because of what others thought, encouraging him to find his own world. Back in the present, his bandmates are gossiping. Ah-hyung points out that Seol-woo has rejected over 30 confessions. But the Nuna of the group chimes in, knowingly stating that guys like him only date when they meet someone they truly like. The Nuna explains that while some people chase the quantity of relationships, Seol-woo is different. He's looking for quality. A vision shows him and Na-yoon walking past each other, two distinct figures in a faceless crowd. Tae-hoon playfully asks her to analyze him next. She calls him out perfectly, saying he's too prideful to confess first. Absolutely stunned, Tae-hoon asks if she's a psychic. She then brings it back to Seol-woo, predicting that he would overthink confessing to someone he likes, spending ages just wrestling with his own feelings. The Nuna concludes her psychic level analysis, predicting Seol-woo will date the first girl he ever confesses to. Later, the group meets for a team dinner at a barbecue restaurant. When a senior asks Nayun if she drinks, she politely declines. Hearing this, Seol-woo suddenly stands up and walks straight to the drink cooler, without a word. He returns a moment later, holding 2 cans of soda. He quietly offers Nayun her choice, making sure she has something to drink. His simple, thoughtful gesture speaks volumes. Nayun chooses the orange soda and cracks it open. From his seat, Seol-woo watches her, a small, knowing look on his face. After dinner, Nayun says her goodbyes and leaves with her friend Chaya. But just as they're heading off, Seol-woo dashes out of the restaurant. He calls out her name, telling her he waited. Before Nayun can react, Chaya launches into an excited plan to get Bingsu and check out a new book release. As they discuss it, Seol-woo quietly overhears them mention Nayun's favorite author, filing away the new piece of information. As Seol-woo tries to leave, a senior spots him and asks where he's going. He makes up a quick excuse about buying a hangover cure, but the senior offers to tag along. Seol-woo freezes, watching Nayun walk away into the night. His mind is a mess. He realizes he's never even properly greeted her and wonders if he should just confess. He quickly dismisses the idea, knowing it would make things awkward. His new mission is to get closer to her first, but as she disappears from sight, he's left wondering how. Seol-woo's mind races as he watches Nayun disappear. He realizes he hasn't even properly greeted her yet. He considers confessing on the spot but dismisses the idea, knowing it would just make things awkward. His new mission is to get closer to her first. His brainstorming session is a mess of failures, with ideas ranging from stalkerish to straight-up illegal. Left with no other choice, he simply prays they end up in the same class. Miraculously, his prayer is answered. Sitting near her in lecture, he finally makes his move and asks her to lunch. As Nayun gets ready to study, her classmate Munyoung approaches, hoping they can get lunch. Nayun politely declines, saying she already has plans to meet a friend at the library. Just a few tables away, Seol-woo watches the exchange. He tries to convince himself he's only there for his books, not to see Nayun or keep an eye on her. But his blushing face gives him away completely. As he steals a glance at her from behind his textbook, he can't help but think to himself that she's cute. Still hiding behind his textbook, a blushing Seol-woo watches Nayun meet up with her friend, Chaya. His mind races, trying to find the perfect excuse to talk to her. He notices them browsing the fantasy novel section and gets an idea. Maybe he could ask about her favorite book? It's a solid plan. Working up his courage, he slowly makes his way over to their aisle. He peeks through a gap in the bookshelf, trying to find the perfect moment to make his move without looking like a total creep. As Seol-woo reaches for a book, his mind suddenly flashes back to the afterparty. The memory hits him hard. He sees Nayun, her cheeks slightly flushed as she holds a small drink. But her intense gaze wasn't meant for him. A voice echoes in his memory, asking Nayun why she was looking at the drummer, Taehoon, like that. The realization makes Seol-woo's own heart pound in his chest. Annoyed and confused, he wonders what kind of look she was giving that other guy. Seol-woo's mind spirals, replaying how Nayun drank alcohol and endured the spotlight, all for the drummer. Just as his jealousy peaks, his worst fear comes to life. Nayun suddenly stands up and walks right over to Taehoon, asking if they can talk for a moment. Seeing his one chance about to be snatched away, Seol-woo panics. He feels a sudden urgency, believing it has to be today. Refusing to just stand by and watch, he decides to jump right into their conversation. Seol-woo's mind flashes back to that snowy night. He remembers confessing his feelings to Nayun, only to get completely rejected. Back in the present, he arrives at a pub where his friends, Seo Munyoung and Hyung, are waiting. They wave him overexcitedly, hyped for the soccer game to start. As they immediately dive into a debate about the team's questionable formation, Hyung is blown away by Munyoung's knowledge. He playfully pinches her cheeks, but Seol-woo just watches them, his expression distant as the memory of his rejection lingers. Hyung continues to playfully tease Munyoung over her soccer knowledge, pinching her cheeks as she tells him to stop. But Munyoung is more focused on their missing friend, wondering why Nayun hasn't arrived. While Hyung mentions an earlier call, Seol-woo suddenly cuts in with a live update, announcing that Nayun is on her way and just reached the school gate. Munyoung is baffled, asking how he knows that. Seol-woo coolly reveals he called her himself. When she questions him contacting Nayun privately, he challenges her, leaving her speechless. Munyoung playfully asks Hyung if he's trying to make her jealous by staring at Taehoon. Already on edge, Seol-woo snaps at Taehoon to focus. But Taehoon just smirks, asking if Seol-woo is jealous because he's single. Just as Seol-woo's about to blow up, his entire mood shifts. Nayun has arrived. Relieved she hasn't missed the game, she slides into the seat beside him. As Nayun starts to take off her coat, Seol-woo quickly opens a menu, using it as a shield to block her from Taehoon's view. Still holding the menu up, Seol-woo asks Nayun what she'd like to drink. He casually suggests an ale, but she has no clue what that is. Seizing the opportunity, he gives her a quick lesson on beer, explaining the difference between fruity Alesh and refreshing lagers. Nayeon listens intently, completely impressed by his random knowledge. She tells him he seems really mature for knowing such things. Hearing this, a confident smirk spreads across Seol-woo's face. He definitely likes that compliment, especially coming from her. Seol-woo internally preens, telling himself he wants to look cool and mature for Nayeon. But his victory is short-lived when Taehoon loudly spills the beans, revealing Seol-woo's knowledge comes from his family's liquor business. Seol-woo sends him a death glare, ready to shut him up permanently. He breathes a sigh of relief, thinking Nayeon didn't hear the embarrassing nickname. But then, she turns to him with a sweet smile and asks if he likes frozen mango. Seol-woo is completely stunned, wondering what on earth she is talking about. Taehoon bursts out laughing, finding Nayeon's random question absolutely hysterical. Confused, Nayeon explains that "ol mango" is slang for someone who fails a confession after relying on their looks. She innocently asks if that's Seol-woo's nickname. Mortified, Seol-woo hides his face. Taehoon gleefully explains that Seol-woo earned the name after crying his eyes out over rejection. Seol-woo shoots him a death stare before leaning close to Nayeon. He asks her to please hold him back before he does something to Taehoon that gets the cops involved. Chaya pipes up, wondering who in their right mind would ever reject a guy like Seol-woo. Completely oblivious, Nayeon enthusiastically agrees, saying she's also dying to know who it was. She even excitedly suggests a cross toast with Chaya. While one of the guys complains about a soccer player, Seol-woo dryly points out the obvious rules of the game. He then turns back to Nayeon, who takes a sip of her beer. He watches her for a moment before raising his own glass with a soft smile, proposing a toast. Seo Munyoung happily comments that it seems they'll be hanging out like this often. He then teases Taehoon, suggesting he and Chaya should just date if he's so jealous. Suddenly, the entire bar erupts as the soccer team scores a goal. In the chaos of the celebration, Taehoon sweeps Chaya up in a hug. Seizing the perfect opportunity, Seol-woo smoothly pulls a surprised Nayeon into his arms. He holds her close amidst the cheering crowd, a soft, triumphant smile on his face as Nayeon blushes against his shoulder. Tucked against Seol-woo's chest, Nayeon is completely flustered, her mind going blank. As the bar's soccer celebration rages on, she wonders if this kind of atmosphere is why so many babies are born after the World Cup. While Taehoon shouts excitedly about the epic goal, completely lost in the game, Seol-woo pays no attention. His focus is entirely on the girl in his arms. He holds her tighter, a faint, contented blush on his cheeks as he breathes in the moment, enjoying his small victory. Still in Seol-woo's embrace, Nayeon listens as he softly asks if she likes ol mango. Just as the moment ends, Seo Munyoung playfully exposes his embarrassing nickname. She teases him, asking if he wants more goals to be scored. Flustered, Seol-woo quickly agrees that the more, the better. The mood shifts as the whole group raises their glasses for a toast. But after the cheer, a friend looks at Nayeon's watery eyes, wondering if she is crying again after getting emotional. Wiping away a tear, Nayeon laughs and says she just got a little emotional. Her friend seizes the opportunity to playfully expose her, explaining that Nayeon cries at the drop of a hat. She gets teary-eyed over birthday songs, the national anthem, and big sports victories. But surprisingly, she won't shed a single tear during a sad movie. As her friends tease her for being complicated and funny, Seol-woo just listens intently. A soft, amused smile touches his lips as he learns another quirky detail about the girl he can't get off his mind. As Nayeon stands to leave, Seol-woo's hand shoots out, grabbing her arm. He asks where she's off to, and she quietly tells him she's just going to the bathroom. The moment she's out of earshot, Seo Munyoung pounces, a mischievous glint in her eyes as she asks Seol-woo about Nayeon. Visibly flustered, he avoids her gaze and orders another beer. While a clueless Taehoon asks what's going on, his girlfriend presses further. Seol-woo quietly confesses he's liked Nayeon since last March, but she warns him that Nayeon is super cautious. Exasperated with her clueless boyfriend, Seo Munyoung finally spells it out for him. The person Seol-woo confessed to was Nayeon. The revelation hits Taehoon like a ton of bricks. He'd been wondering who could possibly reject the campus heartthrob, but hearing it was Nayeon makes perfect sense. His girlfriend explains that Nayeon is laser-focused on her future, strictly managing her grades and joining multiple study groups. She concludes that Nayeon simply isn't the type to date until she's achieved her goals, leaving Taehoon impressed by her dedication. Seol-woo quietly agrees, but admits this knowledge makes him anxious. Nayeon has drawn a clear line, and he's terrified she might fall for someone else while he's stuck in the friend zone. To make matters worse, Munyoung reveals that lots of guys on campus have a crush on Nayeon. Seol-woo points out that Nayeon also kept his confession a secret from her friends. He's determined that Nayeon can't find out how he truly feels, because at least this way, he can still be near her. Manhwa nods in agreement, but her expression suddenly shifts to one of pure shock. Seo Manhwa connects the dots with a wicked grin, asking Seolwoo if he's the one who bawled his eyes out after Nayeon rejected him. Seolwoo's face goes pale as he demands to know if she told Nayeon everything. A memory flashes back to him and Nayeon on a quiet bus ride, where she sadly asked if he planned on ending their friendship, too. Suddenly, the humiliating truth crashes down on him. The real reason Nayeon didn't want to be friends wasn't just caution. It was because she knew about his embarrassing emotional breakdown. Filled with guilt, Taehoon declares that as Nayeon's closest friend, he started this fire and he'll be the one to put it out. Seolwoo enthusiastically offers to join the cause, but Manhwa immediately shoots them down, ordering the boys to do nothing. A flustered Seolwoo quickly agrees, pleading with them not to interfere. Just then a new voice cuts in, asking what he meant. Seolwoo turns in shock to find Nayeon standing right there, demanding an explanation. He's been caught. Trapped, Seolwoo's mind goes blank. As Nayeon waits for an answer, he finds himself totally distracted by her lips. Trying to act casual, he takes a long gulp of his drink. Thankfully, Manhwa cuts in, asking Nayeon if she ate well because her cheeks look extra chubby. Nayeon explains her grandma kept feeding her. Manhwa playfully squishes Nayeon's face, declaring her cheeks just got cuter before turning to ask for Seolwoo's agreement. He scoffs to himself. This wasn't putting out the fire, this was pouring oil on it. Manhwa continues to tease, asking Seolwoo if he agrees about Nayeon's bouncy cheeks. Before he can answer, Seolwoo reaches out and touches Nayeon's face himself. The sudden, gentle contact makes them both freeze. Blushing, Nayeon wonders if her cheeks really got that doughy. Seolwoo is just as stunned, his mind completely blank as he realizes how soft her skin is. He then notices her flushed expression and concludes that she must be drunk. All the while, Manhwa looks on with a victorious, devilish smirk. Her chaos is working perfectly. Lost in the moment, Seolwoo admires Nayeon's soft skin, thinking her cheeks are like adorable dough. He also silently vows to get even with their meddling friends later. Just then, the entire bar erupts in a massive cheer as a goal is scored on TV. The sudden roar startles Nayeon, and she instinctively throws her arms around Seolwoo, burying her face in his shoulder. A second later, she's mortified, feeling guilty for hugging him without permission. But Seolwoo just stands there, completely stunned and blushing from the unexpected embrace. Still stunned, Seolwoo holds Nayeon in his arms. A deep blush creeps across his face as he thinks to himself just how nice it feels. The next morning, Nayeon is completely passed out in her bed. She's exhausted after pulling an all-nighter for an assignment. Suddenly, her phone buzzes, rudely waking her. She groans, annoyed by the interruption. It's her friend Chaya, who immediately asks if she's still sleeping. Nayeon, barely conscious, struggles to answer, wondering what her friend could possibly want at this hour. Still groggy, Nayeon explains that her morning class was cancelled, so she stayed up all night finishing an assignment. Chaya immediately seizes the opportunity, asking Nayeon to come with her to the 3 days concert tonight, saying it would be awkward to go alone. Being a good friend, Nayeon agrees. Chaya sets a meeting time and tells her to get some rest. But after hanging up, Nayeon collapses onto her bed, her mind now racing. The all-important question pops into her head. What is she going to wear? The scene then shifts to the concert venue. Arriving at the packed venue, Nayeon sees groups of high school students in the crowd. Chaya explains that 3 days is so famous they even play at school festivals now. Nearby, a few girls gossip about how handsome the band members are, with one admitting she likes the drummer, Taehoon. Overhearing them, Chaya smirks and confidently tells the student that the drummer is hers. Nayeon is completely stunned by her friend's bold declaration. Suddenly, the stage lights flare up, and the entire venue erupts in screams as 3 days finally makes their entrance. As Seolwoo takes the stage, his voice immediately captivates the entire crowd. The fans erupt, but Nayeon's attention is snagged by a girl next to her gushing about how insanely attractive he is. Chaya enthusiastically agrees, but Nayeon just feels a strange wave of annoyance. She asks herself why she's so bothered. Is it their crude language? Or, she realizes with a jolt, is it because she can't stand hearing other girls praise Seolwoo? This unexpected flash of jealousy leaves her completely stunned and confused. Nayeon quickly scolds herself, thinking she's just an old-fashioned prude who can't stand hearing teenagers curse. But as the music swells, her weak excuse falls apart. On stage, Seolwoo's voice washes over the crowd, his presence absolutely magnetic. Nayeon's heart starts hammering in her chest, perfectly in sync with the beat. She looks up, her eyes glued to him, completely captivated. The truth hits her like a lightning bolt. Her jealousy had nothing to do with crude language and everything to do with him. The roaring crowd is deafening, but one high school girl's shriek cuts through the noise as she yells a marriage proposal at Seolwoo. Watching this younger student so openly confess her feelings, Nayeon feels a sudden pang of envy for her boldness. As Nayeon's gaze drifts back to the stage, she's lost in her own thoughts. But in that exact moment, Seolwoo's eyes scan the crowd and lock directly onto hers. Nayeon's breath catches in her throat, her face flushing as she wonders if their eyes really, truly just met. His eyes lock onto Nayeon's, and a confident smirk plays on his lips. Frozen in place, Nayeon's mind spirals, wondering if he's really looking directly at her. Seolwoo then turns back to the mic, casually responding to the fans' proposal by saying he won't marry her. This only makes the high school girls shriek with even more excitement. Annoyed, Nayeon scoffs at them for even thinking about dating. Chaya notices her friend's sour mood and asks what's wrong, but Nayeon quickly brushes it off, insisting that she's perfectly fine. Nayeon seethes in silence, totally unable to explain that she's jealous of the fangirls. As if on cue, Seolwoo cranks up the heat on stage, lifting his shirt for some next-level fan service. The crowd goes absolutely nuts. While Chaya is losing her mind, Seo Munyoung notices Nayeon looks deathly ill. He asks if she's okay, but she just shuts him down. Before Nayeon can even catch her breath, Chaya is already dragging her off, eager to meet up with her crush, Taehoon. Chaya rushes to Taehoon backstage, gushing over his amazing performance. As they embrace, Nayeon watches from a distance, acknowledging how genuine Taehoon's feelings are for her best friend. But she isn't prepared for what comes next, as the new couple shares a sweet kiss right in the hallway. A bit flustered, Nayeon looks away, unable to stay indifferent to their affection. Nearby, Seolwoo is still fending off fangirls, coldly telling a determined student to focus on studying instead of coming to all his shows. The persistent fangirl refuses to back down. She proudly announces that she aced her mock exams and can easily get into a top university. As Nayeon watches the scene unfold, she silently notes the girl isn't actually too young to be dating. Seolwoo, however, just scoffs at the girl's desperate attempt to impress him. Fed up with the drama, Nayeon abruptly turns and walks away. When her friends ask where she's going, she mumbles that she's just heading to the bathroom, needing a moment to escape the chaos. Overwhelmed, Nayeon makes a run for it, realizing she can no longer hide behind her old-fashioned excuses. She escapes into the women's restroom, the door clicking shut as she desperately seeks a moment alone. The emotional dam inside her chest finally breaks, and she clutches her face, totally lost on what to do next. After that night, Nayeon makes a difficult choice. She begins to consciously distance herself from Seolwoo and his friends, silently walking a few steps behind them as she tries to sort out her chaotic feelings. Nayeon used studying as an excuse to distance herself from her friends. Though she and Seolwoo shared a few classes, he seemed to be respecting her boundaries, never approaching her recklessly like before. She tried to convince herself that he was sorting out his feelings and that it was better for them to drift apart. But a nagging doubt crept in. Was this really for the best? Before she could dwell on it, finals began. As Nayeon headed out with her backpack, a voice suddenly called out her name, stopping her in her tracks. It's her friend, Chaya, who excitedly says she missed Nayeon and wants to hang out now that finals are over. But Nayeon is completely drained. She gently holds her friend back, explaining she's exhausted after pulling all-nighters for a tough Latin exam. As they talk, Nayeon reflects on their different paths. Chaya chose Spanish out of pure passion, while Nayeon picked computer engineering for its job security. She admires her friend's ability to follow her heart, realizing with a hint of regret how little her own preferences factored into her life choices. Chaya casually mentions that since Seolwoo has dinner plans, she'll just hang out with Taehoon. Completely out of the loop, Nayeon asks what she means. Chaya can't believe Nayeon is so unaware of her own department's gossip. She drops the bomb. The computer engineering guys are having a huge group blind date with the first-year musical theater girls. Nayeon is stunned, but Chaya delivers the final blow. The real reason everyone is freaking out is that Seolwoo himself is going, too. The news hits Nayeon like a lightning bolt. The bombshell about the blind date sends Nayeon's mind spinning. Suddenly, she remembers hearing about the semester-end party getting rescheduled and checks her phone to confirm. While walking with Chaya, an idea takes hold. She abruptly stops, telling her friend she left something behind in the lecture room. Urging Chaya to go on without her, Nayeon takes off in a full sprint down the campus hallway. She has to find Seolwoo, but her first thought is a frantic one. What class did he have just now? Panting for breath, Nayeon frantically searches for Seolwoo's classroom. She remembers the course name, computer systems, and assembly language, but can't recall the floor. Just as she sprints up a flight of stairs, someone calls her name. A hand shoots out, grabbing her arm and pulling her to a sudden stop. It's Seolwoo. He studies her, his expression filled with concern as he holds her close. He asks what's wrong, wondering if something happened. But Nayeon is too breathless and shocked to say a word. Holding her steady, Seo-woo tells Nayeon she almost got hurt. He gently scolds her for rushing around so dangerously and asks if she's okay. Nayeon is still completely breathless, unable to respond as she stares back at him. His grip on her arm tightens slightly as his expression grows serious. He looks her straight in the eye and asks if she has a moment to talk with him. Confused but willing, Nayeon asks if he means right there in the hallway. His intense gaze never leaves hers. Nayeon glances around the crowded hallway, wishing they had a more private place to talk. As if reading her mind, Seo-woo points toward an empty classroom just down the hall. He suggests they go in there. Still trying to catch her breath, Nayeon gives a small nod of agreement. He leads the way, turning the handle and pushing the door open. The lecture hall is completely silent and deserted. They step inside together, leaving the noise of the hallway behind them as the door clicks shut. Inside the empty classroom, Seo-woo secures the door, assuring Nayeon they won't be interrupted. He turns to face her, his expression deadly serious. He gets right to the point, saying he heard about her group blind date with the musical theater students. Then, his voice low, he gives her a simple command: don't go. Stunned, Nayeon asks him what he means. He repeats himself, demanding she not go on the date. As she stands there speechless, her hands clasped nervously, Seo-woo reaches out and gently covers them with his own. Confused, Nayeon asks why she can't go. She tries to explain that group dates aren't always serious. They're just a way to make friends and relax after exams. Seo-woo simply says he knows that. He then points out that Taehoon isn't going. Frustrated, Nayeon argues that's because Taehoon already has Chaya. Overwhelmed by his evasiveness, she quietly admits that she likes him. His hand tightens around hers. Claiming he didn't hear, Seo-woo looks at her intently and asks her to say it again. Taking a deep breath, Nayeon summons her courage and says it again, her voice clear this time. She tells Seo-woo that she likes him. Without a word, he suddenly pulls her into a tight embrace, holding her close. He whispers an apology for taking so long to get here. Completely stunned, tears stream down Nayeon's face. Seo-woo tells her he knows this is the moment she was waiting for, the one she mentioned back on the cable car. His confession finally out in the open. Still holding her, Seo-woo finally explains his hesitation. He was scared that if he waited too long to confess, her feelings for him might fade. Wiping away her tears, Nayeon worries that he might only see her as a friend now. He asks her not to push him away, just as he never pushed her away. Then, in a complete reversal, Seo-woo apologizes for holding her up from her plans. He sits down, telling her to go have fun on her group date, as she leaves him sitting alone in the classroom. Confused, Nayeon starts to leave the classroom, but Seo-woo's voice stops her cold. The handle on a nearby door rattles, and a voice from inside asks if anyone is out there. They both freeze instantly, their perfect, private moment completely shattered. They are so busted. Thinking fast, Seo-woo gently touches Nayeon's lips and tells her it's time to leave. He firmly takes her hand, but their escape is cut short when a security guard unlocks the door, nearly jumping out of his skin. Playing it cool, Seo-woo apologizes and smoothly explains they were just discussing an assignment. The flustered guard accepts their story, and they quickly slip past him, hands still tightly clasped. As they walk away, Nayeon finds her thoughts drifting back to the winter when he first confessed his feelings for her. As they walk, Nayeon thinks back to when she first turned him down. He was totally understanding and sincerely just wanted to be friends. Since then, he's been perfect, never making her uncomfortable or getting too distant. He created a space where she felt completely safe. A small smile touches her lips as she realizes the truth. That heart-stopping kiss was only possible because it was Seo-woo. Snapping her out of her thoughts, he turns back with a charming grin and asks if she wants to go out for dinner. Still flustered, Nayeon scolds herself internally, but agrees to his dinner invitation. Suddenly, their friend Chaya stomps into view, looking furious. She yells at Nayeon for running off without her phone, saying she's been waiting forever. But her angry rant cuts off abruptly when her eyes land on their intertwined hands. Chaya's jaw drops as she stares in total disbelief, the pieces finally clicking into place. As her friend stands there completely stunned, Seo-woo leans in and whispers something only Nayeon can hear, adding to the tension. Recovering from her shock, Chaya gives Nayeon a knowing look, demanding all the details later before rushing off. Mortified, Nayeon asks Seo-woo if her face is red, and he just laughs, teasing that it's about to explode. Their little moment is interrupted as other students start to notice them holding hands. The campus corridor erupts with whispers and shocked gasps as everyone finally realizes who Seo-woo's mystery girl is. While Nayeon is frozen with embarrassment, Seo-woo just stands there coolly, enjoying the show he created. As the campus buzzes around them, Nayeon is totally baffled. Seo-woo once told her this was his first time truly liking someone, yet he's acting incredibly cool and composed. She asks how he can be so natural about all this. With a smooth smile, he explains that he's already run the simulation in his head 10,000 times. He confesses he's imagined every detail of them being together, from holding her hand to kissing her. This public moment, he claims, is nothing compared to all the scenarios he's already dreamed up, leaving her utterly speechless. Still reeling from his confession, Nayeon is left completely speechless. Seo-woo just chuckles, gently stroking her hair and calling her a dummy. Seeing her so flustered, he leans in with a confident smirk, telling her that if she can't use her words, he'll just have to show her with his actions later. Before she can even process his bold promise, the scene cuts away. A voice yells Nayeon's name, furious that she left without saying goodbye. Another person calmly explains she promised to visit again before summer break ends. Later, Nayeon gets an earful from Chaya, who is seriously disappointed she was kept in the dark. Nayeon apologizes, explaining she'd initially rejected Seo-woo and didn't think there was anything to tell. Chaya then brings up the afterparty, where Seo-woo was a crying mess. She asks if Nayeon realized he was heartbroken over her, and Nayeon quietly confirms she knew all along. Stunned, Chaya feels awful for gossiping about the situation. Before hanging up, she demands they meet as soon as Nayeon is back in Seoul. Hanging up with Chaya, Nayeon feels a wave of relief. This budding romance is great, but feeling closer to her best friend makes her truly happy. Suddenly, she remembers she was texting Seo-woo before the call. She opens her phone and finds a new message. It's a picture of him standing on a train platform, asking her to guess where he is. Nayeon's eyes go wide. He's at her hometown station. Realizing she was on the phone for over 30 minutes, she panics, knowing he's been waiting the entire time. Nayeon frantically calls Seo-woo, demanding to know what he's doing. He casually answers from the local aquarium, saying he came to see the beluga whale they saw before, but it didn't seem to remember him. Still flustered, Nayeon asks why he didn't tell her he was coming, reminding him he'd claimed to have overslept. Seo-woo just laughs, admitting he only said that to surprise her. He asks if he can visit her at the shop, and she says it's a slow day. Just then, two women walk in, ruining her quiet afternoon. The women are her mom and a particularly nosy auntie, who immediately teases Nayeon for scrubbing the table so hard. Panicking about Seo-woo's imminent arrival, Nayeon asks her mom if she can leave. Her mom, reminding her she wasn't supposed to come in anyway, tells her to hurry and go. But as Nayeon tries to escape, the auntie jokingly asks if she's rushing off to some hidden treasure. Flustered, Nayeon quickly denies it, inventing an excuse about a last-minute online lecture she has to finish or she won't see her grades. To make her excuse more believable, Nayeon adds that she could even lose her scholarship. That does the trick. Her mom and aunt instantly tell her to hurry off. After a quick apology, Nayeon dashes outside, feeling a pang of guilt for lying. Finally back on the phone with Seo-woo, she asks where to meet and suggests the aquarium. He's shocked she's never been, then teases her by asking if she's ever visited the Parasite Museum in Seoul. Completely grossed out, Nayeon can't believe a place like that actually exists. Nayeon fires back that she hasn't been to every museum in Seoul, questioning why he had to pick the grossest one imaginable. Seo-woo casually says he had to choose somewhere she probably hadn't been. Then he drops a bomb. He's actually visited the Parasite Museum. Completely shocked, Nayeon warns him not to mess with her. He just smiles, claiming he's good at waiting for her. Holding a taxi door open, he softly says he misses her and tells her to hurry. Her heart thumping with excitement, Nayeon tells Seo-woo she's on her way. Arriving at the aquarium, she calls him again, asking where to find him. He directs her to the second-floor tunnel tank. After checking the map, Nayeon rushes to the location, her anticipation growing. She follows the path and then freezes. There, bathed in the ethereal blue glow of the massive tank, stands Seo-woo. He's looking up at the gracefully swimming stingrays, a cute fin headband perched on his head, looking like a scene straight out of a movie. Waving excitedly, Nayeon calls out to Seo-woo. He turns, a huge grin spreading across his face as he says her name. He points to the fin headband on his head, playfully asking if she thinks a shark bit him. Before Nayeon can even process the question, he suddenly closes the distance between them. In one smooth motion, he places a pink shark headband on her head, declaring that this one should bite her. 2. Completely flustered by the sudden closeness, Nayeon just stands there as he cheekily tells her that her hair is now a mess. Staring intently at Nayeon, Seo-woo's playful smirk softens. He leans in, closing the small space between them. Before she can even process what's happening, he gently cups her face and captures her lips in a soft kiss. Her heart pounds against her ribs, the moment feeling surreal under the aquarium's blue light. He pulls back slightly, his voice a low whisper as he confesses he thought he was going to die for missing her so much. Nahyun is completely frozen, lost in his earnest gaze and the sudden confession. As her heart thumps wildly, Nahyun finds her courage. She wraps a hand around his neck, whispering back that she feels the same way. She pulls him closer, melting into a deeper kiss. His arms wrap around her, and Nahyun is flooded with a strange sense of peace she's never known before. Her mother had always been her greatest support, her rock. But this feeling with Seol-woo was a completely new kind of security, a warmth that made her feel stronger and incredibly safe in his embrace. Pulling back from their kiss, Nahyun is filled with a new sense of boldness. Being with Seol-woo makes her feel completely protected and free. But he quickly shatters the romantic mood with his teasing. He grabs her pink shark headband and gives it a light squeeze. With a smirk, he tells her the shark needs to try harder, cheekily adding that its bite is weaker than hers. Completely red-faced, Nahyun snatches his hand away, thinking to herself that he is seriously way too perverted. Seol-woo cracks up, totally amused by her reaction. He leans in close, a mischievous glint in his eyes. He asks if his Nahyun loves fish the most, especially when they're raw. Nahyun just stares, completely baffled by his weirdly dramatic build-up. He then tells her that even with tons of fish around, she shouldn't look at him like he's the tastiest one. With a smug look, Seol-woo declares that he is not a fish, leaving Nahyun utterly speechless at his strange logic. Seol-woo suddenly pulls Nahyun into a tight back hug, his arms wrapping securely around her. He casually asks if they should go see the penguins. Still trying to process his earlier teasing, Nahyun mutters that even if he says he's not a fish, it's not like she can cook and eat him. A wicked smirk spreads across Seol-woo's face as he leans in close. He whispers that if that's the case, she has no choice but to be eaten raw by him instead, leaving her utterly speechless in his arms. Nahyun starts to worry that her comment was too blunt when Seol-woo goes completely silent. But he shatters the quiet by suddenly leaning in and giving her a playful bite on the shoulder. Totally startled, Nahyun jumps, exclaiming that he surprised her. Smoothly changing the subject, Seol-woo asks about the meaning of her name. After she explains it means graceful and beautiful, he tells her his name means to give excellence. Then, with a mysterious glint in his eye, he adds that the seal in his name has another meaning, leaving her hanging. Leaning in close, Seol-woo whispers the scandalous second meaning of his name right into Nahyun's ear. Completely lost, she asks him what he means. He just keeps walking, glancing back with a sly smirk to tease her about her naughty gaze. The realization finally hits Nahyun, and her face explodes in a furious blush. Stuttering, she asks if he's just being honest. Totally flustered by his bold comment, she suddenly yells out his full name, but Seol-woo simply continues on, thoroughly amused by her adorable reaction. As they watch the piranhas, Seol-woo notes that they look aggressive because of their teeth. He cheekily compares them to Nahyun, teasing that she bites the moment he touches her lips. Before she can react, he swiftly leans in and plants a surprise kiss on her. Stunned, Nahyun can only stand there as he pulls back slightly. With a confident smirk, Seol-woo asks if she won't be able to bite if he kisses her somewhere else. His daring question leaves Nahyun blushing furiously, her mind racing with possibilities. As Nahyun and Seol-woo head for the exit, a voice suddenly calls out. A man in an aquarium staff uniform turns around, and Nahyun recognizes him as Eun-jail, an old acquaintance. He smiles warmly, commenting on how long it's been since high school. He tells her she's gotten even prettier, though she was always pretty. While Nahyun is flustered by the sudden reunion, Seol-woo watches the exchange from the side. His friendly expression quickly darkens as he sees another man complimenting Nahyun, a clear look of annoyance on his face. Eun-jail confirms he's working at the aquarium and asks if she came with a friend, eyeing Seol-woo with a sizing-up look. Not liking the vibe one bit, Seol-woo glares back, taking in the other man's tanned, athletic style. Just as the tension thickens, Nahyun blurts out that Seol-woo isn't just a friend. With a deep blush spreading across her cheeks, she bravely declares that he's her boyfriend. The instant she does, Seol-woo's hand finds hers, his fingers lacing through hers in a firm, possessive grip. Still glowing from Nahyun's bold declaration, Seol-woo confidently introduces himself to Eun-jail. The two men shake hands, but Seol-woo's victory is short-lived. Eun-jail reveals he was Nahyun's childhood neighbor and used to carry her on his back, admitting it feels surreal that she has a boyfriend now. Seol-woo's cheerful expression immediately disappears, and his hand tightens around Nahyun's. While she obliviously asks Eun-jail about his sister, Seol-woo silently seethes, realizing his new rival's connection to Nahyun runs deeper than he thought. As Nahyun speaks to her old friend, Seol-woo silently seethes. He can't stand the cutesy, gentle voice she's using with another guy. Flustered, Nayeon asks Eun-jaeol to keep her new relationship a secret from her mom for now, promising to tell her herself. Eun-jaeol just grins, joking that with a face like Seo-woo's, he's already got a future son-in-law free pass. He then invites them to come by and say hello. While Eun-jaeol compliments Seo-woo for being handsome, the vocalist's expression remains tense and unamused. After Eun-jaeol agrees to keep their secret, Nayeon's relief instantly turns to panic. She tells a confused Seo-woo that she's totally screwed because her old friend has a huge mouth and will definitely tell her mom he saw them. This is a disaster, since she lied and said she was taking an online class. Amused by her panic over a small lie, Seo-woo asks if she's ever lied to her mom before. Nayeon firmly says no, explaining she could never lie about something like money because her mom works so hard running her shop all by herself. Seo-woo's heart softens as he watches Nayeon walk beside him. He realizes that behind her cool, princess-like vibe, she's actually incredibly mature, forced to grow up way too fast. Finding her strength both admirable and a little heartbreaking, he makes a silent promise to cherish her as much as possible. He suddenly stops, gently placing a hand on her head and stroking her hair. Blushing from the unexpected tenderness, Nayeon looks up and quietly asks him when he plans on returning to Seoul, breaking the sweet moment. Seo-woo explains that he's heading back to Seoul in about a week, but first, he has a trip to Belgium with his dad. Shocked by the news, Nayeon asks how long he'll be gone. He clarifies it's a 2-week trip across Belgium and Germany for his dad's business. Leaning in with a grin, he playfully asks if she'll miss him. Before she can react, he drops a bombshell, admitting he was planning to come back early just to be with her. Completely stunned by his sincere confession, Nayeon can only stare back, speechless. Seo-woo isn't done with the surprises. He casually suggests they go on a short trip together when he gets back. Overjoyed, Nayeon's face lights up with a brilliant smile as she grabs his bag strap and eagerly agrees. Riding this high, Seo-woo then asks if they can have dinner at her mom's sashimi restaurant that night. A little shocked, Nayeon questions if he's sure about that. Holding her hand tightly, he confidently reminds her that he's already met her mom once, so it's no big deal. Seo-woo explains his real reason for wanting to visit her mom. He wants to introduce himself properly. He knows her mom must have been worried sending her daughter off to Seoul, and he wants to personally reassure her that he's been taking good care of Nayeon. He admits he was a little worried this might be too much pressure for her, but with a confident gaze, he tells her he can handle that kind of pressure all day. A bit overwhelmed, Nayeon practically asks if they should at least call her mom first. Seo-woo quickly shuts down the idea of calling first, arguing it's better if they just show up unannounced. A panicked Nayeon explains that if her mom knew she was bringing a boyfriend home, she'd go completely over the top. She imagines her mom sailing the seas to catch a mythical dragon just to serve him for dinner. Seo-woo laughs, finally understanding her point. He then grows thoughtful, admitting that if he were introducing Nayeon to his own parents, they would probably make a huge fuss over her, too. They arrive at the restaurant, and Nayeon immediately takes a deep, shaky breath. Noticing her trembling hand, Seo-woo asks why she's so nervous. She confesses her fear of messing things up, worrying she'll make him uncomfortable and upset her mother. Seo-woo realizes how deeply Nayeon cares about her mom's approval, thinking she probably would have hidden him if she could have. Just then, a woman carrying a crate of drinks spots them holding hands and gasps in surprise. It's her mom, and she looks absolutely floored. Seo-woo greets Nayeon's mom warmly, and Nayeon chimes in with a nervous hello. Her mom squints, recognizing him as the guy who changed her light bulb. Before she can ask his name, Seo-woo smoothly introduces himself and takes the heavy crate of drinks from her. Curious, she asks if he came all the way from Seoul just for the seaside. With a confident smile, Seo-woo declares he came to see her daughter. Nayeon freezes, shocked by his boldness. A knowing grin spreads across her mom's face as she promptly decides to close shop early for the day. Inside, Nayeon's mom is shocked to see her, asking why she isn't attending her online class. Before Nayeon can manage an excuse, Seo-woo steps forward with a charming smile and a polite greeting. He sets down the heavy crate of drinks he carried from the restaurant. Her mom's eyes widen in recognition. Nayeon tries to remind her that he's the guy who visited during the winter, but her mom cuts her off with a sly grin. She reveals that Seo-woo already announced that he came all this way just to see her daughter. Seo-woo presents a gift, apologizing that it's a bit last minute. He explains that Nayeon told him it was something her mom liked. Her mom's face lights up when she sees the box of coffee mix, happily confirming it's her favorite and thanking him. Completely charmed, she declares that since her daughter's boyfriend is visiting, she has to show off her cooking skills. Seo-woo apologizes for dropping by without notice, but she just waves it off, cheerfully saying she's happy for a reason to relax and enjoy a good dinner. As they eat, Nayeon's mom asks Seo-woo if he came straight to a restaurant after running into Eun-jaeol. He confirms, explaining he thought it best to greet her directly before she heard rumors. Internally, Nayeon panics, knowing Eun spreads gossip everywhere. Her mom then turns to her, calling her out for lying about having an online class. Caught red-handed, Nayeon desperately swears this is the first time she's ever lied like that. Taking a calm sip of her drink, her mom simply says, "All right," seemingly accepting the chaotic situation. Nayeon's mom gives her some wild advice. She encourages Nayeon to tell little lies, do fun things behind her back, and even face some tough dilemmas. She explains there's no prize for being completely honest, and since they are both responsible adults, she trusts them. With a cheerful grin, she tells the couple to have fun dating and enjoy the thrill of it all. Seol-woo, looking smug, turns to her mom and confidently promises that he will do his absolute best. As the successful dinner wraps up, one of the guests teases that Nayeon's mom is drunk. She playfully retorts that she can't be, since she still only sees one of her precious Nayeon. Later, Nayeon and her mom wave goodbye to Seol-woo, and she reminds him to call when he gets to his hotel. Her mom gets sentimental, wondering when her daughter grew up so much. She then teases Nayeon, saying she clearly inherited her mother's picky taste in handsome men. Nayeon internally agrees, admitting Seol-woo is cute without being arrogant. Back at home, Nayeon's mom collapses onto the sofa with a long sigh. With a nostalgic smile, she tells Nayeon that her dad was also incredibly handsome. She wistfully recalls how she used to buy countless expensive parfaits just for a chance to catch another glimpse of his face. This sudden, casual mention of her father startles Nayeon. It was the first time her mom had brought him up so naturally since the day their family changed forever. Puzzled, Nayeon questions the parfait strategy. Her mom confirms it was the most expensive and complicated dessert on the menu. Her logic was simple. While making it, Nayeon's future father would have to think about her. Back then, she was a college freshman, but he was busy studying for his entrance exams. He constantly pushed her away, saying he needed to focus. Her mom suddenly observes that Nayeon must take after her dad. The comment hits Nayeon hard as she realizes she used the exact same excuse to reject Seol-woo. Lying on the sofa, Nayeon's mom continues her story. She told Nayeon's dad she'd wait for him to pass his exams on the second try. She then hits Nayeon with a shocking revelation. Seol-woo waited for her for over half a year. Curious, Nayeon asks if her dad succeeded. Her mom grins, confirming he did. In a flashback, he showed up at her school in a full Naval Academy uniform, asking if he was too late. Back in the present, Nayeon's mom suddenly sits up, offering to show her a picture. Her mom gets up and pulls a dusty photo album from a nearby closet. Nayeon is stunned, realizing that a piece of her father has been right there the whole time. Opening the book, her mom reveals a wedding photo. Nayeon gasps, exclaiming that her dad was seriously handsome in his crisp white uniform. Her mom proudly agrees, pointing to another picture of a very grumpy-looking baby Nayeon on her first birthday. Horrified, Nayeon complains that she looked so ugly back then. Her mom points to a picture of Nayeon's dad, looking cool and confident in a crisp white uniform. She reminisces, explaining he always said the stars he saw from the ship were beautiful. He told her that whenever he saw them, he thought of her and especially of Nayeon's eyes. The sweet story hits Nayeon hard. Feeling a wave of emotion, she asks her mom why she doesn't visit him. Her mom smiles, saying she saw plenty of him today. She jokes that Nayeon's dad probably wanted to jump right out of the water when he saw Seol-woo. With a bittersweet smile, Nayeon's mom recalls how her dad always wanted to be the first to meet her future boyfriend. He was the one who loved the stars at sea, but in a heartbreaking twist, that's also where he passed away. The story finally breaks Nayeon, and she collapses into her mother's lap, sobbing. Suddenly, it all makes sense. Their restaurant, always facing the ocean, is named after her father, Yeonjong, a name that means a heart filled with longing. Looking up, Nayeon tearfully asks if that's why, because she misses him. Her mom gently explains that the name Yeonjong has another meaning, a boat faintly visible through smoke and mist. She confesses she kept waiting, foolishly hoping he might come back. Even though she hated the ocean, she couldn't leave it, because that's where he was. She never told Nayeon the full story to protect her from more pain. As Nayeon cries, she finally understands. Her mom is still waiting for her dad, which is why she could only ever say he had fallen asleep in the sea. It turned out they never even found a trace of her dad. Gently cupping her daughter's face, Nayeon's mom asks if she can understand how she feels now. With tears still fresh in her eyes, Nayeon looks up and reassures her that she has always understood. Touched by her daughter's words, her mother's face breaks into a grateful smile. Seeing her mom at peace, Nayeon suggests they go inside and get some sleep. That night, the two share a bed, finding comfort in each other's presence after the emotional confession. Lying awake next to her sleeping mother, Nayeon texts Seol-woo to see if he got to his hotel safely. She sends a heartfelt thank you, grateful for how he treated her mom and for helping her understand her family's pain. Seol-woo, ever considerate, tells her not to worry and to get some rest, saying he'll see her tomorrow. She puts her phone down and closes her eyes, but her mind won't quiet down. Instead of sleep, all she can picture is Seol-woo's face and his deep, sparkling eyes. The next day, Nayeon arrives at Seoul Station, wheeling her suitcase behind her. Her phone buzzes with a call from a friend asking if she made it. Nayeon confirms she's about to transfer trains, and her friend wishes her well before asking about Seol-woo. As it turns out, today is a huge deal. It's the day Seol-woo finally returns to Korea from Germany. It's also the same day they were all supposed to go on a couple's trip together with Cha and Taehoon. On the phone with her friend, Nayeon is sure Seol-woo will be on time since he's heading straight there from the airport. After hanging up, she sighs, exhausted by the thought of another 2-hour train ride to Gangnam. But her mood instantly flips when she remembers she'll get to see Seol-woo in just a few hours. His work trip had been delayed, and though it had only been 3 weeks, she was surprisingly disappointed by the wait. Filled with anticipation, she steps onto the train and wheels her suitcase down the aisle, ready for their reunion. As Nayeon found her seat, she admitted to herself she'd never missed anyone this much before. After the trip home, she finally felt like she was starting to understand what love is. Her romantic thoughts were cut short, however, when she saw her seat was already taken. Someone was completely covered by a jacket, fast asleep. Confused, Nayeon gently tried to get their attention, politely explaining that they were in her spot. The person didn't even budge, leaving her to wonder if they were some kind of flight attendant. As Nayeon tries to wake the person, a voice mumbles from under the jacket, claiming the seat belongs to his girlfriend. Nayeon freezes, completely baffled. Suddenly, the jacket is pulled away, and it's Seol-woo. He shoots her a grin, teasingly asking how she couldn't recognize her own boyfriend's back. Stunned, Nayeon reminds him he's supposed to be at the airport. He just laughs off her flustered questions, gesturing for her to sit down. Turns out, he already saved the window seat just for her, planning this surprise all along. Seol-woo teases Nayeon, asking if she likes his surprise so much that her smile is about to split her face. Still processing everything, she asks how he got there so fast. Instead of answering with words, he leans in and plants a soft kiss on her cheek. He then explains that he landed 2 hours ago and raced to the station, purposely booking the seat next to hers. Nayeon quickly puts the pieces together, asking if their friend Cha was his accomplice. He confirms it, and Nayeon laughs, realizing her bestie was in on the surprise all along. Leaning in close, Seol-woo playfully asked if she'd missed him. Without a moment's hesitation, a blushing Nayeon admitted she had missed him an incredible amount. Pleased with her answer, he presented her with a small gift box. Her eyes widened as she opened it to find a stunning necklace sparkling inside. Completely blown away, she gushed about how pretty it was, thinking it was almost too beautiful to wear. It was clear Seol-woo had pulled out all the stops to make their reunion perfect. Seol-woo moves behind Nayeon, gently placing the necklace around her neck. As he fastens the clasp, he leans in and plants a soft kiss on her shoulder, making her flinch in surprise. He whispers close to her ear, telling her never to take it off. Completely flustered, Nayeon touches the delicate pendant and quietly agrees. Her heart is practically beating out of her chest. But the surprises aren't over yet, as Seol-woo then leads her into a luxurious, high-class hotel, hinting at an even more romantic night ahead. After a satisfying meal with their friends, Taehoon gets hyped to go swimming at a bubble party. But the celebration is cut short when Cha suddenly clutches her head, feeling unwell. She explains that after working late and rushing that morning, she needs some medicine for her stomach. While a worried Taehoon questions her, Seol-woo steps in. He tells Cha to rest and decides he and Taehoon will go to the pharmacy. Promising to be back soon, the guys head out, leaving Nayeon and Cha alone at the table. Once the guys were gone, Nayeon immediately called out Cha's bluff. She pointed out that for someone with a stomach ache, holding her head was a pretty weird move. Caught, Cha sheepishly asked if her act was really that obvious. Nayeon confirmed she saw right through it, even if the boys didn't. Cha finally confessed the real reason. After eating so much, she felt too bloated to get into a swimsuit. Recalling how easily Taehoon fell for the excuse, Nayeon couldn't help but think he was completely clueless. Nayeon finds Taehoon's gullible panic over Cha's fake sickness surprisingly cute. A moment later, the two couples walk down the hotel corridor. Taehoon happily announces he and Cha are heading to their room, and they disappear inside, leaving Nayeon and Seol-woo all alone. They stop in front of their door, the sudden silence hanging between them. Breaking the quiet, Seol-woo turns to Nayeon with a suggestive smirk. He leans in close and asks her what they should do now that they finally have some time to themselves. Breaking the silence in the hotel hallway, Seol-woo asks Nayeon if she's tired. She lets out a long sigh, admitting that she is, especially after traveling all the way from Yosu. With a confident smile, Seol-woo points out that he came even further, flying in from Frankfurt just for this. As he turns and unlocks their room door with a soft click, Nayeon watches him. Standing there in the quiet corridor, she's struck by a single thought: he's still just as ridiculously handsome as ever. As Nayeon continues to admire him, Seol-woo slips the key card into the slot, and the room lights up. She follows him inside, the door clicking shut behind them with a soft finality. They stand in the middle of the room for a moment, the silence thick with unspoken tension. Now that they're truly alone, the space feels charged. Nayeon finds herself just watching him, her cheeks flushing as the reality of sharing a room for the night finally hits her. It's just the two of them now. To break the heavy silence, Seol-woo casually asks Nayeon if she wants to shower first. When she agrees, he gives her a gentle smile, telling her he'll wait on the terrace to give her some privacy. Alone in the bathroom, Nayeon lets the warm water wash over her. While Seol-woo seemed completely relaxed, her own heart is a mess of nerves and excitement. As the water trickles down her skin, she can only wonder if he has any idea just how much this night is affecting her. Fresh from her shower, Nayeon steps back into the room. She finds Seol-woo waiting and tells him it's his turn. He agrees and quickly heads into the bathroom, shutting the door behind him. Left alone with the sound of the running water, Nayeon's mind races. The quiet room suddenly feels huge, and her cheeks start to burn. A single, urgent thought cuts through her nervousness, making her blush even harder. She realizes with a jolt that they completely forgot about a very important detail for the night ahead. The important detail turns out to be a small, square packet she's holding. With her heart thumping, Nayeon decides to discreetly tuck it under the pillow. But hiding it does nothing to calm her down. The whole room feels charged with an electric tension. She's so flustered, she can't bring herself to sit on the sofa he just left, let alone the bed. Taking a deep breath, Nayeon tries to get a grip. She tells herself to calm down, deciding that a cold glass of water is exactly what she needs. Nayeon grabs a water bottle, hoping to calm her nerves, but her plan backfires spectacularly. She turns around and freezes. Seol-woo is already out of the shower, looking unfairly handsome in a dark robe. He catches her staring and asks why she's just standing there. Flustered, Nayeon mumbles that she was just getting a drink. Noticing her struggling hands, Seol-woo asks if she needs help with the cap. He smoothly takes the bottle and twists it open with an easy pop, his gaze fixed on her the entire time. Seol-woo holds the open bottle out, his gaze locked on her face. A blush creeps up Nayeon's neck as she stammers her thanks and quickly takes it. She desperately gulps down the water, trying to cool her nerves, but his intense stare only raises the temperature in the room. A single drop of water escapes, tracing a slow path down her skin. Seol-woo's eyes follow its every move. Breaking the charged silence, his voice drops to a low murmur. He asks if she wants some, too, letting the question hang in the air with unspoken meaning. Nayeon agrees, her voice barely a whisper. He takes a long drink from the water bottle before setting it down decisively. With a sigh, Seol-woo announces that it's time to sleep now. He turns and walks toward the bed, and pure panic grips Nayeon. He's heading straight for the side where she hid that little packet. Her mind races, desperately searching for an excuse. She can't just tell him she's already reserved that pillow, but what else can she possibly say to stop him? Deciding it's better to just stay quiet, Nayeon freezes as Seol-woo announces he's turning off the lights. With a soft click, the room goes dark. They lie stiffly under the covers, a tense gap between them as Nayeon clutches the blanket. Her mind races, replaying the last bit of physical contact they had earlier that day. Unable to take the silence, she turns over and quietly asks if he's asleep. From the other side of the bed, Seol-woo's voice cuts through the darkness, wondering how he could possibly sleep. Seol-woo turns to face her, his eyes locking onto hers in the dim light. He confesses he missed her more than she could know, explaining that he'd been counting the days until he saw her again, just like a kid waiting for their birthday. But his feelings went deeper than that. He admits he didn't just want to see her, he wanted to hold her hand, to hug her, and to kiss her. Completely stunned by his direct confession, Nayeon freezes. He then asks if she didn't feel the same way. Seol-woo's question hangs in the air. Didn't she feel the same way? Nayeon flinches, her heart pounding in her chest. Answering for her, he confidently states that of course she did. Flustered, she asks him why he's so sure. Her mind flashes back to her mother's strict advice about not doing anything she couldn't take responsibility for. As if reading her thoughts, Seol-woo leans down, caressing her cheek. He reminds her that her mom also said to have fun in moderation. And in that moment, Nayeon knows he's right. Leaning over her, Seol-woo whispers that a present is waiting under her pillow. Confused, Nayeon reaches under and pulls out a small, square packet, her face flushing bright red. The playful moment evaporates as Seol-woo's gaze turns intense. He whispers her name, his voice heavy with emotion. That's all it takes for Nayeon's resolve to shatter. The second semester begins, bringing news that Seol-woo and Taehoon will enlist in the military after it ends. Seol-woo has already passed his vocalist role to a junior to prepare the band for a hiatus. Later, Nayeon confides in Munyoung, her expression heavy with worry. She explains that whenever she mentions the military, Seol-woo completely avoids the topic. Shocked, Munyoung bolts upright. She demands to know why he's being so secretive, urging Nayeon to confront him directly and ask him what's really going on. Taking her friend Chaya's advice to heart, Nayeon decides it's time to confront Seol-woo directly. She sends him a quick text, asking where he is, but she isn't prepared for his instant reply. He's already right outside her door. Completely shocked, Nayeon tells Chaya, who immediately excuses herself to give them some privacy. After seeing her friend out, Nayeon opens the door to find Seol-woo waiting with a serious expression. Stealing her nerves, she calmly invites him to come inside. The moment of truth has finally arrived. The door clicks shut behind them. Nayeon asks why he came, thinking he was going home early. Seol-woo quietly admits he just wanted to see her face. She immediately notices he looks unusually down. He gently guides her to sit, but the air grows thick with an awkward tension. Nayeon realizes he's keeping his distance, not pulling her close like he normally would. Breaking the silence, she asks what's wrong, reminding him why he said he came. Seol-woo looks at her, his expression unreadable as he simply says her name with heavy weight. Seol-woo finally drops the bomb, telling Nayeon she doesn't have to wait for him. Stunned, she demands to know what he means. He explains they've only been dating a few months, yet she would have to wait much longer for his return. Hurt, she asks if he really thinks she can't handle it. He tells her to be strong and that he won't even blame her if she gets distracted by someone else. He then admits that if he'd known leaving her would be this hard, he never would have confessed his feelings to begin with. Furious, Nayeon fires back, asking if he really thought she'd just say okay and not wait. She declares she will study and wait for the entire year and a half until he's discharged. She reminds him that she wasn't even planning to date. He was the one who pursued her. Overwhelmed, she lunges forward and hugs him tightly. Crying, she tells him that backing out is not an option. He finally returns the embrace, quietly telling her these are precious years of her youth that she'll never get back. With tears in her eyes, Nayeon tells Seol-woo he's got it all wrong and she didn't want him to feel down because of her. Pulling him into a tight embrace, she insists that waiting for him will actually make her happier. She pours her heart out, promising to write, call, and visit as often as she can. She's not giving up. As she reassures him that everything will be okay, he finally holds her back. Gently stroking her hair, Seol-woo quietly agrees, hoping everything works out for them in the end. With their emotions laid bare, Seol-woo pulls Nayeon into a tender kiss. It's full of longing, and so intense it feels like he would sacrifice anything for her happiness. Sometime later, Nayeon is walking on campus when her phone buzzes with a call from Chaya. She answers, and her friend immediately asks where she is. Nayeon calmly replies that she just finished up at the professor's office. The conversation and their future has been settled. Chaya asks if Nayeon plans to meet Seol-woo later. Nayeon sighs, wondering how she could possibly meet someone serving in the army. Chaya accidentally spills the beans, revealing that Taehoon told her Seol-woo is on leave. Nayeon freezes in place, completely stunned by the news. Panicking, Chaya begs her to act surprised, since Seol-woo loves planning things. Nayeon agrees, thinking to herself how his little surprise event stopped after he enlisted. She decides that if she waits patiently, he's sure to reach out to her soon. Back in her room, Nayeon's mind races with worry. Seol-woo always calls her weeks before his leave, but this time, he's out without a single word. She can't understand why he hasn't contacted her yet. As if on cue, her phone buzzes with his name on the screen. She quickly answers, but he sounds confused, asking how she knew to call. Ignoring his question, Nayeon asks where he is. His reply is chillingly mysterious. He tells her she doesn't need to know, leaving her frozen with anxiety. Nayeon is completely taken aback when Seol-woo coldly asks if he needs to report his every move to her. Before she can even process his words, he says he's busy and abruptly hangs up. Panicked, she immediately tries calling him back, her heart pounding as the phone rings with no answer. The call finally disconnects, leaving her staring at the screen in disbelief. He hung up without any explanation and now refuses to answer. All Nayeon can do is slump onto her bed, heartbroken and utterly confused by his sudden, cruel behavior. Desperate for answers, Nayeon calls Chaya, who confirms Seol-woo took a sudden leave and then vanished. Feeling utterly helpless, Na-yeon realizes Seol-woo has completely cut her off. Some time later, she gets a frantic call from Munyoung at a restaurant, who warns her to stay away and forget Seol-woo. Ignoring his plea, Na-yeon declares she's coming anyway. Just then, her phone lights up with a devastating photo. It's a social media post showing Seol-woo getting cozy with another woman, confirming Na-yeon's worst fears. Fueled by a new resolve, Na-yeon storms into the restaurant, dead set on not letting Seol-woo escape this time. She immediately spots him getting cozy with another woman. The girl playfully asks if he'll return to the band, and Seol-woo smoothly agrees just for her. But when the girl offers to be his manager, his charm evaporates. He viciously shuts her down, snapping that he hates clingy girls. The cruel words hang in the air as Na-yeon, who heard everything, finally speaks his name, ready for the confrontation. Na-yeon finally confronts Seol-woo, asking if they can talk. He coldly rejects her, claiming he has nothing to say, while still toying with the other woman's hair. As a senior tries to pull Na-yeon away from the volatile situation, Na-yeon admits she's in no condition for a normal conversation anyway. Suddenly losing his patience, Seol-woo slams his hands on the table in frustration. Annoyed with the entire scene, he glares at Na-yeon and commands her to follow him. He's finally ready to talk, but on his own terms. Seol-woo leads Na-yeon out of the restaurant, leaving their shocked friends behind. He takes her to a dark alley and lights a cigarette, a side of him she's never seen. He coldly prompts her to say what's on her mind. Full of hurt, Na-yeon questions his bizarre behavior and asks when he started smoking. Unmoved, Seol-woo takes a long drag and dismisses her concern, venomously asking why she even cares. His icy glare tells her that the man she thought she knew is completely gone. Seol-woo coldly dismisses Na-yeon, saying he told her not to wait for him. He drops his cigarette and mocks her, asking if she didn't see this coming. He tells her to forget a bastard like him and find someone better after college. Stunned, Na-yeon can only ask what he means. He condescendingly asks if he needs to repeat himself. But she's heard enough. Her shock explodes into pure rage, and she unleashes a powerful kick right into his gut. As he stumbles back in pain, she screams that he's a bastard. Clutching Seol-woo's shirt, Na-yeon unleashes her fury. She screams that she understands breakups, but he is simply rotten to the core. She can't believe she ever called someone like him a friend. Though Cha rushes to her side, Na-yeon isn't finished. Her rage cools for a moment as she looks at him, sensing that something is truly wrong. But her moment of understanding is the final straw. Seol-woo's face twists in fury as he dares her to say another word, his knuckles whitening around a glass bottle. He has completely snapped. His face contorting with fury, Seol-woo challenges Na-yeon to say one more word. But before he can make a move, Tae-hoon and Cha jump between them, desperately holding him back. The violence in his eyes is all Na-yeon needs to see. With tears streaming down her face, she realizes that this is how her relationship with Seol-woo truly ends. Later, in a new setting, a door slides open. A man called Team Leader Hwang is greeted by a calm, professional woman who apologizes for her meeting running late. The executive director of Y Telecom, Lee Jung-ga, greets the woman, calling her Team Leader Hwang. She offers a polite smile, apologizing for her tardiness and explaining that her meeting with a UK broadcasting company ran late. Director Lee dismisses her concern, inviting her to sit. He notes that the new team leader hasn't arrived yet, revealing he wanted to speak with her alone first. Since her meeting ran over, he predicts the other person will probably burst in any moment. Hwang apologizes again, insisting she should have prioritized him. Director Lee erupts in laughter, teasing Hwang about her important meeting with the UK broadcasting company. Playing along, Hwang offers a polite smile, but she knows the truth. The director is a master of manipulation who loves making his team leaders compete. He finally gets to the point, revealing that the incoming team leader has a prickly personality and asks her to embrace them. Confused by the odd request, Hwang asks what professional reason there could be for her to embrace another team leader of the same rank. The executive director finally reveals the new team leader's identity, the legendary developer of the app, Thunder Warning. Hwang is floored. She confirms he means the genius behind the famous anti-phishing app that every company was desperate to recruit. But Director Lee drops an even bigger bombshell. One of the developers' conditions for joining was that team leader Hwang would serve as their deputy. When asked if she dislikes the idea, Hwang calmly denies it, but her tightly clenched fists reveal her true fury at the sudden, humiliating demotion. Hwang calmly asks if she caused trouble for the company or if this is a subtle push for her to resign. But the director just grins, finally revealing his master plan. He's offering her a brand new project, a massive 50% salary increase, and a guaranteed executive position when it's all over. Hwang's fury instantly vanishes. This is everything she worked for. Beaming, she thanks him, realizing the deputy title was just a name. The director laughs, admitting her sharp questioning almost got to him. Just as he boasts, a knock sounds, and the door slides open. The director smugly announces the arrival of their new team leader. Beaming with excitement over her future promotion, Huang turns to finally meet the genius who's about to change her life. The door slides open, and a man in a sharp suit steps into the room. Huang's smile instantly freezes, and her eyes widen in pure disbelief. It's him. The person standing before her is none other than Du Seolwoo. Her mind goes completely blank as she stares at the last person on earth she ever expected to see in this office. Du Seolwoo smirks, coolly asking if he's late. Huang's mind goes blank. This man is her new team leader? The director observes that they must already know each other. Panicked, Huang stammers a denial, instinctively grabbing Seolwoo's jacket. Her world shatters as memories of a painful past flash before her eyes. The man who made her experience a tragic breakup, her one and only love, was standing right in front of her. He was the person she had hoped to never encounter again in her entire life. Over dinner, the director notes that they both attended the same university and even the same department, asking if they know each other. Panicked, Huang lies that it's their first time meeting. But Seolwoo smirks, completely blowing her cover. He calmly states that he remembers her perfectly, they were classmates. Seeing his shameless face, Huang feels an intense rage building inside her. She worries she'll end up with a criminal record long before she ever gets that promotion to the executive track. The director playfully scolds Huang, asking how she could possibly forget such a handsome team leader. Mortified, Huang looks at Seolwoo, who just chuckles softly. She can't deny it. In his sharp suit, he's still infuriatingly handsome. Her mind spirals as she berates herself for the thought, reminding herself of her #1 rule: never date someone from the same company. As if on cue, the director's phone rings. He gets up to take the call, telling them to talk for a bit, and leaving Huang trapped alone with her ex. The silence is heavy now that they're alone. Finally, Huang breaks it, trying to establish a professional boundary. She reminds Seolwoo that this is their first meeting as colleagues and dropping formalities is unprofessional. But he just smirks, coolly asking if their past relationship really requires them to be so formal. He sets his cup down with a sharp click. Huang is floored by his audacity. Fuming, she silently wonders if he has amnesia or is just messing with her. She's certain it'll be a miracle if they don't end up in a fight. Seolwoo's expression hardens. He reminds her that after she dumped him so brutally, he can't just greet her with a smile. Leaning forward, his gaze intense, he asks what she plans to do now, putting her on the spot. Before Huang can react, he reaches out and gently tucks a strand of her hair behind her ear, the sudden touch sending a jolt through her. With a victorious smirk, he leans in close and declares that from now on, she is the one who will have to work with him and smile. Finally home, Nayeon slams the door shut. She walks straight to the fridge and cracks open a cold beer, the can hissing in the quiet apartment. Seolwoo's smug voice echoes in her head, his challenge about what she plans to do ringing in her ears. The memory of his infuriating smirk flashes in her mind as he declared she'd have to keep working with him and smile. She chugs the drink, fuming. She tells herself that if she counted every unfair thing she's faced at work, it would take all day. But this felt different. With a sharp crack, Nayeon crushes the can in her hand, deciding today officially tops the list of most unfair days ever. Her phone buzzes. It's Saturday tomorrow. She knows she should prepare for her MBA class, but the thought is exhausting. At this moment, she doesn't have the energy to care about research papers. Instead, she walks over to a cabinet and opens it, revealing rows of bottles. Ever since getting a job, she's started collecting Korean liquor. It looks like tonight is going to require something much stronger than a beer. Nayeon remembers why she stopped drinking imported alcohol. It was because Seolwoo's father worked in that business. So for tonight, she grabs a bottle of Korean spirits instead. She pours the amber liquid into a glass, confidently thinking it's 100 times better than some fancy whiskey anyway. But as she brings the glass to her lips, a familiar oak scent hits her. Her thoughts immediately flash to Seolwoo. She realizes with a jolt that the drink smells exactly like the woody perfume he was wearing today. Even her drink reminds her of him. Frustrated, Nayeon puts her drink down and decides to eat instead. As she heats up some food, her mind flashes back to a different time. She remembers meeting him when she was 20, a relationship that turned into a fiery romance the following summer. But just as quickly as it started, it all fell apart 2 years later. The breakup left a huge mark on her life, leaving her an absolute wreck. Back in the present, she slumps onto the couch, flipping through channels and trying to escape the memories. The breakup had shattered Nayeon's world. Waking up was a daily struggle, but falling asleep at night was even harder. Food tasted like sand, and she felt like giving up on life itself. At her absolute lowest, she went to her mom's place. Her mother embraced her tightly, remarking sadly that Nayeon was just like she had been 20 years ago, inheriting even her heartache. Patting her back, her mom tried to distract her with a strange fact, claiming the art of cooking was more seductive than any act of intimacy. Her mom warned her not to skip meals, quoting some guy named Theodore Zeldin about the power of cooking. Then, she sent Nayeon straight to her grandmother's house. Surrounded by loving, home-cooked meals, Nayeon's lost appetite slowly came back. As she ate, she began to forget the pain of the breakup. This new focus on food sparked her curiosity about the man her mom quoted. She dove into his books, discovering that learning new things was a great way to heal, and decided that Zeldin was a pretty amazing guy. As autumn arrived, Nayeon felt like a chick finally breaking out of its shell. Reading had become her escape, slowly healing her heartbreak and making her feel less alone. She was finally starting to peck her way out of the darkness that had trapped her for so long. But even with this progress, thoughts of her ex still haunted her. She'd get angry, wondering if he was just living his life like he hadn't destroyed hers. To truly move forward, she landed a new job at OI Telecom and even started going on dates again. Years have passed since Nayeon broke up with Seolwoo. Though the wound healed, the scars remained, and love still felt impossible. Just as she was pouring a drink, her phone buzzed with a call from her friend, Chaya. Nayeon could tell she'd had a rough day, but wasn't prepared for the drama. Chaya declared she was on her balcony, thinking of jumping. Nayeon sighed, exasperated. It was the same old story. Her husband, Taehyun, was away on another business trip, leaving Chaya feeling utterly alone. On the other end of the line, Chaya vented about raising 2 kids alone, feeling completely overwhelmed. To stop her spiraling, Nayeon offered to visit the next day. Chaya immediately shot that down, reminding Nayeon about her expensive MBA classes. Without missing a beat, Nayeon said she'd just skip. Chaya was floored, asking if Nayeon was crazy to miss a class worth a fortune. But Nayeon's reason was simple. She just wanted to see her friend. Those words hit Chaya hard, making her realize it had been ages since anyone simply wanted her company. Continuing her call, Nayeon asked when Taehyun had left. Chaya explained he departed for China that very afternoon, traveling so often now that he just keeps a bag at work. Pouring herself a drink, Nayeon told her friend to sleep well with the kids, promising to arrive early the next day. Though she had planned to drink all night, she changed her mind. Seeing her friend and the kids felt more important. Nayeon realized that living wasn't about big moments, but about filling each day with small joys. With that peaceful thought, she went to bed. The next day, Nayeon arrived at her friend's apartment complex, bags in hand. A cute sign on the door asked for quiet since the baby was sleeping, so instead of ringing the bell, she texted Chaya that she was outside. Moments later, the door chimed and swung open. But it wasn't her friend standing there, it was a little boy with a huge, happy grin. Waving his hand, he cheerfully greeted his auntie. A wide smile spread across Nayeon's face as she told the little boy, Wangna, how much she missed him. As Chaya juggled her baby, she told Nayeon she'd barely eaten while getting breakfast ready for her son. Nayeon had a feeling that would be the case, lifting up bags of takeout. She'd gone to a 24-hour restaurant and bought several meals, telling her friend to eat some now and freeze the rest. Chaya was stunned by the thoughtful gesture, tearing up as she said Nayeon was like a mom to her. This hit hard, as Chaya's own mother had passed away years ago. Overcome with emotion, she leaned her head on Nayeon's shoulder. Nayeon remembered why her friends got married so quickly. Chaya was pregnant, and her own mother was gravely ill. Rushing the wedding meant her mom got to see her in a wedding dress and meet her first grandchild before she passed. Snapping back to the present, Wangna asked for his gift. Nayeon excitedly presented a new toy, making the little boy cheer. As Nayeon told her exhausted friend to rest, Chaya's tone shifted. With a hint of worry, she quietly asked Nayeon to confirm that Taehyun was really on a business trip. Nayeon quickly reassured her, confirming Taehyun was away for a work project in Xi'an. Since they worked at the same company, Nayeon would know. But Chaya's anxiety didn't fade. She confessed she felt stuck, like she was falling behind while her husband's career took off. Picking a fallen snack off the floor, Chaya wondered what her life would be like if she hadn't gotten married back then. Maybe she'd be in Madrid. Nayeon stayed silent, knowing the obvious words of comfort wouldn't be what her friend needed to hear right now. Nayeon knew that careless words would only hurt, so she stayed silent. Her friend Chaya once had big dreams. Before getting married, she worked at a translation agency, saving up to get her master's degree in Spain. But that life plan went up in smoke. To snap her friend out of her funk, Nayeon decided a little bombshell was in order. She casually mentioned that she saw Du Seolwoo. At first, the name didn't register. Then, Chaya's eyes went wide. She suddenly remembered exactly who that jerk was. Chaya's friendly mood vanished. She leaned in close, demanding to know what Seol-woo was up to and how Naeun ran into him. Her suspicion grew as she realized this was the first time Naeun had seen him since the wedding. She accused Naeun of secretly meeting him all this time. But Naeun just smiled calmly, pointing out that the kids were getting sleepy. She told Chaya to put them to bed first. Promising to be back in 5 minutes for all the gossip, Chaya hurried out of the room. As Naeun waited, her eyes landed on a wedding photo on the wall. It was Chaya and Taehoon, smiling on their big day. A small smile touched Naeun's lips as she remembered how that all started. The memory transported her back to a restaurant, surrounded by friends. Over the sizzling grill, Chaya had suddenly told Naeun she couldn't go drinking with her for a while. Confused, Naeun asked if she was going somewhere. That's when Chaya dropped the bombshell. She was getting married to Taehoon. Back in the memory, the reason for the sudden wedding clicked into place for Naeun. She bluntly asked Chaya if she was pregnant. Her friend quietly confirmed it, looking flushed and nervous. But Naeun immediately grabbed her hands, congratulating her and telling her to chin up. Relieved, Chaya asked if Naeun would give the congratulatory speech at her wedding. Beaming, Naeun didn't just agree. She offered to officiate the whole thing. The memory then shatters, cutting to a man on the phone, looking stressed as he demands to know what's so urgent. Chaya confirmed the wedding was next month, anxiously asking if a busy Naeun could make it. Naeun scoffed, telling her friend not to be ridiculous. But then she got serious, pointing out that Taehoon and Seol-woo were best friends. She questioned if it would be awkward for Seol-woo to sing the congratulatory song, especially after their big falling out. Chaya paled, realizing their entire college circle, including 3 days, would be there to witness the tension. But Naeun squared her shoulders, silently declaring that avoiding this reunion would mean she had already lost. Her brave front was just a mask. Inside, Naeun was spiraling, wondering if she could really handle the wedding. The thought alone made her feel pathetic. She tried to rationalize it, telling herself that no one even remembered their messy breakup anymore. She had a completely new life now in a new environment. Why would she dive back into a world where Seol-woo existed? Just as her anxiety peaked, her friend Manhwa cut in with an unexpected question, asking Naeun if she wanted to go on a blind date. Naeun was completely blindsided by the random blind date offer. Manhwa explained the guy was a decent deputy manager from her old job who would also be at the wedding. The gears in Naeun's head started turning. She realized that skipping her best friend's wedding was impossible, and Taehoon would definitely drag Seol-woo there. A reunion was unavoidable. She concluded that the only logical solution was to have a respectable date by her side for the event. Manhwa nodded eagerly, confirming that was the exact plan. Manhwa eagerly asked if Naeun thought her potential date was good-looking. Before Naeun could answer, her friend admitted he wasn't quite on Seol-woo's level, but he was still a handsome guy with serious grown man vibes. That sealed the deal for Naeun, who coolly agreed to the setup. A week later, she sat across from her date, a translator who specialized in English novels. His polished manners and striking features immediately made him seem mature and experienced, a total departure from the world she was used to. Naeun was completely fed up with immature guys. This new man was a refreshing change, mature, polite, and objectively a good catch. But despite all that, there was a major problem. There was absolutely no spark. Their busy schedules prevented them from meeting again before the wedding, and Naeun found herself attending alone. Her heels clicked confidently on the polished floor as she entered the grand hall, looking stunning in a form-fitting dress. She walked purposefully through the crowd, only to freeze when she locked eyes with another woman who had just arrived. Naeun took a deep breath, feeling like she was preparing for war. Her friend Manhwa spotted her and gasped, rushing over in disbelief. Manhwa gushed that Naeun was so stunning she looked like a celebrity brand ambassador. All the effort of waking up early for the salon had clearly paid off, and Naeun felt a surge of confidence. But her triumph was cut short when Manhwa suddenly waved someone over, calling out a name that made Naeun's blood run cold. As Seol-woo turned and walked towards them, Naeun's heart began to hammer in her chest. Standing beside Seol-woo, Naeun felt the weight of everyone's stares. He nonchalantly told her it was because she was drawing all the attention. The air grew thick with unspoken history. Breaking the silence, Manhwa cheerfully asked if they'd seen each other recently. Before either could answer the painfully awkward question, Naeun quickly changed the subject. She asked Seol-woo if he was singing the congratulatory song for the wedding. He turned to her, his expression unreadable, and corrected her. He wasn't singing, he was giving the wedding speech. Seol-woo broke the silence, casually asking why she looked so surprised to see him. But as Naeun took a closer look, she realized he seemed completely exhausted, like he hadn't slept properly in days. She then noticed his casual sneakers, which were totally out of place. All her effort, all the time she spent at the salon getting dolled up, suddenly felt pointless. He was acting like he didn't even remember she was coming. A wave of disappointment washed over her as she wondered why she even bothered trying so hard. Just as Nayeon was reeling, another man in a sharp suit approached her. He asked why she hadn't answered his calls, saying he'd been looking for her everywhere. Leaning in, he complimented how stunning she was and cheekily suggested they ditch the wedding. Nayeon's mind raced. She could feel Seol-woo's eyes on them. She nervously deflected, reminding the man he was supposed to give a speech. Unfazed, he placed a hand on her back to guide her away, but Nayeon deftly slipped from his grasp, making a quick excuse to head inside alone. The man in the suit smoothly pulled out a chair for Nayeon. She offered a polite thank you, but as she sat down, her eyes were drawn across the hall. Just then, she locked gazes with Seol-woo. He stood alone, his stare sharp and unwavering. Nayeon tried to project an image of confidence, telling herself she was doing just fine without him, even after their painful split. But deep down, her composure began to crumble. A sudden wave of anxiety washed over her, a strange and unsettling crack forming in her chest. The uneasy feeling from the wedding lingered in Nayeon's mind. Later, she sat down with her friend, Seo Manhwa, who urged her to talk quickly while the kids were asleep. Nayeon finally asked her friend what she knew about Do Seol-woo. Manhwa dodged the question, explaining she was starting a new confidential project far from Seoul. Annoyed, Nayeon demanded to know what that had to do with anything. Manhwa then revealed that a new, highly capable team leader had specifically requested her for the project as his deputy, a clear demotion. Manhwa tried to downplay the demotion, claiming the good pay and conditions made her accept it without a second thought. But Nayeon saw right through it, bluntly asking if her new team leader was Do Seol-woo. After Manhwa confirmed it, Nayeon added that he had personally requested her for the demoted role. Outraged, Manhwa passionately encouraged her friend to use her skills to take him down. A fire ignited in Nayeon. She set a new goal: push Do Seol-woo out and become the team leader herself. Nayeon arrived at her new post, suitcase in hand. Her preparations had been flawless, the job handover went smoothly, and she had packed up her home without missing a single detail. She was perfectly ready. As a gentle breeze blew past, she recognized an unmistakable scent, the fragrance of an executive. A smirk played on her lips. With newfound determination, she declared her mission. She wasn't just here to work under him, she was here to take down Do Seol-woo and become the youngest executive the company had ever seen. The game was on. A sleek, white luxury car pulled up, and Nayeon was floored. The company promised her a ride, but an import worth this much was insane. As she approached, a thought stopped her cold. All executive vehicles were supposed to be domestic models from their sister company. The good vibe vanished, replaced by an unsettling feeling she couldn't place. The back door swung open, and her new boss, Do Seol-woo, stepped out. He calmly asked if her small suitcase was everything she brought, leaving Nayeon completely frozen in shock. What was he doing here? Seol-woo calmly explained that the chauffeur was unavailable, so he came to pick her up himself. Internally, Nayeon was fuming. She sarcastically thought about how honored she felt to be driven by the team leader and decided she would travel separately. But as she turned to walk away, Seol-woo swiftly grabbed her suitcase handle. He told her they needed to load her luggage first. Before Nayeon could protest, he popped the trunk, placed her bag inside, and slammed it shut, leaving her with no choice but to ride with him. Stuck in the car, Nayeon has to follow Seol-woo's orders. He says he scheduled a video call for the ride and needs her to assist. He directs her to grab a tablet from the console and launch the conferencing app. Suddenly, she's on a live call. Seol-woo introduces her as the new deputy team leader, Hwang Nayeon, to the man on screen, who greets her warmly. But Nayeon can only feel the pressure of her new boss sitting right beside her. The power play had officially begun, and she was already on the back foot. On the video call, Nayeon introduces herself. The man on screen immediately compliments her, saying she's as beautiful as he'd heard, which catches her completely off guard. Before she can process it, Seol-woo cuts in, getting straight to business about delayed data from OI Telecom. When the contact says they haven't received it, Seol-woo immediately tasks Nayeon with following up. The contact then claims security protocols prevent him from sending sensitive data off-site. Unfazed, Nayeon coolly clarifies that the data isn't for her, it's for team leader Do, neatly sidestepping the corporate trap. With the video call over, Nayeon's mind reeled. She suspected Seol-woo had used the meeting as an excuse just to get her in his car. She asked why they were leaving now if the team wasn't supposed to gather until Monday. He calmly explained the team would start arriving then. Confused, she demanded to know why she had to go today. Seol-woo simply reminded her that she was the one who agreed to it. As logic failed her, she finally asked why he was going so early, a dreadful suspicion growing in her mind. With an edge in his tone, Seol-woo coolly asked how it would look if the team leader showed up a day after his deputy. Nayeon's mind raced. Was he keeping professional tabs on her? Maybe he felt threatened. After all, she was the youngest team leader in the company's history. But her confidence evaporated when he suddenly suggested they grab dinner together near the team house. Just when she thought things couldn't get more complicated, he pulled her in even closer. She realized she needed to reevaluate this entire bizarre situation from the very beginning. As they drove, Nayeon finally processed everything. She'd been so swamped with work, constantly hounded for details, that she never had time to wonder why Seol-woo chose her as his deputy. Maybe she'd been actively avoiding the question because it just didn't make sense. She stared at him, recognizing his signature smirk, the one that screamed he was above it all. He caught her gaze and teased that she'd burn a hole in his face. Unimpressed, Nayeon shot back that a little staring couldn't hurt anyone. He simply called her team leader, and she sighed in defeat. Seol-woo breaks the tense silence, telling her to just say what's on her mind. His directness makes her heart skip a beat, but she quickly tells herself to get a grip. She figures he's just trying to clear the air before their big team meeting. Refusing to play his game, she changes the subject completely. Nayeon complains that his cologne is so strong it's making her carsick, asking if he bathed in it. Caught off guard by her sudden jab, a surprised Seol-woo simply taps a button, letting the car windows roll down. The car window slides down with a hum, letting a cool breeze whip through Nayeon's hair. Seol-woo steals a quick glance at her, momentarily flustered by her bold jab. Annoyed, Nayeon runs a hand through her messy hair, trying to get her thoughts straight. She realized there were a lot of things she found irritating, but as he turned his head forward, a self-satisfied smile gracing his face, she knew what topped the list. That smug, handsome grin of his was absolutely unbearable. He was enjoying this way too much. Riding in the car, Nayeon is completely thrown off. She has no idea what Seol-woo wants from her and wonders if he sees their past as just some laughable mistake. He just waltzed back into her life after she'd finally moved on, acting like an old friend trying to catch up. To her, it's ridiculous how he's pretending nothing ever happened between them. As the car pulls to a stop, he breaks the tense silence, casually asking what she wants for dinner. The simple, normal question catches her so off guard that she flinches. Still flustered, Nayeon listens as Seol-woo nonchalantly states he'll just eat in his room. Stepping out of the car, they find the entrance to their lodging locked tight. Seol-woo pulls out his phone to call the executive director, but his calm demeanor quickly vanishes. His face twists with stress as he learns there's been a huge miscommunication. Apparently, he was supposed to come alone. Watching him squirm, Nayeon grits her teeth. She absolutely hates how easily she can still read his awkward, flustered expressions. Hanging up, Seol-woo confirms the bad news. The director thought everyone was arriving tomorrow. Nayeon scoffs, finding it ridiculous that a huge resort is completely empty. But then another call comes through, and an angry voice rips into Seol-woo for being at the private company resort during their busiest season. The puzzle pieces click for Nayeon. After finding no other hotels nearby, Seol-woo decides they'll head to Gangnam. With no other choice, Nayeon gets back in the car, internally groaning at having to spend even more time with him. Deciding to just get through it, Nayeon tries to focus on tomorrow when the others will finally arrive. They soon pull up to a hotel, where Seol-woo casually mentions he's already booked 2 rooms. He suggests they grab dinner, but Nayeon freezes. Of all the hotels, he chose the one they visited together years ago. Annoyed, she brushes him off, saying she's tired and will just order room service. But as she turns to leave, Seol-woo suddenly reaches out and grabs her wrist, stopping her dead in her tracks. Seol-woo apologizes, admitting he was a bit harsh earlier. As Nayeon stares into his intense gaze, her mind races. She remembers how she once thought his eyes were like deep wells shimmering with stars. But now, they're completely unreadable, and the mystery is driving her crazy. She bites her tongue, knowing that lashing out would only prove she still has feelings for him. Breaking the heavy silence, Seol-woo suddenly complains that his outfit is uncomfortable, leaving Nayeon baffled by the abrupt change of subject. Determined to prove she's over him, Nayeon decides she won't let him see her sweat. She coolly tells him she'll get her room key and meet him in the lobby in half an hour. Releasing her wrist, Seol-woo hands her the card. Since he booked everything, she's stuck with him for now. They get into the elevator, and he asks for her floor. After she presses the 15th button, he casually reveals that they're staying on the same floor. Nayeon just can't seem to get away from this guy. As they arrive on the floor, Nayeon's anxiety spikes. Being on the same floor is bad enough, but are their rooms right next to each other too? She quickly gets to her door and escapes inside, shutting it firmly behind her. The moment she's alone, her strength gives out and she slides to the floor, completely drained. She regrets everything, wishing she had just quit. Suddenly, her phone rings, shattering the tense silence. It's her friend, Chaya, who cheerfully asks how her trip to Gangwon-do is going. Nayeon immediately spills everything to Chaya, explaining she came in Seo-woo's car and they're completely alone until tomorrow. Overwhelmed by the situation, Nayeon dramatically asks if she should just quit. But Chaya isn't having it. She snaps back, yelling that she's busy cleaning up a dinner table that her 4-year-old son flipped over. She scolds Nayeon for complaining when she just got a promotion and a raise, telling her to stop acting more immature than a toddler. The harsh reality check leaves Nayeon speechless. Chaya explains her son is just jealous of his new sibling. Realizing her friend is dealing with actual problems, Nayeon quickly apologizes. But Chaya admits the call was a welcome distraction that made her feel human again. Switching gears, she gives Nayeon a fiery pep talk, telling her to forget quitting and instead focus on taking Seo-woo down. Inspired, Nayeon agrees and hangs up, a new fire in her eyes. Just then, she finds Seo-woo in the hotel restaurant, who turns from the ordering kiosk and asks what she wants to eat. Nayeon points to the screen, ordering pineapple fried rice and a beer. But before she can finish, Seo-woo smoothly moves in, his hand covering hers as he adds pasta to the order, leaving her completely flustered. Later, after they've eaten, Seo-woo polishes off his beer and sets the empty glass down. Nayeon starts to ask him a question, but he cuts her off. Leaning forward with a sly grin, he asks if she wants to grab another drink, his eyes practically smoldering. He's definitely not planning on letting this night end early. Seo-woo leans in, asking if she's ready for round 2. Nayeon pauses, feeling conflicted. While one beer isn't nearly enough, she wonders if drinking with her ex is a good idea. But then, her friend Chaya's fiery pep talk echoes in her mind, telling her to take him down. A sudden surge of confidence hits her. Taking a defiant sip of her drink, Nayeon looks Seo-woo dead in the eyes. She agrees to more drinks and ups the ante, suggesting they switch to whiskey. The battle has just begun. Seo-woo shuts down Nayeon's whiskey challenge with a smug grin. He coolly informs her that he doesn't drink foreign liquor, leaving her completely baffled. Her grand plan to take him down crumbles before it even starts. Changing tactics, Nayeon grabs a bottle of soju and pours them both a shot. As they sit across from each other, Seo-woo asks if making a toast is weird. Without waiting for an answer, he raises his glass. They clink their shots together, officially starting their tense drinking match, but now, it's on his terms. Nayeon questions what's so weird about the toast, then throws back her shot. Across from her, Seo-woo downs his in a single, smooth motion. He immediately grabs the bottle to pour her another, and her confidence wavers. This isn't the Seo-woo she remembers, the guy who couldn't handle his alcohol. This new version of him is unnervingly composed. Leaning forward, he breaks the silence with a loaded question, asking if his presence is making her uncomfortable. The tension in the room instantly skyrockets. Without missing a beat, Nayeon admits she is uncomfortable. But before Seo-woo can read too much into it, she clinks her glass against his and clarifies her position. It's not because she still has feelings for him, it's because being around him is a harsh reminder of her cringy past. After taking her shot, she flips his question back on him. Seo-woo calmly states he knew she'd be uncomfortable. Confused, she asks why he came, saying he could have just avoided her. He coolly replies that he didn't see any reason to. Stunned by his response, Nayeon bluntly calls him shameless. Her mind flashes back to the past, recalling all the nasty rumors that followed Seo-woo. Whispers claimed he was a constant partier, always surrounded by women, and even living with some girl in Gangnam. When he first confessed, she had naively thought it would be a sweet memory to look back on. But his scandalous reputation completely buried that innocent moment, tainting it so badly that she could no longer hold onto the memory without feeling bitter. Nayeon snaps, telling him he should have refused the offer. She argues there must have been other names on the list besides hers. But Seo-woo remains completely unfazed. He takes a deliberate step forward, closing the gap between them, and calmly states that he had no reason to refuse. Suddenly, Nayeon is overwhelmed by his signature woody cologne, and her heart starts to pound in her chest. Flustered by his proximity, she weakly demands to know exactly why he didn't have a reason to say no. With a playful smirk, Seo-woo gives his reason for accepting the offer. It meant he could be with her. But before Nayeon can process the words, he bursts out laughing, shattering the moment. The emotional whiplash is too much, and her eyes well up with tears. She angrily asks if he enjoys messing with her and if she's just some kind of joke. Seo-woo's playful expression vanishes as he earnestly denies it. Confused by his sudden sincerity, Nayeon slams her glass on the table, desperately fighting to keep her composure. Struggling to understand his behavior, Nayeon asks if he hit his head or has memory loss. Seo-woo coolly says no. This sets her off, and she demands to know why he's acting this way, reminding him that he's the one who dumped her. She tells him to quit the new job right now. She passionately explains that she worked hard for her position. But then he softly says her name, and she freezes. His voice is just as gentle and tender as it was 7 years ago. Stunned, Nayeon declares that she can't quit either, because she also worked too hard. Frustrated by the silence, Nayeon demands that Seol-woo just spit it out already. And boy does he ever. He hits her with a bombshell, admitting he thought a god had answered his prayers by giving him a second chance. Nayeon is completely floored. He explains that he has zero intention of missing this opportunity, because if she confesses to his friend, his own shot will be gone forever. Totally lost by this sudden turn, a trembling Nayeon picks up her drink and asks what chance he's talking about. As Seol-woo calmly pours another drink, he finally reveals the chance he was talking about. Looking right at her, he drops an absolute bombshell. It's his chance to confess to her all over again. The words hit Nayeon like a truck, and her world stops spinning. Her hand begins to tremble so violently she can barely hold her glass. Completely floored by his sudden, insane confession, she can only think that he must have completely lost his mind. Furious, Nayeon internally screams at him to snap out of it. But the emotional stress is too much. The glass slips from her trembling fingers and crashes to the ground. A wave of dizziness suddenly washes over her, and she stumbles forward, her body giving out. Before she can collapse, Seol-woo rushes in and catches her, wrapping his arms around her waist. He asks if she's okay, but Nayeon is completely out of it. She wants to tell him to let go, but she can't even speak. The next thing he knows, he's standing alone at the counter. Nayeon's head is pounding. She's never blacked out from a couple of drinks before, and something feels seriously off. As Seol-woo walks beside her, her mind races, calling him crazy for his sudden confession. Realizing she's slurring her words, she accepts that she's completely wasted. When Seol-woo tries to steer her, she shoves him away, snapping that she knows where she is. But her body immediately betrays her. Nayeon stumbles and collapses onto the hard pavement, a wave of nausea washing over her as everything goes dark. As Seol-woo tries to help the wasted Nayeon, she tells him to just go first. He refuses, saying there's no way he can leave her like this. Still reeling from his confession, she angrily retorts that if he was so worried about her, he shouldn't have done what he did back at the bar. Overwhelmed, Nayeon breaks down, crying and telling him not to touch her. Seol-woo's hand clenches into a tight fist. Hurt but resolute, he agrees to her demand, watching as she turns and walks away from him into the night. As Seol-woo walks a step ahead, Nayeon's mind races. Hating the sight of his back, she abruptly stops and tells him to just go first. To her shock, he simply agrees and turns to leave. Frozen in place, Nayeon watches him go, her eyes welling with tears. She wonders if it's the alcohol or 7 years of buried sadness finally breaking free. He's really leaving her. Later, alone in a hallway, she reaches for a door, her knuckles scraped raw from an unseen fall. Nayeon feels warm tears stream down her face, confused as to when she even started crying. Just then, she looks up to see Seol-woo standing right in front of her. His calm expression sends a jolt of anger through her. In a flash, she lunges forward and grabs his shirt, furiously accusing him of laughing at her. She demands to know if he thinks she's ridiculous. But instead of fighting back, Seol-woo gently pulls her hands away. He softly denies it, leaving Nayeon completely stunned by his calm reaction. Nayeon notices something different in Seol-woo's gaze. His eyes are darker, more intense than she's ever seen. Mustering her courage, she declares that she absolutely won't fall for his seduction this time. Unfazed, Seol-woo steps forward, his hand gently capturing hers. He leans in, his face just inches from hers, and softly asks if she really means that, no matter what he does. Internally, Nayeon tries to stand firm, but her resolve crumbles as he closes the last bit of distance between them, their lips almost touching. Even after something like this? Seol-woo whispers, his voice low. Before Nayeon can process his question, he closes the gap, capturing her lips in a kiss. All her resolve melts away as an intense, woody scent overwhelms her senses, making her head spin. The door slams shut behind them, sealing them inside the room. In a single, fluid motion, Seol-woo lifts her into his arms. He carries her further inside, leaving Nayeon breathless and completely swept away by the sudden, undeniable connection between them. Seol-woo gently lays Nayeon down on the bed, their passionate kiss never breaking. The intensity in the room becomes electric. The intense, passionate night finally gives way to a quiet morning. As sunlight streams into the room, Nayeon stirs, the sheets rustling around her. Still dazed from the night's events, she groggily fumbles for her phone on the bedside table. Groggily, Nayeon checks her phone and sees it's already 9 in the morning. She bolts upright, a splitting headache making her wince. At first, she wonders if it's just a bad hangover, but then she freezes. Lying beside her, sleeping soundly, is Seolwoo. The full weight of the previous night comes crashing down. Seeing him there, with their clothes scattered across the floor, Nayeon lets out a long, heavy sigh. The complicated morning after had officially arrived, and she had no idea what to do next. At a fancy company dinner, a man clears his throat, calling for a toast from their new team leader, Do Seolwoo. As Seolwoo smoothly raises his glass, looking every bit the confident leader, a bitter colleague leans toward Nayeon. He whispers poison in her ear, questioning if it bothers her that Seolwoo, who joined much later, is now their boss. He also points out that someone who used to be her junior just got promoted to her same level, adding salt to the wound and planting seeds of resentment. The bitter colleague smirks, raising his glass with a mocking look. He leans toward Nayeon, whispering a venomous question about whether she's embarrassed by the previous night's events. Playing it cool, Nayeon forces a smile and takes a calm sip of her wine. But this snake isn't done stirring the pot. He suddenly calls out, insisting their new team leader should give a speech. All eyes immediately shift to Seolwoo, who is now forced to stand and address the table, cornered by his coworkers' petty games. Forced into the spotlight, Seolwoo calmly raises his glass. He thanks everyone for joining the new project and proposes a toast. As their glasses clink, a jealous coworker silently seethes over what he sees as Seolwoo's unfair, express train to the top. Meanwhile, others praise his famous app, sharing stories of how it protected their families from scams. Seolwoo listens, then cuts through the chatter with a chilling question. He asks why, as employees, they didn't even use their own company's in-house app. A heavy silence falls over the table. A colleague tries to save face, admitting their company's call assistant was never as good as Seolwoo's Thunder Warning app. Nayeon points out that now that the apps are merging, everyone will have to use their flawed product. But that's the real challenge. Their company's app is already bloated with ads, and combining it with Seolwoo's advanced program is a technical nightmare. When another employee tries to talk shop, Seolwoo smoothly shuts her down. He tells them to enjoy the wine tonight, because tomorrow, their last night of freedom is over. As Seolwoo calmly sips his wine, he mentally pokes fun at Nayeon. He thinks it's annoying how she's acting all embarrassed now, especially after she went all out to win him over before. Meanwhile, a colleague asks Deputy Manager Hwang why he never touches the expensive drinks. Hwang explains that a bad experience with wine turned him off it for good. But Nayeon playfully chimes in, pointing out that most pricey whiskeys and highballs are made with imported liquor anyway. She nods to herself, satisfied with her own simple logic. Seolwoo stares at Nayeon, completely baffled by her proud little smile. He can't figure out what she's thinking. As a plate of caviar arrives, he expertly takes a bite and sips his champagne. A coworker is immediately impressed, commenting on how well Seolwoo knows his pairings. Seolwoo coolly replies that he simply learned from watching his father. The comment lands with quiet weight, revealing a glimpse into his privileged background. After all, not everyone learns to pair caviar and champagne at their dad's side. Nayeon quietly reflects on how she once looked up to Seolwoo's father. She had believed he raised his son to be a kind and proper gentleman. The thought sours as she remembers how easily Seolwoo cast her aside, and she stabs her food in frustration. People always want what they can't have. She wonders if she was attracted not just to him, but to the stable family life he came from. Nearby, a colleague asks for whiskey, prompting a teammate to tease if he's going all out tonight. He just smiles, saying he only wants a shot. The colleague justifies his drink, explaining that a strong spirit after a meal helps with digestion. Another teammate agrees, recalling a travel show about European customs. But the lighthearted table talk is lost on Nayeon. She finds the atmosphere unbearable and decides she needs to get some air. With a sharp scrape of her chair, she stands and walks away from the table without a word. While her coworkers look on in surprise, Seolwoo's eyes silently follow her every move as she leaves the room. Nayeon lets out a heavy sigh, stepping outside for a breath of fresh air. Deciding a short walk is just what she needs, she starts down a stone path. Suddenly, a figure appears right behind her, and she whirls around, startled. It isn't Seolwoo, but her colleague, Seo Manhwa. He asks what she's doing outside. A flicker of disappointment crosses her face, as she admits she thought he was someone else. She explains she just came out to digest, but he casually mentions she's missing the sorbet they just brought out for dessert. Manhwa tells her not to worry, as the dinner is ending soon anyway. Nayeon tries to play it cool, remarking that it's a shame she missed the delicious sorbet. Internally, she's still a wreck, wondering if something cold could soothe the anxious knot in her stomach. After a moment of silence, Manhwa seems to read her mind. A little hesitant at first, he then asks if she'd like to go grab some ice cream with him. As they walked with their ice cream, Nayeon couldn't help but admire the brilliant night sky. She commented on how beautiful the stars looked, noting it was a sight she rarely got to see in Seoul. Lost in the moment, she stared up, thinking the sky looked like it was filled with sparkling stars ready to pour down. Her peaceful thought was shattered when Manhwa suddenly called her full name. He looked at her seriously, asking if anyone special came to mind when she looked at the stars. Manhwa's question hangs in the air, and Nayeon's mind instantly flashes to Seolwoo. She once thought his eyes sparkled just like the stars in the night sky. But she quickly tells herself that feeling is gone, that those stars have long died in her heart. She turns back to Manhwa and says no, there's nobody. Surprisingly, he admits he does have someone in mind, before clarifying that he and his girlfriend broke up 3 months ago. Caught off guard by the sudden confession, Nayeon can only manage a quiet "I see." The conversation takes a sharp turn when Manhwa asks Nayeon to guess the reason for his breakup. Without hesitation, Nayeon bluntly asks if he got dumped. A flustered Manhwa insists he was the one who ended it. Nayeon calls him out, wondering why he's so upset if he was the one who left. That's when he drops the real bombshell. He broke up with his ex because he was already thinking of another woman. Nayeon freezes, realizing this sad story might just be a ploy to set a romantic mood. He panics, asking if she's mad. Nayeon's face darkens. She clenches her ice cream and declares that she hates transfers more than anything. Manhwa is totally lost by her sudden anger, so he tries to explain himself. He claims he gave himself a 3-month mourning period out of respect for his ex. This just makes Nayeon even madder. She scoffs internally, thinking 3 months is way too long. Even funerals are only 3 days. The thought reminds her of how Seolwoo moved on instantly. Now she's seething, believing that dumpers should at least pretend to feel bad. As Manhwa asks if there's a special reason she doesn't date, Nayeon's mind flashes back to another confession. It was from Miho, her senior. He had coolly told her that he kept thinking about her. The words hit her like a ton of bricks. Nayeon was completely blindsided, wondering how she could have been so oblivious. The idea that Miho actually liked her was something she had never, ever considered. His unexpected confession had left her absolutely speechless and confused. Still caught in the memory, Nayeon tells Miho she's just too busy to date. He isn't buying it though, and presses her for the real reason. Before she can think of what to say, a new voice cuts in, asking what they're doing there. They both turn to see Seolwoo, looking serious. Miho nervously calls him team leader, trying to explain. But for Nayeon, everything suddenly clicks into place. She finally realizes the true reason her relationships have never worked out. It's always been him. Nayeon tries to rationalize it. Miho respected Seolwoo, and he seemed decent enough. But then it clicks, he hit on her while he had a girlfriend. She silently fumes, thinking all men are the same. The tension between the two guys spikes as Seolwoo asks if Miho is gunning for his position. Miho quickly backpedals, but Seolwoo just smirks, telling him they'll see who comes out on top. Poor Nayeon is just stuck in the middle, totally clueless about their strange rivalry. Acting like a true team leader, Seolwoo smoothly cuts the tension. He announces their schedule will be packed starting tomorrow, telling Nayeon and Miho to head in and rest. A nervous Miho bows low, telling him to go first. But the moment they're gone, Seolwoo's cool facade shatters. His expression darkens, and he clenches his fist in silent anger. He overheard their entire conversation, Nayeon talking about her grieving period and him being a rebound. And hearing he's just a replacement has clearly left him furious. As Seolwoo walks away with a bizarrely stiff posture, Miho can't help but comment on it. He asks Nayeon if the team leader has robot joints or something. Nayeon immediately covers her mouth, desperately trying to stifle a laugh. She reminds herself to be careful. She can't get caught making fun of her boss, even if he is her ex. She has to maintain her dignity. A panicked Miho then leans in, begging her not to snitch on him for mocking their superior, pleading for old time's sake. Miho notes that unfortunately, Seolwoo is the one with stronger old ties. He tells Nayeon to get some rest, saying he'll hear her answer later. A clueless Nayeon asks what answer he's even talking about. Looking annoyed, Miho asks if she's messing with him. Nayeon sighs and then lays down her ultimate relationship rule. She never, ever dates guys from the same workplace. She argues that a breakup would be a disaster. And since she's not quitting, would he? But Miho's comeback is shockingly bold. He says they can solve that problem by just never breaking up. Nayeon hits Seolwoo with a serious hypothetical. What if they dated and broke up at work? She's committed to her job, so she asks if he'd be the one to quit. But Seolwoo's answer is pure confidence. He states firmly that the solution is easy. They just won't ever break up. Completely flustered, Nayeon tells him not to jump straight from a confession to a proposal. Changing the subject, Seolwoo says he's stepping out for a smoke, prompting a coworker to jokingly warn him about wild boars. Nayeon smirks, correcting him that even a water deer is scary. After a brief, awkward silence, Nayeon decides to end the conversation, telling her coworker she's going inside first. He watches her walk away. As her heels click against the pavement, Nayeon runs through a mental checklist. On paper, this guy is a total catch. He's 5 years older, a deputy team leader with a good salary, decent looks, and a genuinely good personality. But as she stands alone, looking up at the sky, Nayeon confronts the one fatal flaw in this perfect picture. She feels absolutely zero attraction to him. Still wrestling with her coworker's confession, Nayeon questions what it even means to be attracted to someone. Back in her apartment, she tries to reset, stepping out of a fresh shower. In an attempt to get her mind back on track, she walks over to her desk to check for any team emails. But just as she settles in, the doorbell suddenly chimes through the quiet room. Confused, she wonders who could possibly be at her door this late at night. Cautiously, Nayeon approaches and asks who's there. A voice from the hallway identifies himself as Do Seol-woo. Shocked that her deputy team leader is at her apartment, Nayeon tells him it's her personal time. Unfazed, he asks if she plans to leave him standing outside. After a moment, the door clicks open. Seol-woo stands before her, remarking that she looks like she didn't expect him to get in. Suddenly, he grabs her arm and pulls her into the hall, demanding to know what that was. Startled, Nayeon asks what he's trying to do, pretending not to understand his question. Seol-woo confronts Nayeon, reminding her they spent the night together just yesterday before demanding to know what was going on with Deputy Leader Han. Unimpressed, Nayeon scoffs and dismisses their encounter as a one-time thing. She tries to frame it as two former lovers catching up, a moment that should be buried and forgotten. But Seol-woo isn't backing down. He states firmly that he has no intention of forgetting. He makes it clear that he won't miss this second chance that has come his way, completely ignoring her attempt to push him away. Nayeon steels herself, refusing to back down from this confrontation. Crossing her arms, she tells Seol-woo there's something she forgot to mention, though she already told Deputy Leader Han. Seol-woo's face hardens as he demands to know why she would tell Han but not him. With a defiant look, Nayeon declares her strict rule. She doesn't date anyone from the same workplace. She reminds him that since he's her direct superior in the same department, that rule definitely includes him. The line has been drawn. Nayeon lays down the law, concluding that her workplace rule means they can't be together. But Seol-woo isn't fazed. Instead, a sly smile spreads across his face as he catches her slip-up. He points out that she just used the word we, implying she already sees them as a unit. Flustered, Nayeon tries to brush it off, but Seol-woo presses on. He confirms she rejected Deputy Leader Han, and Nayeon grows irritated at how relieved he looks. He then challenges her, asking if she'd date Han if they ever stopped being co-workers. Trying to mess with him, Nayeon gives a vague answer, saying you never know what the future holds with Han. She quickly clarifies she has no intention of actually dating the guy, sighing at the strange fate that brought her and Seol-woo back together. After a tense silence, Seol-woo turns to face her properly. Seeing his serious expression, Nayeon knows the games are over. He drops the teasing tone and confesses that all this time, he's only ever had eyes for her. His heartfelt words hang in the air between them. Nayeon is stunned by his confession, asking if he's hit his head. Her disbelief quickly sours into raw pain. With tears welling in her eyes, she lunges forward and grabs his shirt, her hands trembling with fury. She demands to know if he's forgotten how they broke up. The atmosphere grows heavy as she glares at him, her voice dripping with resentment. She challenges him, asking if he wants her to detail, right there and then, exactly how he treated her in the past. Trembling with rage, Nayeon accuses him of humiliating her right after their breakup, leaving her with no time to even process the pain. Seol-woo's expression is grim as he admits he remembers every single hurtful action and word. Crying, Nayeon demands to know why he's doing this now. Internally, she's a wreck, torn between her fury and the spark she feels whenever he's around. Seol-woo gently takes her hand, his gaze unwavering. He confesses that he needs her and has been living only for the chance to apologize and win her back. Tears stream down Nayeon's face as she demands to know why he's doing this now. Her voice is laced with bitter sarcasm as she asks if he finally realized what a catch she was after dating other girls. She presses him, wanting to know if he regrets letting her go. Though Nayeon always considered herself a logical person, her emotions boil over. Her sadness quickly turns to defiance as she glares at him, accusing him of using his new position of power to bully and boss her around. She refuses to be his emotional punching bag. Nayeon accuses him of trying to make her quit, asking if he's just uncomfortable with her being there. Though she knows her emotions are getting the best of her, the words keep tumbling out. But Seol-woo calmly denies it. He clarifies that this isn't some scheme. He genuinely wants a second chance. Hearing this, Nayeon's entire demeanor shifts. The tears stop, and a cold, challenging smirk spreads across her face. With newfound resolve, she stares him down and dares him to try, telling him to go for it. Unfazed by her challenge, Seol-woo calmly tells Nayeon she knows exactly what she's good at, tempting him, just like she did before. Though she just spat out harsh words, he doesn't even flinch. Instead of arguing, he suddenly steps forward and pulls her into a firm hug. Nayeon is completely caught off guard. As he holds her, she can't help but feel that his embrace is a perfect fit. The realization is both intensely comforting and incredibly infuriating, leaving her a mess of conflicting emotions in his arms. As Seol-woo holds her, he whispers a sincere apology for everything. His gentle voice and warm touch begin to melt her hardened heart, even after the humiliating way he'd left her. But the tender moment shatters when he pulls back, a dangerous look in his eyes as he warns that he's going to torture her. Unfazed, Nayeon fires back, promising to trample him mercilessly and break him first. In response to her challenge, he simply caresses her face, leans in slowly, and finally closes the gap, sealing his unspoken words with a kiss. As they kiss, Nayeon's mind races with a plan for revenge. She wants to make Seol-woo suffer twice as much as she did, but she can't deny her own powerful attraction to him. Pulling back with a confident smirk, she hits him with a shocking proposal. A purely physical relationship, no strings attached. She lays out the practical terms, confident it's a deal-breaker. In her mind, there's no way a guy with his personality would ever agree to such a provocative offer. She believes she's just called his bluff and won. Seol-woo completely shatters Nayeon's plan by accepting her shocking proposal. Grabbing her hand, he reminds her of his promise. From now on, she can only be with him. He doesn't care what she calls their arrangement. He'll let her use him however she wants. Nayeon is completely stunned. Her bluff has been called, leaving her unsure if it's right to toy with someone like this, even him. Overwhelmed and exhausted from the emotional roller coaster, she dismisses him, saying she's too tired and just wants to rest. The next morning, Nayeon is stunned when Seol-woo, shirtless beside her, apologizes for the previous night. He admits that after so long, he couldn't control himself. A deep blush creeps up her neck as she flinches away, simply telling him to go. Unfazed, Seol-woo gets dressed but pulls her close one last time. He teases that if she wants to tempt him, she has to commit. Planting a gentle kiss on her forehead, he promises to see her tomorrow, leaving Nayeon completely flustered and at a loss for words. As her phone buzzes with a call from her mom, Nayeon shoos Seol-woo out the door. Later, during a meeting, her senior, Hyung, surprises her with a coffee. He proudly explains he drove all the way to a famous beach cafe just for her. Nayeon is completely baffled. How did he know her super specific, unusual preference? A quick glance at a text message reveals the answer. Seol-woo had messaged Hyung her exact order, a hot Americano with 3 ice cubes, just the way she likes it. Nayeon finds herself in a tight spot, with 2 coffees sitting in front of her. One is the special iced Americano from Hyung, and the other is her very particular order from Seol-woo. She's trapped. Drinking Hyung's coffee would let her mess with Seol-woo, but it would also give her senior the wrong idea. Taking Seol-woo's is the safe choice, but she'd lose the chance for a little payback. With both men watching her intently, Nayeon realizes there might be only one way out of this. Reject them both. Nayeon sighs internally, admitting this whole revenge scheme is exhausting. A younger her would have just grabbed the coffee she wanted without thinking about the consequences. As she stares at the 2 drinks, her colleague, Manhwa, tries to offer some words of comfort, mistaking Nayeon's stress for something else. She then points out that their meeting is about to start. Seeing Nayeon still stuck, Manhwa offers the perfect way out. She asks if, since Nayeon isn't drinking either cup, would it be okay for her to have one? Manhwa's offer provides the perfect escape. A light bulb goes off in Nayeon's head as she asks her colleague to choose between the iced or hot coffee. Both Hyung and Seol-woo flinch, their little competition suddenly backfiring. Manhwa happily claims the iced Americano, Hyung's special gift, leaving him absolutely crushed. Seol-woo smirks, pushing his hot coffee toward Nayeon as if he's won. She just glares at him, thinking how unbelievably childish he's being. Her battle, it seems, isn't over yet. Hyung tries to save face with a casual shrug, acting like he's totally fine with his coffee being snatched away. But one look at Seol-woo tells a different story. He's practically steaming with irritation, leaving Nayeon baffled by his intensity. Her eyes fall on the last coffee standing, the one Seol-woo brought. She remembers her old habit of only drinking iced Americanos. Taking a sip of the strange warm and cold drink, she thinks maybe it's time to give it another chance. It seems Seol-woo has won this petty coffee battle after all. Nayeon listlessly pokes at her cafeteria meal. After eating the same food for 4 days straight, she is completely over it. Her colleague, Hyung, feels the same way, dramatically complaining that being stuck here feels like being raised as livestock. The beautiful East Sea is right there, and they can't even see it. Seeing her friend so miserable, Nayeon asks if there's a place she'd rather be. Ha-young's mood instantly brightens as she shouts, "Gangnam." She passionately describes her perfect getaway: coffee from a famous beach, delicious tofu for dinner, and dessert overlooking the night sea. Na-yoon is floored. She can't believe Ha-young planned a whole vacation while they were drowning in paperwork. The thought makes her a little sad, wondering if she ever had the time to be that carefree. A memory flashes back to her college days, when the fear of losing her scholarship was all-consuming. There was never room for fun. Back in the office, the sound of keyboards tapping fills the air until their boss suddenly asks Ha-young if the team should go out for dinner tonight. Na-yoon agrees, thinking a team dinner sounds fine. At the mention of Gangnam, Ha-young's eyes light up with excitement. Her boss confirms it, stretching casually and saying the drive will be quick since it's the off-season. The whole office buzzes, ready for their spontaneous trip. But their plans are cut short when an imposing figure in a sharp black shirt blocks their path, demanding to know where they're all going. The boss quickly explains it's a team dinner in Gangnam and nervously asks if the team leader would like to join them. The intimidating figure is none other than Do Seol-woo, their new team leader. Na-yoon is floored. It all clicks into place now. Her boss must not know about their past. Back in college, Na-yoon always thought Taehoon was just oblivious to Seol-woo's crush on her. But now, she realizes the truth. Seol-woo was just a master at hiding his feelings. As she processes this, Seol-woo's voice cuts through the excited chatter, asking who's going. Her boss nervously lists the names before asking if their team leader would like to join them. Seol-woo agrees to the dinner, but with a cruel twist. They have to work even harder this afternoon. A collective groan echoes through the office as their hopes are crushed. He then singles out Na-yoon, piling a stack of files onto her desk and ordering her to summarize them before they can leave. Her colleague sighs, completely giving up on their trip to Gangnam. But Na-yoon isn't defeated. With a sly smile, she asks if he wants to bet on whether they'll still make it, ready to prove her new boss wrong. Seol-woo's intense stare lasers into the back of Na-yoon's head. She knows he gets like this whenever she talks to male colleagues, and though she tries to ignore it, she can't help but find his jealousy a little cute. Shaking off the thought, she furiously gets to work, determined to win their bet. The clock jumps from 2:30 to 6 o'clock. Her colleague stretches, groaning that he just barely finished. Na-yoon, however, looks completely unfazed. She coolly announces she's also done and asks if it's time to get ready to leave. Seol-woo approaches their desks, his footsteps heavy. To their shock, he actually admits that they both did a good job and tells them to return the materials. Na-yoon figures he must have just checked the emails she sent. But as she gets up, Seol-woo's voice stops her. He calls out for Deputy Team Leader Hwang Na-yoon, asking to see her for a moment. Before she can process this, he turns to her colleague and dismisses him for the day. The guy celebrates his freedom, but Na-yoon is just confused. What is Seol-woo planning? Alone with Seol-woo, Na-yoon internally challenges him. Is he seriously messing with her right now? A confident smirk appears on her face as he remembers her vow to charm him with all her might. With a sharp tug, Seol-woo pulls the blind shut, cloaking the office in a tense privacy. Keeping her composure, Na-yoon asks if there's a problem with her report. He ignores the question, looking down at her with an unreadable expression. In a calm, authoritative voice, he simply tells her to have a seat first. Alone in the office, Na-yoon waits on the couch, demanding to know why Seol-woo kept her. His answer is bizarre. He simply tells her to sit still for 30 minutes. Confused, she asks what he's doing. He calls it guard duty, explaining he's on high alert against an enemy. Na-yoon is completely floored when he reveals the supposed enemy is her colleague, Han Mi-ho. She can't believe he'd call a teammate a rival. Realizing this is all just his intense jealousy, a confident smirk spreads across her face. Smirking, Na-yoon asks what she's supposed to do for 30 minutes. But Seol-woo's jealous act suddenly drops. He gets serious, pointing out a problem in the report she just submitted. He explains that their partner company is exploiting legal loopholes to collect too much customer data. Annoyed at first, Na-yoon listens as he professionally details the issue. He wants her to handle the coordination to fix it. This sudden switch to a serious, principled boss reminds Na-yoon of his confession, recalling that Seol-woo is a man who never improperly crosses the line. As Na-yoon listens, she reflects on how Seol-woo always operates within clear boundaries, both personally and professionally. His firm stance on business ethics reminds her of his promise to wait as a friend. She admits to herself she's always liked this principled side of him, but she quickly shakes the thought away, reminding herself he already crossed a major line when they broke up. A colleague's voice suddenly snaps her back to reality. Regaining her focus, Na-yoon professionally breaks down the technical differences between their app and their partners, explaining the data collection issue. Na-yoon professionally wraps up her explanation, promising to persuade headquarters to fix the data issue. But before she can even relax, Seol-woo hits her with a sudden command, she's going to Gangnam with him. Completely blindsided, Nayeon questions his decision. He says it would be too awkward for her to stay behind and tells her to wait so she can ride in his car. After watching their colleagues leave, he turns to her with a possessive smirk, admitting the real reason. He just can't stand seeing her in another man's car. Seol-woo smoothly dismisses their colleagues, leaving him and Nayeon alone in the office. Furious, Nayeon calls him shameless for his childish stunt, questioning if he really thinks it will change anything. With a confident smirk, Seol-woo says it already has. He then turns back to her, dropping a bold question. Has there ever been anyone who suited her better than him? Stunned by his audacity, Nayeon knows she can't back down now. Giving in would be handing him a complete victory, and she refuses to let him win this easily. As Nayeon processes his bold claim, she can't help but think he sounds surprisingly insecure, questioning why he needs her validation. Before she can answer, her phone buzzes, cutting through the thick tension. It's a call from her mom. Nayeon asks Seol-woo if she can answer, and he silently watches as she takes the call. Her mother reassures her that a recent hospital checkup went well for both her and her aunt. After ending the call, Nayeon's expression turns thoughtful again, the weight of their unresolved conflict returning instantly. Seol-woo's expression softens with concern as he asks if her mother is hurt. Nayeon is internally annoyed by his familiar tone, but she simply clarifies that it was just a routine checkup. The conversation leaves her feeling uneasy, lost in thoughts about being far away from her mom. She wonders if gaining new worries is just a part of growing up, reflecting on her desire for more mature relationships. Her introspection is cut short when Seol-woo asks if she's ready to leave, making her wonder if true maturity is still a long way off. As they drive, Nayeon feels she's just playing reckless games, using revenge as a flimsy excuse to be with Seol-woo. The silence is broken when her phone buzzes with frantic messages from her coworker, Ha-young. She's panicking about someone named Deputy Leader Han and begging them to hurry. Seol-woo glances over, asking who that is. Nayeon explains that Ha-young just feels awkward and wants them there. She quickly texts back, reassuring her they're on their way. Putting her phone down, she gazes at the crimson sunset, watching it fade into darkness. As the sky burns with the fading sunset, Seol-woo breaks the silence, asking Nayeon what she's thinking about. She simply replies that the sky is ridiculously beautiful. With a small smirk, he notes that she's changed a lot. But Nayeon thinks to herself that Seol-woo hasn't changed at all. His kindness feels deliberate, as if their separation never happened. This strikes her as strange, like a puzzle missing a critical piece. She resolves to uncover the reason behind his unusual behavior to understand what's truly going on. Seol-woo breaks the silence, asking what she's thinking. Before she can even answer, he leans in closer, admitting he thinks it's the perfect moment to kiss her. He doesn't hesitate, gently cupping her face and pulling her into a deep, surprising kiss right there in the car. The sudden intimacy leaves Nayeon breathless and completely flustered. Pulling back with a faint smirk, Seol-woo then boldly asks if they should just skip their trip to Gangnam altogether, a tempting look in his eyes. Still blushing from the kiss, Nayeon challenges Seol-woo, asking what they would even do if they skipped the trip. Leaning in close, he whispers a suggestive question about what else people in their kind of arrangement do together. His bold words leave her speechless. Flustered, Nayeon quickly insists they have to go, using her waiting friend Ha-young as an excuse. Internally, she thinks about revoking their partner privileges on the spot, realizing she's just desperate for an escape. Seol-woo simply smirks, agreeing they should go save that little chick. As they drive into the sunset, Nayeon realizes they're on the same wavelength. She remembers how perfect their old relationship was, how they never fought because they just clicked. This only makes her more confused about why he suddenly changed back then. She debates asking him for the truth about their breakup, but stops herself, terrified of what she might hear. The real question eats at her. If she knew the full story, could she forgive him? Could they ever find their way back to each other and fall in love again? They finally meet up with Ha-young for dinner, but the vibe is immediately tense. Nayeon notices her friend looks deeply uncomfortable, especially with a senior colleague, the deputy team leader, giving her way too much attention. While Nayeon is laser-focused on her friend, Seol-woo is laser-focused on Nayeon, staring at her intensely. She tries to break his gaze by asking if the food is bad. With a charming smile, he insists it's delicious. Just then, the deputy leader announces he's leaving, telling them to go have fun on their own. Trying to lighten the tense mood, Nayeon suggests they all get some drinks. Her friend Ha-young eagerly agrees. But the plan is cut short when Ha-young suddenly asks Seol-woo if she can ride back to the lodging with him. Sensing her friend's desperation, Nayeon quickly suggests a car swap. She declares that Ha-young can go with Seol-woo while she'll ride with the other senior. However, the senior immediately shuts her down, insisting it would be better if Hyung just went alone with the creepy deputy team leader instead. Nayeon recalls how her friend Hyung has always been a straight shooter, never afraid to speak her mind. Just then, Hyung starts gushing about her career ambitions, but her words make Nayeon's head spin. She flashes back to a time when Hyung adamantly swore she would never date a guy from the same department. Nayeon thought that firm declaration was enough for anyone to understand. But the other senior pipes up again, suggesting that since the creepy deputy needs to look after Hyung, they should all just ride together. With the car ride underway, Hyung immediately starts venting to the senior about the awful deputy team leader, Han Miho. She asks if he knows what the creep said to her earlier, but the senior, completely annoyed, shuts her down and tells her to be quiet until they arrive. Meanwhile, Nayeon is shocked, unable to believe the polite-seeming deputy had that side to him. Glancing over, she catches Seol-woo in the rearview mirror. He's got a small smirk, and Nayeon realizes he's definitely enjoying hearing Hyung trash his rival. The senior driver pipes up, confirming that the creepy deputy Miho only suggested the trip because Hyung was having a hard time. But Hyung's mind is already racing with wild theories. She speculates that Miho was actually jealous of another deputy, wanting to size up his competition. Nayeon thinks her friend's theory is a bit of a stretch. Suddenly, Hyung makes a grand announcement, declaring that she has officially removed Deputy Miho from Nayeon's list of potential boyfriends. This out-of-the-blue statement leaves Nayeon completely baffled. With her friend clearly feeling the drinks, Hyung suddenly nominates a new candidate for Nayeon's love life, Seol-woo. A mortified Nayeon quickly clamps a hand over Hyung's mouth. The senior driver notes that she seems pretty drunk. Soon, Hyung is resting on Nayeon's lap, mumbling about wanting a cool older sister. From the driver's seat, Seol-woo smirks, praising Hyung's excellent taste. Completely fed up with his teasing, Nayeon snaps at him to shut up, her face flushed with embarrassment. After that chaotic car ride, Nayeon decides she definitely needs to have a talk with her daydreaming friend, Hyung. Later that night, just as she gets a text asking to meet, her phone buzzes with a surprising call. It's Deputy Han Miho. He confirms it's her and asks to talk immediately. With a hotel cafe closed, he suggests they meet in his car to discuss something sensitive in private. Unsure, Nayeon hesitates, worrying that being seen with him could be a huge problem. Nayeon quickly decides that meeting in a car looks way too suspicious. Thinking fast, she makes a bold counteroffer. He can just come up to her room instead. On the other end of the line, Seol-woo loves this idea, even suggesting they bring a laptop as a work excuse. Not even 10 minutes after they hang up, there's a knock at her door. A surprised Nayeon opens it to find Seol-woo standing there, a smug grin on his face, clearly enjoying how flustered she is. Seol-woo casually wonders who else she could possibly be expecting at this hour. Still shocked, Nayeon asks why he's here. He turns the question back on her, suggestively reminding her they have something to do. When a confused Nayeon asks what he means, he leans in and drops a single, scandalous word that leaves her completely speechless. Before she can even react, Seol-woo swiftly slips past her into the apartment. The door clicks shut behind them, trapping them alone inside her room as the tension skyrockets. Flustered, Nayeon's mind screams at him. He can't just show up without calling first. But her protests die on her lips as Seol-woo gently cups her face, his gaze locking onto hers. Completely mesmerized, all she can manage is a quiet agreement. A sly smirk plays on his lips as he promises to call her next time. Before she can even react to his teasing words, he leans in and seals the promise with a sudden, breathtaking kiss. Her hand instinctively tightens on his shirt as the tension finally breaks. Just as the kiss deepens, the sudden chime of the doorbell shatters the moment. Nayeon's eyes fly open in pure panic. She completely forgot her senior was supposed to be coming over. Outside the door, a confused voice calls out for someone named Deputy Team Leader Hwang, mentioning they were supposed to meet for work. Frozen in Seol-woo's arms, Nayeon realizes her secret rendezvous is about to be discovered. Her guest has arrived, and the timing could not possibly be worse. With Nayeon still frozen in his arms, Seol-woo drops an absolute bombshell. He finds it strange that she has a work meeting because as the team leader, he never assigned her to work with the senior waiting outside. He leans in closer, a smirk playing on his lips as he asks Hwang Nayeon what she's going to do now, pointing out how flustered she looks. As the knocking at the door grows more demanding, Nayeon's mind shuts down in utter despair. Her secret crush isn't just a bandmate, he's her boss. Trapped between her boss and her coworker, Nayeon feels like the universe is playing a cruel joke. While Seol-woo calmly asks what her next move is, her mind races with chaotic possibilities. For a split second, she considers just opening the door and letting the drama explode. But her fantasy is cut short when Seol-woo actually reaches for the doorknob himself. A jolt of panic shoots through her. Snapping out of her trance, Nayeon lunges forward and grabs his arm, desperately pleading for him to just stay put. With her hand clamped on his arm, Nayeon looks up in desperation. Seol-woo just smirks, amused that his subordinate is bold enough to give him orders. Fired up, Nayeon calls him tacky for only pulling the boss card when it's convenient. To her shock, he calmly agrees. Deciding he has nothing to lose since she supposedly doesn't have feelings for him, he suddenly pulls her into a tight hug. Caught completely off guard, Nayeon's mind goes blank, stunned by the unexpected embrace as the knocking at the door continues. With the co-worker still at the door, Nayeon realizes she can't just ignore him. Sending him away now would only create more misunderstandings, making it seem like she was leading him on. She decides she has to go out and set clear boundaries. But before she can act, Seol-woo grabs her attention, his voice laced with fury. He demands to know why that guy is there and if she really called him. Without flinching, Nayeon confirms that she did. Stunned and hurt, Seol-woo pulls her closer, asking why he isn't enough for her. Stunned by his raw question, Nayeon is speechless as her co-worker yells for her from outside the door. The pressure mounts, and a frustrated look crosses Seol-woo's face before he finally lets her go, his gaze falling. Seeing her chance, Nayeon points towards the other room with a shaky hand. She orders him to go inside, declaring she called her co-worker over because she has something to talk to him about. Unfazed, Seol-woo just quietly asks what exactly she needs to discuss. Nayeon challenges him, asking what he'd even do with that knowledge. Seol-woo agrees to hide, but only on one condition. She must grant him a wish. Confused, Nayeon doesn't get a chance to respond before he suddenly closes the distance between them. He whispers a threat, promising to walk right out the front door if she refuses his deal. Realizing he's deliberately cornering her, she stands frozen. He leans in closer, his breath on her skin as he murmurs her full name and title, completely seizing control of the moment. Trapped with no other choice, Nayeon finally caves and points towards the other room, telling Seol-woo to get in there. He turns back with a smug grin, agreeing to hide but not before giving her a chilling warning. He tells her that if he so much as smells anything improper happening with the guy outside, she'll witness a mad dog bursting out of that room. With his possessive threat hanging in the air, Seol-woo casually strolls towards the bedroom, leaving Nayeon to deal with the mess at her front door. With Seol-woo hidden, Nayeon finally opens the door for her co-worker, giving a flustered apology about a sudden emergency. Once they're settled inside, he cuts right to the chase. He apologizes for the late meeting but notes her serious expression. Getting straight to the point, he brings up the night of their introductory meeting. He explains that he thought his feelings were understood back then, but now he realizes he wasn't clear enough. He states that the real reason he came was to properly tell her how he feels one more time. Internally, Nayeon knows she has to let him say his piece. It's the only way to cut off any lingering feelings for good. So, she braces herself and tells him to go ahead. Miho begins his confession by strolling down memory lane, reminding her they first met when she was 24. He emphasizes that they've worked together for a full 7 years now. But Nayeon isn't impressed. She coldly points out that in those 7 years, she's watched him go through 3 or 4 different girlfriends, completely shutting down his romantic buildup. Miho admits he dated around, but then flips the script, noting Nayeon never seemed to have a serious boyfriend. He brings up her rule about not dating coworkers and asks why she has it. Nayeon confirms there's a painful reason. He correctly guesses it all stems from a bad college romance. She admits the relationship was rough, and the breakup was even worse. The ending was so messy that she struggled for a long time, especially since they shared the same friends, making it impossible to escape the constant reminders. Nayeon explains the brutal aftermath of her college breakup. It felt like her entire social world had collapsed. She couldn't escape him. He was at friends' weddings, and his name always came up at alumni gatherings. Miho sympathizes, understanding how hard that must have been. He figures out this is the real reason for her no-dating coworkers rule. Nayeon confirms it, stating she never wants to experience that kind of unavoidable daily pain again. Just hearing about her ex was bad enough. Seeing one at the office every day would be unbearable. Miho listens to her painful story and immediately clarifies his own intentions. He assures Nayeon this isn't some casual confession with a breakup already in mind. He explains that his good first impression of her grew into genuine respect. He admits he's had the same worries, knowing that office romances often end badly, sometimes forcing one person to quit. But he is dead serious. Miho looks her in the eye and says he's at an age where he wants a real commitment, a relationship he can picture lasting, with no messy endings. Nayeon admits to herself that on paper, the guy is perfect. He's handsome, has a great personality, and they click so well. But there's one massive problem. She just doesn't feel any romantic attraction to him. Later, she's sitting with Seol-woo when her phone buzzes. It's her mom. She ignores it to ask about his mother's health instead. He assures her she's okay. But as Nayeon starts to speak again, he gently places his hand over hers. He cuts her off, saying he already knows what she's about to say. Seol-woo cuts right to the chase, stating that he knows she doesn't see him as a man. Nayeon looks down and apologizes, but he gently tells her there's nothing to be sorry for. He reminds her it isn't a crime to not be drawn to someone. This moment triggers a memory for Nayeon. When she first rejected Seol-woo, she felt awful. But now, her feelings are different. It's pure regret. She regrets that a genuinely good person wasted such serious feelings on her. Back in the present, Seol-woo correctly guesses she wanted to stop meeting privately. Seol-woo promises to be more careful, assuring Nayeon he'll back off if their private meetings are making her uncomfortable. Then he hits her with a direct question, asking what her type is. This simple query makes Nayeon realize she doesn't have a specific type. She just wants someone who makes her heart race, and a vivid image of a smiling Seol-woo immediately flashes in her mind. Despite this massive internal revelation, she just tells him she isn't sure and gets up to leave. Just as she turns to go, he calls out to her. Nayeon asks her colleague, Hyun, to be kinder to a co-worker, but he coldly dismisses her. He states that in the workplace, being sweet means nothing. Competence is all that matters. Feeling scolded, Nayeon admits she's already feeling down. But Hyun completely flips the script. He explains he's not kind to just anyone. He only treats the person he's set his heart on with care. He then asks her directly why she thought he was so good to her. The intense confession leaves Nayeon stunned into silence as he says her name. Seol-woo tells Nayeon he has one last favor to ask. Confused, she tells him to go ahead. He then asks if it would be alright to hug her just one time. Nayeon can see there's no hidden motive in his eyes. It's just a simple request, a final farewell from someone who's been rejected. She gives a small nod of agreement. He gently pulls her into an embrace, holding her close. But as they stand there, the sudden creak of a nearby door opening cuts through the quiet moment, leaving them both frozen. As Seol-woo holds Nayeon in a firm embrace, their quiet farewell is completely shattered. A sharp creak echoes through the room as a nearby bedroom door swings open. Nayeon's eyes fly wide with pure panic, her mind racing as she realizes they've been caught. She immediately tries to push him away, telling him that's enough. But Seol-woo refuses to let go. Instead, he pulls her even closer, whispering for them to stay like that just a little longer, totally unfazed by their new audience. Nayeon's mind is racing with pure panic. She frantically thinks they're both dead meat if they stay in this embrace any longer. But as she pushes against him, Seol-woo simply holds her gaze for a moment before finally letting go. He calmly says he's leaving, wishes her good night, and tells her he'll see her tomorrow. Before Nayeon can even process it, he's out the door. The sharp slam echoes in the quiet room, leaving her standing alone, completely stunned, while Seol-woo is left on the other side. Furious, Nayeon internally questions if Seol-woo has a death wish. Instead of backing away, he suddenly yanks her into a tight hug. She immediately tries to push him off, demanding he let go. But as she struggles, she feels something unexpected. His heart is pounding wildly against her. All her resistance fades in an instant. She realizes his calm exterior is just a front. Beneath his composed act, his racing heartbeat reveals just how nervous he truly is in this moment, leaving her completely stunned in his arms. Still locked in his embrace, Nayeon demands to know what he's doing. Seol-woo calmly replies that he's disinfecting her. He explains he's wiping away the scent and filthy aura of the guy who is fantasizing about her. He wants to erase any trace of another man. Nayeon sarcastically shoots back that he makes it sound like she just escaped from hell. He then admits he was hiding in her bedroom, cheekily calling it a hell disguised as heaven, before asking if she still hugs her plushie to sleep, revealing his own past loneliness. Nayeon quickly explains she only hugs the plushie because her shoulders ache. She then stops dead, asking if he actually touched it. Seol-woo shamelessly confirms he did, even admitting he buried his face in it to smell her scent while she slept. Mortified, Nayeon declares she's throwing it out and tells him to let go. But he holds her tighter, reminding her she promised to grant his wish. As Nayeon fumes, Seol-woo sighs that he didn't want to go this far before pulling out his phone, leaving her completely baffled. Seol-woo suddenly plays a voice memo on his phone. It's a recording of her senior asking for a hug. Flustered, Nayeon demands to know why he recorded their conversation. Seol-woo explains he was listening and needed evidence in case the guy tried anything. He then challenges her, asking how many men she thinks would visit a girl's room late at night with innocent intentions. Nayeon weakly defends her senior, but Seol-woo's glare darkens. He concedes the guy seems decent but stops himself, sighing, knowing any argument will just sound offensive. Nayeon tells him to just delete the recording, insisting that nothing even happened. But Seol-woo holds his ground, reminding her she is to keep her promise first. With an intense energy crackling between them, Nayeon realizes he's not going to back down. Defeated, she asks what absurd wish he has this time. Seol-woo's request catches her completely off guard. He just wants to stay with her until she falls asleep. The simple yet intimate demand leaves Nayeon utterly baffled, unable to process what he just said. As Nayeon processes his request, a memory suddenly hits her. She remembers him looking at her with that same tender affection in the past, realizing his effect on her is much stronger than she ever admitted. Perhaps he saw the plushie and thought she was still scared to sleep alone? Snapping out of it, she finally gives in. She tells him not to change his wish. He can stay until she falls asleep. But as she nervously tucks her hair back, she sets one final, firm condition. He absolutely has to behave himself. The tense moment is shattered by a phone buzzing on the table. Nayeon sees it's her aunt and answers, but she's shocked to hear her mother's voice instead. Her mom immediately scolds her for ignoring her calls but answering for her aunt. Realizing her mom has probably been drinking, Nayeon quickly lies, claiming she was in a meeting. She explains she only answered because she was worried about the shop. Her mom's tone softens, but Nayeon feels uneasy. Something just doesn't sound right. Seol-woo watches her quietly from the kitchen. Her mom's voice suddenly changes, pushing Nayeon to give some good guy a chance. Completely confused, Nayeon asks what she's talking about. Her mom explains it's not a formal blind date, just an introduction from a friend, and urges her to go meet him once. A matchmaking meeting? The random request leaves Nayeon totally stunned. As she turns to process the bizarre conversation, her heart drops. Seol-woo is standing right there, having heard every single awkward word. He just looks at her, his expression intense and completely unreadable. As Seol-woo listens with a stony expression, Nayeon's mom continues to push the blind date. She gushes about the guy, explaining he works at a clinic in Seoul and is even opening his own place soon. According to her, he's a great person whose parents live nearby. Desperate, Nayeon tries to tell her mom she's too busy to travel, but her mom just lays on the guilt. Defeated, Nayeon caves and promises to visit on the weekend. Her mom wishes her good night and hangs up, leaving a thick, awkward silence in the room. Nayeon stares at her phone, completely bewildered. Her mom had never once pressured her about marriage. She flashes back to her mom's old advice, that life is about your own choices and you don't have to do something just because others are. Her mom always told her to do what she wants and live a life that makes her happy. This sudden talk of matchmaking feels incredibly strange. Worried, she texts her aunt to ask if something's wrong. Her aunt replies that nothing is wrong. Her mom just got Eunjail's wedding invitation and went out for karaoke. Relieved, Nayeon turns back to the room. Seol-woo breaks the heavy silence, asking if her mother is sick. Nayeon quickly tells him no. Still flustered from the whole ordeal, she mumbles that she's just going to brush her teeth and asks him to wait. When she returns in her pajamas, Seol-woo is already on the bed. He looks up from his phone and gently tells her to go to sleep, saying she must be tired. Blushing, Nayeon quietly agrees and climbs onto the bed as he watches her. Lying with her back to him, Nayeon feels a strange sense of nostalgia, like she's back in her college days. Seol-woo asks if he should turn off the light, and she quietly agrees. A soft click plunges the room into darkness, leaving only a gentle blue glow from the window. For a moment, they just lie there. Then, the next morning at work, Nayeon is already on edge, feeling a terrible reluctance to be there. Her colleague, Seo Manhwa, immediately corners her, noticing how exhausted she looks. Manhwa drops a bombshell, claiming she saw Deputy Team Leader Han Mi-ho leaving Nayeon's room. Calm on the outside, Nayeon simply asks, but inside, she's a mess, telling herself to play it cool. Manhwa puts on a fake show of concern, saying she was worried something was going on between them, clearly digging for gossip. Manhwa doubles down on her fake concern, claiming she was so worried she couldn't sleep. She tells Nayeon she went for an early morning walk and, despite seeing Deputy Team Leader Han Mi-ho, she dismissed him as a possibility, thinking he was too mean. But then, she drops her trump card. She also saw Team Manager Seol-woo leaving Nayeon's room. A look of fake understanding crosses her face as she declares that Nayeon must have simply been working until dawn. The gossip has found its real target. In the office break room, a senior colleague calls Seo Hyung over for a private word. She reminds the junior that their separate lodging arrangements are in place for security reasons. With a firm look, she explains that sometimes you have to pretend you didn't see or hear certain things. Internally, the senior feels a pang of guilt for having to be deceptive, but it's for the team. Hyung quickly catches on, realizing this was all a coded way to tell her to stay quiet. The senior is relieved, trusting that Hyung is honest enough to keep what she saw a secret. Nayeon's phone buzzes as she coordinates with Han Miho via text, making sure they stick to the "it was just work" alibi after being spotted. Internally, she's amazed that two different men were seen leaving her room in one night. She uses the messy situation as an excuse, telling a disappointed Seol-woo that he can't come to her room anymore to avoid future rumors. He trusts her without question, but Nayeon sees her chance. A small, determined smile appears on her face as she decides to use this opportunity to finally put some distance between them. Sitting at her desk, Nayeon is completely drained. She hates how complicated everything has become and just wants this project to be over. Manhwa approaches, telling Nayeon to go get some rest after pulling an all-nighter. But as Nayeon turns back to her computer, she hears Manhwa subtly ask about Seol-woo, noting he went to his room late and hasn't shown up for work yet. The gossip continues. Deciding to wrap things up, Nayeon opens a new email, her fingers hovering over the keyboard. The recipient?
Do Seol-woo.
Nayeon's phone buzzes as she heads out, her thoughts still tangled up in the email she just sent to Seol-woo. Answering a call from her mom, she's instead met with her aunt's frantic voice. Nayeon's heart plummets as her aunt delivers the devastating news. Her mother has collapsed and is being rushed to the hospital. The world around Nayeon blurs into an indistinct haze. Frozen in shock, she barely registers her aunt telling her to hurry over before the line goes quiet, leaving her standing alone in the hallway, completely stunned. Nayeon's world shatters. Her mom collapsed. The words repeat in her mind, leaving her frozen in the empty hallway. As she starts to break down, an elevator door slides open, and the last person she expected to see steps out, Seol-woo. He immediately notices her distress and rushes over, asking what's wrong. Seeing her dazed expression, he gently grabs her by the shoulders to get her attention. The touch snaps her back to reality. With tears streaming down her face, Nayeon finally explains that her mother collapsed and is being rushed to the hospital. Without a second of hesitation, Seol-woo tells the distraught Nayeon they're going to the hospital. Still reeling, she barely has time to react before he firmly takes her hand and leads her away. Soon, they're speeding down the highway in his car. While driving, he calmly calls someone to explain Nayeon's sudden absence from work, handling everything for her. Nayeon sits beside him, her hands trembling as she clutches her phone. She glances over at his focused expression, realizing he's taking complete control, giving her a moment of stability amidst the chaos. In the car, Nayeon's phone buzzes with another call from her aunt. She learns her mom is entering the operating room right now. Her aunt tries to soothe her worries, explaining that they caught it early and she just needs a quick stent procedure. After Nayeon hangs up, Seol-woo gently asks what was said. He listens, then calmly reassures her that she'll be okay and recover quickly. When he asks about her mom's symptoms, Nayeon is hit with guilt. She admits she just thought her mom's frequent burning feeling was simple heartburn. Seol-woo asks if her mom's electrocardiogram was normal, but Nayeon admits she doesn't know. He reassures her that it's a relief the problem isn't more severe, promising the surgery will go well and she'll recover quickly. Barely holding it together, Nayeon whispers that her mom has to be okay. As fresh tears well up in her eyes, Seol-woo gently reaches over and wipes one from her cheek. Looking at her with a steady gaze, he tells her not to worry because her mom will be fine. As they race down the highway, Seol-woo holds Nayeon's trembling hand, promising her everything will be fine. Lost in thought, Nayeon realizes how much worse this would be without him. She'd be panicking, unsure if a taxi or a train was faster. Seol-woo gently interrupts her spiraling thoughts, telling her not to blame herself. He reminds her it's normal for parents to get sick as they get older, praising her as the best daughter her mom could have. His calm words are a lifeline in her moment of chaos. As they speed toward the city, Nayeon realizes Seol-woo's presence is the only thing giving her strength. They pull up to the emergency center, and she bolts inside, her heart pounding. She spots her aunt in the waiting room and rushes over. Her aunt is stunned, asking how she arrived so much faster than expected. Nayeon cuts right to the chase, demanding to know about her mom. She's told the surgery is already in progress. The news hits her hard, and she anxiously asks again how her mother is doing right now. As Nayeon trembles in the waiting room, her aunt pulls her into a comforting embrace. She insists her sister is the toughest person she knows, always exercising and staying busy. The aunt praises Nayeon for being such a devoted daughter, reassuring her that her mom will be discharged in just a week. But Nayeon can't shake the gut-wrenching feeling that her mother isn't that healthy. Her eyes drift to the cold, digital surgery board, and her heart plummets. Next to her mom's name, the screen confirms her worst fears: undergoing surgery. As Nayeon waits, her phone vibrates. It's Seol-woo. She tells him the surgery isn't over yet and reminds him about his important project meeting. He quickly tells her not to worry about it, insisting he'll take care of everything. After hanging up, her guilt is cut short when her aunt asks who she came with, mentioning she heard a man's voice. Before Nayun can even process the question, a nurse calls for her mother's guardian. Nayun immediately jumps to her feet, announcing that she's here. The doctor delivers some heavy news. The surgery was a success, but her mom's heart stopped twice during the procedure. Because of the close call, she'll be monitored in the ICU for a day. A nurse adds that visiting hours are over and strictly limited. Hearing this, Nayun's aunt decides to go manage their restaurant, promising to return later. Nayun agrees to wait. But just as she's about to leave, her aunt turns to her with a question. She thought she misheard before, but wasn't that Seol-woo? Down the hall, he stands, proving he never left. Just then, another man rushes into the hospital, looking furious. Nayun's aunt wastes no time, grabbing Seol-woo and unleashing on him. She accuses him of causing Nayun immense suffering and showing up now that she's at her most vulnerable. Nayun insists it's a misunderstanding, but her aunt demands to know if Seol-woo drove her. He calmly explains they're co-workers now. Unimpressed, the aunt lands on a simple solution. She tells him to quit his job. Nayun can only stare in disbelief, crying out her aunt's name. The aunt's fury now turns to Nayun. She reminds her niece of how she once collapsed from heartbreak, so sick she couldn't even swallow water and had to be rushed to the ER. The aunt screams that they almost lost her back then, all because of Seol-woo. She demands to know if they're back together and why Nayun would still like him. Through the entire verbal assault, Seol-woo stays completely silent, not offering a single excuse. Instead of leaving as ordered, he quietly takes a seat, showing he has no intention of going anywhere. The aunt's tirade shifts back to Nayun, scolding that it's like mother, like daughter. She reveals that Nayun's mother's heart hurts because she spent her entire life waiting for a man who never came back, Nayun's father. Turning her fury back to Seol-woo, she demands to know why he abandoned her precious niece, just to reappear now. Seol-woo offers no excuse, only a quiet apology. This just makes the aunt angrier, as she calls him shameless and thoughtless for causing so much pain. Nayun can only look on, utterly defeated. After the intense confrontation, Nayun puts her exhausted aunt into a taxi, telling her to go home and rest. As the car pulls away, Nayun and Seol-woo are left standing alone in the quiet evening. He gently tells her not to take her aunt's words to heart, comparing this difficult time to a harsh winter before flowers bloom again. Nayun sadly explains her aunt was just upset over her mother's collapse and needed someone to vent on. Seeing her defeated expression, Seol-woo softly asks if she's okay. Nayun has a moment of clarity. She realizes that while listening to her aunt's lecture, she foolishly let herself understand a feeling she'd been trying to ignore. Breaking the silence, she teases Seol-woo, admitting it was a little refreshing to see her aunt hit him. He just smirks, rubbing his shoulder, and agreeing that her aunt's hands were harsh. Nayun makes up her mind. Even if she faces heartbreak again, she wants to welcome this new season with the man standing beside her now. Nayun visits her mother, who is resting in a hospital bed. Her mom suddenly calls her name, cutting right to the chase and asking if she's seeing Seol-woo again. The question catches Nayun completely off guard, and she freezes mid-motion. She immediately assumes her meddling aunt must have tattled. But when a stunned Nayun asks how she found out, her mother simply smiles. She explains it wasn't her aunt who told her, it was just a mother's hunch, leaving Nayun speechless at her intuition. With a warm smile, Nayun's mom explains that her daughter's face has been much brighter lately. Still, she's surprised Nayun met a new man. Utterly confused, Nayun hilariously wonders if her mom's near-death experience gave her psychic powers. But her mom just pinches her cheek, teasing her for being so innocent. The truth is finally revealed. A nurse had seen Seol-woo in the lobby the day before and gushed about how handsome he was. Of course, her mom immediately pressed the nurse for every last detail about this mystery man. Nayun is amazed her mom figured out it was Seol-woo just from a nurse's description. Her mother asks how they met again, and Nayun tries to play it cool, claiming he joined her company and that they aren't serious. But her mom calls her bluff, pointing out that Seol-woo has been skipping work for over a week just to be at the hospital. Caught, Nayun falls silent as her mom asks if she's punishing him. Sharing a lesson from her health scare, she tells Nayun that life is too short to suffer for some grand idea of happiness. Nayun's mom continues her life lesson, telling her daughter not to torture her own heart. Then, she drops a total bombshell. She's closing the fish restaurant for good. Nayun is completely stunned. Her mom explains it's just too hard to run now, and she's thinking of opening a small cafe instead. Taking Nayun's hands, she asks if things are truly resolved with Seol-woo. Because if they aren't, her mom makes a shocking request. She wants Nayun to stop seeing him altogether, leaving her daughter speechless at the sudden ultimatum. Nayun's mom cuts to the heart of the matter, explaining that trust is everything in a relationship. She asks how Nayun can possibly trust Seol-woo when she doesn't even know why he broke up with his ex trying to defend him. Nayun asks if her mom waited for her dad out of trust. But her mom just calls her cowardly for using her past against her. Before they can continue, a nurse announces visiting hours are over. Nayeon walks out, her footsteps echoing in the empty hall as her mother's words replay in her head. Nayeon tries to argue, pointing out that her mom waits for her dad because he's a man she can trust. He never hurt her. With a knowing smile, her mother asks if she's jealous, before laying down a final, hard truth. If a person can't give you trust, they aren't the one for you. Her mother's words strike a nerve. Nayeon realizes this is the exact reason she hesitates with Seol-woo. Since they reconnected, he has never once brought up his past breakup, and she admits she never gave him a real chance to explain. Seol-woo waits anxiously, his gaze fixed on his phone. Meanwhile, after the intense conversation with her mother, Nayeon makes a decision. She realizes it's finally time to ask him for the real reason he broke up with his ex. When they meet, Seol-woo's first question is about her mom's health. Seeing how drained she is, he gently suggests they go to a hotel so she can rest. Nayeon quietly refuses, but her heart tells a different story. The fact that he dropped everything to be by her side is all the proof she needs. Inside the hotel room, Seol-woo pulls Nayeon into a comforting embrace. She updates him, explaining her mom is doing much better and will likely be discharged in a few days. He quietly expresses his relief. But Nayeon's concern shifts to him. She tells him he should go back, reminding him that things are chaotic at his company. While she has taken leave to be with her mom, she questions how he, as the team leader, can be away from his desk for so long during such a critical time. Seol-woo calmly dismisses her concerns, insisting that his work can wait. Her mother's health is the real priority. But his reassurance only makes Nayeon more frustrated. She snaps back that it's her mother, not his, and tells him to leave. Nayeon knows this is the first major project he's been in charge of and accuses him of being irresponsible. Pushed to his limit, Seol-woo finally explodes. He shouts that he's here for one simple reason, because she's the one who's struggling, and he can't bear to see her suffer. Seething with anger, Nayeon finally unloads on Seol-woo. She calls him truly unchanged, self-centered, and irresponsible. She scoffs at his excuse for being there, mocking the idea that he rushed over just because she was struggling. Her face flushes as she shouts that his desire to be by her side is nothing more than stubbornness. She accuses him of always abandoning everyone based on his own feelings, questioning if that's really his way of looking out for someone. She tells him she doesn't need that kind of help from him anymore. Nayeon reflects on her own harshness, knowing her anger fueled the words. She admits Seol-woo was a huge help, driving her to the hospital and staying by her side. Thanks to him, she didn't have to face the long nights alone or run errands by herself. But just because he was there for her during this tough time doesn't erase their problems. So when Seol-woo, stung by her accusation, asks if he seems irresponsible, Nayeon doesn't back down. She looks him straight in the eye and bluntly confirms that he does. Seol-woo cuts straight to the heart of it, asking if this means she can't trust him. Without missing a beat, Nayeon bluntly confirms that she can't. Defeated, Seol-woo agrees to leave. He confirms her wishes one last time. She thinks it's better for him to handle his project than stay by her side. When she says yes, he turns back with a serious proposal. If he goes and focuses on work like she wants, will she give him one more chance? Stunned, Nayeon can't understand why the man who broke her is now acting so desperate. As Seol-woo gently touches Nayeon's face, she hardens her resolve. She can't let his familiar warmth fool her again. The decision has been made. Nayeon looks him dead in the eye and tells him to remove his hand. But instead of backing off, he tells her to go home and rest. He insists he'll take care of things, since her mother will be discharged soon. Nayeon fires back, questioning what excuse he could possibly give her mom on that day. After all, he saw how she was. Seol-woo falls silent, with no answer to give. Nayeon challenges Seol-woo, asking what he hopes to gain by acting this way now. Ignoring her sharp tone, he offers to pick her up when her mom is discharged. But Nayeon shuts him down completely, telling him to stay at his company, because she'll go on her own. With nothing left to say, Seol-woo silently turns and walks away. The second he's gone, her tough exterior crumbles and she covers her face, overwhelmed. Later at home, her mother mentions Nayeon's next outpatient appointment, showing she's also in the middle of her own recovery. Nayeon's aunt suggests she return home with her, even offering to open a cafe where Nayeon could be the barista. But her mom isn't having it. She bluntly tells her sister to hurry up and leave. The harsh dismissal stuns Nayeon, filling the room with a tense silence. Later, as her mom quietly sets out some food, Nayeon sadly remarks that she must really be her daughter. Her mom simply confirms the obvious, asking who else's daughter she could possibly be, her tone leaving no room for warmth. Her mom's words are like ice. She tells Nayeon that being her daughter is just a biological fact, nothing more. The statement crushes Nayeon, leaving her speechless. As they see her aunt off, Nayeon realizes her mom must have noticed her distraction. She was thinking about Seolwoo, even during such a serious family moment. Later, Nayeon arrives at the train station and calls her friend. She tells Chaya she's at Yongsan Station, but before she can say more, her bestie surprises her from behind with a massive, much-needed hug. Chaya pulls her friend close, knowing instantly that Nayeon has been through a tough time. When Nayeon asks how she knew, Chaya simply says a best friend always knows. She invites Nayeon to her place, revealing that Taehoon took the kids to his parents' house, so she's completely free. Later, with food and drinks laid out, Chaya happily explains she's finally done breastfeeding. This means she can eat all the spicy food she wants, and of course, Nayeon is the only person she'd call to celebrate with. Chaya raises a shot glass, officially welcoming Nayeon back to the world of alcohol. As they eat, Chaya gently asks about Nayeon's mom. Nayeon says she's just relieved the surgery results were good. The conversation then shifts to Seolwoo, and Chaya asks if he stayed with her at the hospital. Feeling cornered, Nayeon asks if this is an interrogation. But Chaya clarifies she's just thankful. Having lost her own mother, she knows how stressful it is when a parent is sick and is grateful Seolwoo was there for her friend. Nayeon gets defensive, asking why Chaya is suddenly taking Seolwoo's side. But Chaya just plays dumb and pours another shot. Just as Nayeon reminds her not to drink too much, the doorbell rings. To their shock, Taehoon walks in announcing he's home. Chaya asks what he's doing there, completely confused. He explains that his parents are watching the kids because he planned an intimate night with his wife. He then glares right at Nayeon, calling her an uninvited guest. Nayeon lets out a heavy sigh. Chaya demands to know why Taehoon crashed their girls' night. He fires back that he's Nayeon's friend too, sarcastically asking if he should just leave. Completely exhausted, Nayeon tells the bickering couple to save it for later. Changing the subject, she asks Taehoon about his mother. He confirms his mom is fine, figuring Seolwoo must have updated her. After taking a shot, Taehoon reveals the devastating truth. It was Seolwoo's mother who passed away from a sudden heart attack. Nayeon is left utterly speechless, the shocking news hitting her like a ton of bricks. Inside a sleek corporate building, Seolwoo, dressed to the nines in a business suit, presents to a room of stone-faced executives. He cuts straight to the point, explaining that the company's call assistance apps have terrible user interfaces, and then presents his solution. After the intense meeting, he steps out into the hallway. The door clicks shut behind him, and he lets out a massive sigh of relief. Loosening his tie, he finally takes a breath. He pulls out his phone and sees that it's 2:25 p.m. Still reeling from his presentation, Seolwoo's thoughts drift to Nayeon. He's haunted by a memory of her angry face, her sharp words accusing him of being irresponsible. His phone suddenly buzzes, snapping him out of it. It's a call from Taehoon. Answering, Seolwoo is hit with a surprise. Taehoon casually mentions that Nayeon is sleeping over at his place. Completely caught off guard, Seolwoo asks if she's in Seoul. Taehoon confirms it and suggests they all grab dinner later, since it's Friday and he's in town. Seolwoo's world narrows down to a single thought: Nayeon is in Seoul. His calm expression hardens with resolve. Later that evening, he's back home, sprawled on his couch but far from relaxed. He stares intently at his phone, completely consumed by the news of Nayeon staying at Taehoon's place. His mind immediately starts racing, scheming for the perfect excuse to go pick her up the next day. As the clock ticks past 8:25, he's already cooking up a plan, determined to find a way to see her again. Lying on his couch, Seolwoo lets out a long sigh, admitting to himself just how much he misses Nayeon. Just then, his phone buzzes. He answers, only to be completely shocked when he hears Nayeon's voice on the line. He bolts upright, asking where she is. She confirms she's in Seoul, but her stuffy voice makes him worry she's caught a cold. The moment she says she's at her family's house, he sees his opening. Without hesitation, he declares that he wants to come over, putting the ball in her court. Nayeon tries to change the plan, suggesting they meet outside instead of her house. Seolwoo's mind instantly jumps to conclusions, questioning if someone else is with her. She quickly denies it, but he doesn't hesitate, demanding her address and declaring he's on his way. He immediately shoots a text to Taehoon, apologizing and bailing on their dinner plans. But before he can even process what to do next, his own doorbell chimes. Seolwoo opens it and is completely floored. It's Nayeon, standing right on his doorstep. Still reeling from the shock, Seolwoo asks how she's here. Without giving her a chance to respond, he swiftly pulls her inside his apartment. Nayeon is completely taken aback, her eyes widening as she takes in the massive, luxurious space. She wonders out loud if it's a real apartment or a model home. Seolwoo casually confirms that he lives there all by himself. Utterly bewildered by the lavish apartment and his revelation, Nayeon can only question why he lives alone in such an enormous place. Seol-woo coolly states that a 30-year-old man can certainly live alone, then flips the script by asking Na-yoon about her parents. Looking downcast, she simply says they aren't here. Suddenly, Na-yoon gets emotional, demanding to know why he wasn't honest from the start. He calmly asks if she would have stayed still had she known the truth, or if she would have tried to take her mother's shop money for him. He then reveals the bombshell. He knows her mother passed away. Stunned, Na-yoon realizes Taehoon must have told him everything. Na-yoon demands he tell her everything, insisting she came to hear the truth directly from him. With a heavy heart, Seol-woo finally opens up about his past. He explains that his father passed away right before his final military leave. His dad's business was already struggling before he enlisted, and while he hoped things would get better, everything collapsed in the end. As Na-yoon absorbs this shocking news, Seol-woo reveals his mother, who had never worked a day in her life, was forced to start working at restaurants just to make ends meet. Seol-woo continues his tragic story, explaining his mother had to clean motels to survive. One day, she collapsed from a heart attack at work, and by the time she reached the hospital, it was too late. But the nightmare didn't end there. His own uncle, his father's business partner, scammed them. He took out massive loans in their names and fled the country. Soon, loan sharks were threatening Seol-woo, making terrifying promises to go after his girlfriend if he didn't pay. He knew Na-yoon would soon have money, and they would have come for her. With a pained expression, Seol-woo reveals the heartbreaking truth behind their breakup. Back then, his only choice was to prove Na-yoon wasn't his girlfriend, ensuring the loan sharks wouldn't target her. He describes the grueling period that followed, working endless odd jobs from construction to designated driving, surviving on almost no sleep just to pay the interest. A flashback shows Taehoon spotting him at a worksite. Back in the present, Seol-woo explains he recently saw Taehoon again, holding up a wedding invitation for him and Chaeya. The story flashes back to Taehoon and Chaeya's wedding. While Seol-woo was there, he was unexpectedly approached by his old professor. Professor Kong was surprised to see him, recalling how a diligent student like Seol-woo suddenly took a leave of absence and just disappeared. The kind professor offered to help, connecting him with a law school expert. Thanks to this connection, Seol-woo receives incredible news. His private loans have been legally settled. To top it off, his treacherous uncle is now officially on the wanted list, finally facing justice for his crimes. Taehoon asks Seol-woo if it's time for him to graduate. While pouring drinks, he questions whether love can truly be stopped. He argues that if Na-yoon wanted to marry someone else, Seol-woo would have no right to interfere. But Seol-woo makes a desperate plea, asking Taehoon to at least stop her from getting married to anyone else. With tears in his eyes, Seol-woo vowed that he would succeed and come back for Na-yoon. The memory shows him studying relentlessly in a cramped room, working tirelessly to keep that promise. The flashback ends, revealing Seol-woo working on a new venture. He believed this was his one last chance, his final opportunity to see Na-yoon again. Overwhelmed by his confession, Na-yoon bites her lip in frustration. She demands to know why he didn't tell her everything back at Chaeya's wedding. Seol-woo looks at her with raw honesty, admitting he couldn't bring himself to do it. He explains that he was completely captivated because she looked so beautiful that day, leaving him utterly speechless and unable to ruin her moment. Seol-woo admits he almost didn't recognize Na-yoon at the wedding because she was just that beautiful. He believed that if she were any less stunning, he might have found the courage to approach her. Plus, he was convinced she already had a boyfriend back then. Dumbfounded, Na-yoon asks if he's really an idiot. She grabs his hand, demanding to know where she would have a boyfriend other than him. A confused Seol-woo reminds her that she once claimed to have many men, but Na-yoon snaps that she only said that to annoy him. Na-yoon then brought up the pills he once saw. With raw frustration, she explained the real reason she had them. Her ex-boyfriend had demoted her, and the stress completely messed up her cycle. Sniffling, she confessed he'd ruined her plan for revenge. Na-yoon's conflicted silence is all the answer her friend needs. Manhwa grows frustrated and urges Na-yoon to just tell him, certain that Seol-woo would offer to go with her. But Na-yoon admits that's the exact reason she can't. She explains that Seol-woo just took over his company. He has his own goals and roots he's trying to put down. She can't let him give up everything he's building just for her. Hearing her friend's sacrifice, Manhwa asks a sharp question. After all this time, does she really not know Seol-woo at all? Manhwa gets real, insisting that to Seol-woo, Na-yoon is his life's goal. She argues he'd have no reason to stay if Na-yoon left. But that's the exact reason Na-yoon can't tell him. She admits the thought of Seol-woo giving up everything he's building just to follow her is terrifying. He has his own dreams, and she can't be the person who takes those away. Hearing this, Manhwa hits her with a sharp question. Is she just afraid that they'll break up again? Na-yoon finally opens up, admitting she understands Seol-woo's past actions. She reflects on their first relationship, realizing they hurt each other by clinging on too desperately. He was the center of her world, and he only had eyes for her. This time, she wants something different, a mature love with a bit of healthy distance, where they can honestly talk about their futures. But Manhwa isn't having it. She bluntly tells Nayeon that trying to keep that healthy distance is not only difficult, it's just a coward's way out of a real relationship. Manhwa lays it out plainly, warning Nayeon that her plan is a trap. She explains that in trying to be considerate, Nayeon could either get hurt herself or, to avoid that, end up hurting Seol-woo instead. The solution is simple. She has to tell him what's happening and talk it through. But as Nayeon processes this, she lets out a small laugh, confusing her friend. Manhwa points out that since Seol-woo was the ex at fault, he should be trying harder, which makes Nayeon wonder if she resents how easily they got back together. Manhwa argues that Nayeon's pride is actually the most important thing. She insists that pride is the #1 reason relationships fall apart, so Nayeon needs to hold on to hers and make Seol-woo work for it. Later, as Nayeon prepares a meal, she thinks to herself that she wants her home to stay a warm place for Seol-woo, even when she's not there. Suddenly, a confused Seol-woo appears, asking why she wouldn't be there. Taking a deep breath, Nayeon finally tells him the truth. She plans to study abroad. Nayeon nervously reveals the full extent of her plan. She'll be gone for at least 3 years. But Seol-woo's reaction is a total curveball. Instead of getting mad, he pulls her into a sudden, tight hug. He tells her it's great news, genuinely happy that her dream of going overseas is finally happening. He congratulates her, leaving Nayeon completely stunned. He even points out she'll have a solid career path waiting when she gets back. But something about his perfect response feels wrong, and she can only whisper his name in confusion. Still holding her, Seol-woo looks down and simply agrees. Nayeon quietly asks what they're supposed to do now. The two sit down for a tense meal, and she eventually asks why he's being so quiet. He calmly turns the question around, asking what she wants to do. Nayeon admits she needs time to think, but Seol-woo drops a bombshell. What if he goes with her? Completely stunned, Nayeon tells him the idea makes no sense. He just stares back intently, demanding to know why she thinks that. Nayeon braces herself, telling Seol-woo she's ready to hear his reasons. He just takes a sip of his drink and calmly challenges her to explain why his plan doesn't make sense. As she looks at him, she realizes how foolishly lost in fantasy she's been. She had pictured their entire future together, a huge modern house with a pool, raising a big dog, and driving fancy cars. It was a sweet, cozy life, a life built right here. A life he couldn't just drop to follow her overseas. Her wild fantasies even included a passionate moment in a parked car, and she now wonders if these daydreams were just a way to avoid a breakup. Seeing her serious expression, Seol-woo's mind races, fearing she's about to end things. But he quickly shuts that down, stating firmly that he has no intention of breaking up with her. He admits following her would be reckless and irresponsible. He declares that he's staying to see his projects through, and once he's successful and feels he deserves her, he's going to propose. Seol-woo clenches his fist, firm in his decision. He promises that once he's achieved everything he needs to, he will come to her. A bright smile spreads across Nayeon's face. She tells him that even if he offered to follow her this very second, she wouldn't have stopped him. Seol-woo is moved by her faith in him, replying that he would have followed without hesitation and sent her off with a smile. They both understand that no matter the distance, nothing will truly change between them as their futures remain intertwined. As Nayeon's plane cuts through the sky, Seol-woo arrives at a cozy-looking shop just as the sun sets. He steps inside, a small bell announcing his presence. An older woman looks up from the counter, completely shocked to see him. She immediately questions why he isn't at the airport with Nayeon. With a calm expression, Seol-woo explains that his part is done. He confirms that he took Nayeon to the airport and personally saw her off, watching as she walked safely through the departure gate. Seol-woo explains that since it's the holidays, he thought the woman might feel lonely and decided to visit. She scoffs, telling him she's not some old lady. Still, she admits she has nowhere else to go and teases him for acting pitiful again. He hands her a gift and asks about dinner, explaining that he already ate at a rest stop. With a warm smile, she says it's not yet dinner time for her and invites him to come up. Inside, he asks where Annie is and learns she's gone to visit her mother's grave. A bell chimes as the door opens and the woman they were expecting, Auntie, walks in. She's surprised to see a guest. The other woman asks why she's back so soon from her mother's grave. Auntie explains the traffic was unbearable, so she came back, worried her friend would be lonely. Her face lights up when she sees Seol-woo, calling him a pleasant surprise. With a warm smile, she invites them both upstairs for dinner. As the sun sets on the quiet shop, for months fly by in an instant. 4 months later, Seol-woo strides purposefully into his corporate office. As he passes, his colleagues whisper about how on edge their team leader has been. They list the reasons: a delayed project, a vacation that was cut short, and constant pressure from higher-ups that has the whole team feeling stressed. Later, Seol-woo stands before his own superior, who looks completely exhausted. The man declares the office is too intense and announces he's taking a 2-week special leave, extending the same break to the entire team to recover from the burnout. With his team officially on break, Seol-woo's boss waves them off. The moment the leave is granted, Na-yoon is already sprinting down the sidewalk. A huge smile spreads across her face as she runs, her hair flying behind her. After 4 long months, the thought that's been fueling her every step rings in her mind. Do Seol-woo is finally coming back. She picks up the pace, her heart pounding with anticipation as she rushes to meet him after all this time. Out of breath, Na-yoon finally stops at a crosswalk to catch her breath. But when she looks up, she freezes. A familiar back is standing just ahead. She wonders if she's hallucinating because she misses him so much. After all, he should be on a plane. As if hearing her thoughts, the man turns around, a warm smile on his handsome face. It's him. It's really Do Seol-woo. Overwhelmed with shock, Na-yoon's mind screams his name as her heavy backpack thuds onto the sidewalk. Not wasting a single second, Na-yoon launches herself into Seol-woo's arms, holding on for dear life. Still in shock, she asks how this is even possible. He pulls her closer, cheekily suggesting the plane flew faster just because he missed her so much. Overwhelmed by his sweet words, Na-yoon thinks he's absolutely adorable and plants a kiss on his neck. That tender moment quickly ignites into a passionate reunion kiss. Pulling back just enough to look at her, a serious expression takes over Seol-woo's face as he quietly asks where her room is. A little flustered, Na-yoon points toward her building. Seol-woo pulls her in, a sly smile on his face as he asks if her room is soundproof. Na-yoon admits she has no idea, and he cheekily suggests they can just find out that night. With his arm around her, he picks up her bag and leads her home. The next morning, the passionate reunion has settled into a comfortable domesticity. As they stand in her kitchen, Na-yoon asks Seol-woo to grab a knife from the drawer, completely at ease with him in her space. As Seol-woo reaches for the knife, the drawer gets stuck with a loud clunk. He asks Na-yoon how long it's been broken, and she casually replies that it's always been that way, insisting it works fine. But Seol-woo isn't having it. His expression turns serious as he explains how dangerous a faulty knife drawer can be. Before she can argue, he decides they will fix it right after they eat. Seeing him so readily take charge, Na-yoon is genuinely surprised, thinking to herself how much more reliable he is than she ever imagined. Impressed by his can-do attitude, Na-yoon claps her hands and jokingly asks if she's worth living with. Seol-woo simply agrees, but his expression suddenly turns serious. He gently takes her hands in his, catching her completely off guard. Before she can react, he places a small, black box in her palms. Na-yoon's eyes widen in shock as she opens it to reveal a sparkling ring. Looking right at her, Seol-woo declares that they should start living together by the end of the year.